Oh, my DoorDash should be here soon, hopefully. All right, get your sub. Everybody starts. Let's get a sub train going. We're in this together here. All right, the entire internet is in this together. Like we are. Like I see. Like I just opened up my time. Everyone's bitching. Literally everyone's bitching. Everybody, get your subs in now.
Google, show me this guy's balls.
Yo, Lyric Terror with $1. Let's go. $1. Let's go. Thank you.
Okay, so we're officially live.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Candace,
thank you.
Andrew, good to sit down here with you, talking to you
Do
guys
we want
about
the chat on the screen? I kind of
the conversation that I think started with you being on Joe Rogan. You said, hey, I'm offering $300,000. And for the audience watching this, you have to know when you see this final product, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind closed doors. There was still communication till midnight, even some of the stuff this morning. Like it's like you're trying to sell a company. It's the last 24 hours that the deal doesn't work out, but kudos to the both of you guys that you made it work. The topic of discussion today, how this got prompted is, Andrew, you said there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And Candace, your position was he's a patsy. Tyler Robinson is a patsy. So, of course, we'll talk about a lot of different things, but that's kind of how the whole thing got started. For the audience watching, I think this is truly for three different people. Number one is anybody out there that loves Charlie, respects Charlie, his legacy, what he did.
Charlie, this is about Charlie.
We have a lot of love and admiration for what he did. He changed the lives of many people.
This is about Charlie.
Young men, young women. You worked with him for many years. You guys were friends. You've said a lot of good things about Charlie, respectful towards him. You guys may have disagreed on some things, but you had a lot of respect for him. The second audience is the folks out there, you, that's watching this. And so for you, you've been wanting something like this to take place, and kudos for Andrew for coming out and saying, hey, I want to have this conversation, and for Candace to accept it. So you have the ability to say, I agree, I disagree, comment, do all the stuff that you're doing online, and if you want to see more of these things.
Thank you
Any of the
for giving me permission to disagree.
Show, the Crucible, I'm sure some of the people from Crucible are watching as well, and the PBD podcast. The more you subscribe to this, the more we're able to deliver these types of conversations to you.
Well, not
and last but not least, it's about the two of you. My goal is to speak as little as possible. 99% of the time, it'll be you guys speaking, and the audience will be able to see it. If I jump in, just so everybody knows on the back end, both have agreed. In the back, there's 3 people representing Andrew and 3 people representing Candace to do fact checking. So at any point, if somebody makes a claim, the other can say, can we fact check this? I can jump in and say, fact check this. Even the folks in the back can say, fact check this. So it is a very fair conversation that we're having here. And so with that being said, kudos to Michael Knowles. Your name was mentioned a lot. You missed out right now. The last 10 minutes, we talked about you. There's a lot of love and respect here mutually from both parties, all 3 of them here. And then, of course, the great Joe Rogan that started this conversation. And he also volunteered, but it ended up being this format that we have here today. So with that being said, Andrew.
Really wish it was Joe Rogan. Really wish it was Joe Rogan.
Overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Opening statements, opening comments.
Sure. And what I mean by overwhelming is I just find it very convincing. That's I think that's what most people mean when they say overwhelming evidence. So I have a brief opening statement. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk.
How's the audio? Audio good?
Many of you already know a lot about the events which occurred after Kirk's death. You remember the ghoulish laughter, celebrations, and madness we saw from leftists all over, from TikTok invasions, debates, posts on social media, destruction of memorials, and things like this. Within weeks of Kirk's death, a cottage industry began to form, peddling various alternative theories on how he died. What special interest may have killed him, what nations were involved, and was our own government one of them? Because this was the first nationwide traumatic event in Gen Z's lifetime, the demand for answers was severe and palpable. The leading theory from the conspiracy verse is that Israel worked with the United States government to murder Charlie Kirk. Within a day or two of Kirk's death, Ian Carroll claimed that Israel killed Charlie Kirk, and the conspiracy caught on like wildfire. This theory was built on one misleading piece of evidence, that in his final days, on or around September 8th, Charlie sent a text message reading, "Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause." This was sent in the context of a platforming dispute regarding Tucker Carlson. From this scintilla of misleading information, it was speculated that Israel killed Charlie Kirk because he would have successfully opposed the Iranian war. Now, that's a fun theory. And who doesn't like a good, fun conspiracy theory? I like them. But there is no evidence that Israel actually killed Charlie Kirk. And if Candace has some, I'd like her to actually show it to me. I'm open to suggestions, but to date, there hasn't been any. There is, however, tons of evidence that a leftist killed Charlie Kirk, just as Charlie feared they would. I believe Charlie Kirk, and I have the receipts. No, I didn't have a dream where he came to me and told me that the left killed him.
That's true.
No,
I
he didn't come to me a dream and say, Candace Owens betrayed him. That never happened. In fact, I don't need dreams of any kind because I hold in my possession never before seen messages from Charlie Kirk to his security team on September 9th, 2025. I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed.
Damn.
On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this. Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th.
Damn.
Whatever could he have meant by that? Well, I think he meant exactly what he said.
Damn, that's
that
over.
He was worried the left was going to try to kill him.
If that's real, it's over.
Now, we'll discuss this more later on in the debate, and maybe I have more never-before-seen evidence that exposes just how wrong and, in my opinion, idiotic many of these conspiracy theories have been. But that's what happens when you rely on what's called the evidence of the gaps. In other words, they don't have evidence, they seem to just make up evidence. And what did they make up? Well, in my opinion, kind of whatever lined the pockets. And I think it's ghoulish to profit off of the death of a good man. But we came here today to debate, and so let's get to it.
I'll turn it up
The topic today is, one, my belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and two,
it's kind of already over.
Candace's belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson was a patsy and didn't kill Charlie Kirk. In some, the audience is going to
Did he get some
decide.
insight?
Who has
I'm
more
sure he
evidence
did,
supporting
yeah.
their theory. My theory is that the state is correct that Tyler Robinson is the killer, at least based on evidence so far, and Candace's theory that Tyler Robinson is not the killer and he's a patsy set up by the feds. To be clear, this is not a question of reasonable doubt. If it was reasonable doubt, and that's all it was, and that's all Candace was proffering, I wouldn't even be here having the debate.
How did so many people miss it? Are you not
it's
listening?
Fair to have doubts, as the trial has yet to occur, and the state hasn't even begun to try to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. But Candace makes a more forceful claim. She claims that there's more evidence that Tyler is not guilty of murder and was set up as a patsy than there is for the state's case. And I just think that that's absurd. And she will not be able to demonstrate that in any way. In fact, she has almost no real evidence at all of her theory, whereas my theory is supported by compelling witness testimony, physical evidence, multiple confessions, all of which are independently compelling, but which are even more convincing as each piece of evidence corroborates the others. You'll notice the term overwhelming was included in both theories. This is because Candace demanded I defend my use of that term, which I think is fair, in describing the evidence against Tyler Robinson. She, on the other hand, only wanted to defend her theory as merely viable. That is, until I showed her clips in which she said she believed the evidence of her theory, that Tyler Robinson's a patsy, was supported by overwhelming evidence. Only then did she agree to defend that position. Regardless, we're both defending the claim that there's overwhelming evidence on our side, so it's worth defining that term. When I say the evidence against Robinson's overwhelming, all I'm saying is that I mean that as of right now, I find it very convincing. I see almost no evidence at all, only speculation on verified claims and suggestions of things that could merely be hypothetically possible. Dreams, vibes, feelings, things like this. Almost done, by the way. I have no problem defending the state's case and welcome Candace bringing up any challenges she would like. But if I'm honest, the reason I was willing to pay the $300,000 for this debate was to finally have a chance for someone to demand Candace be held accountable for the unbelievable theories and claims she's been making. Candace's investigation is indistinguishable from a leftist operation. She couldn't be doing more damage to the right if she were trying. She uses her considerable platform to relentlessly attack one of the most influential conservative outreach organizations for young people, and she's making a mockery of the online right-wing commentary class. She's harming Republicans in an election year by dividing them. She's attacking the very organization Charlie spent his life building, and she's attacking the people he loved, including his wife, and it cost me $300,000, but today I hope that she finally answers for some of that.
Thank you, Andrew. Candace?
Did you get it out of your system?
I did.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to waste time with the preamble because I think I just want to get to the substance of the debate, and we'll just speak to the audience. I've obviously had an audience since
this is exactly
we've been covering this
I think my
case.
DoorDash is
People
here,
know
by the
that
way.
there was a
listening.
personal
Okay.
friendship between me and Charlie, and
Here we go. All right.
diminishing the pursuit of something that makes sense regarding what happened on September 10th. By throwing it to this is just people who are conspiracy theorists. These are people who are just trying to generate clicks. I don't think that people should be satisfied by that. I want people to remember that it's important to think. We've been lied to by the government a great many times over, just the last couple of years, if you just think of the things that we've learned about our government. And I do want to say this. What's been the most disturbing element, I think, for everyone is that not only does the narrative not make any sense, which I'm going to demonstrate, I don't need to waste time with the preamble going through the points or trying to insult you or pretending that I've been running a podcast saying it's just dreams and vibes like I'm Miss Cleo. And that's the reason why it's taking so many influencers. It looks like $1 billion industry of influencers to dispute everything Candace says. It's not because I'm on my platform saying I had a dream last night.
Like, what are you talking about?
I don't think that I think that diminishes you as an argument. Obviously, we have presented a lot of evidence. You just presented a text message and said this is evidence.
Crazy.
Well, that's how this entire thing began. You're talking about how Israel got into the conversation. It was because immediately after Charlie died, one of the first things we saw was this push to make us all think and remember how much he loved Israel. It's because the prime minister of Israel, who's fighting like a 27 front war, felt that he needed to come do a little mini tour and to be, strangely, to state that I did not kill Charlie Kirk, but nobody was having that thought that I can remember. Nobody was going, I wonder if Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk. And
They
then we
literally
had a
were
round of
5
influencers
seconds after he
who
was killed. Like, what are
lied
you talking about?
and said Charlie was not changing on Israel, that he wasn't having any disagreements regarding that topic, that the day he died, he just loved Israel so much. And I demonstrated via a text message, which you just mentioned, and you're now contextualizing and pretending it was just about Tucker Carlson, which is not true. It was a part of a broader shift that Charlie was having over the last, I would say, actually, on your show, it began since October 7th, which is when I began asking myself more questions about Israel as well. And so, yeah, when all of these things happen in the immediate aftermath, and then I drop a text message after everyone is denying that, Tucker Carlson then comes out and confirms the conversations that he had with Charlie. Megyn Kelly then comes out and confirms the private conversations that she had with Charlie. People then begin to ask a reasonable question, which is, why are we lying about this? If they were forthcoming with that and they had said, hey, yeah, Charlie was starting to ask questions. I think after October 7th, it's reasonable that people are starting to re-examine our relationship with
So they
Israel.
killed him for asking
we wouldn't be here
questions?
today.
Give me a break.
But it has been lie after lie after lie, debunk after debunk after debunk. Yes, I did share that I had a dream that Charlie was betrayed. It's not a dream anymore. It's a reality. I look at what the organization has become, the people that they are partnering with, the lies that they are telling, the extraordinary people that they're sending out to say that I hadn't speak to Charlie since 2018, and it begins to look like a conspiracy. And just as a historical fact, that entire term was created by the CIA to gaslight people after the assassination of JFK. So it's not exactly one that
no,
makes me nervous.
the
calling
word
somebody a
conspiracy wasn't
theorist is
invented by the
essentially saying
CIA, you
that
fucking
they
dumb
demand
bitch.
further answers.
Are you
not accepting the
retarded?
fed slop. So I'm grateful that you came today. I don't need to, like I said, take cheap shots and discuss your manner of debate.
Did she
or
really
strategy.
just say
And I'm
that
also
the
grateful that you
CIA
shared that you
invented
had
the
that
word
text message today,
conspiracy?
because everybody watching knows that I have been demanding not a debate, just a open conversation with Turning Point USA. They should be here. It shouldn't be you in that chair. It should be the person that took Charlie's place, maybe Erica Kirk, maybe Andrew Colbert. He's a spokesperson. And rather
What a
than doing
stupid
that,
bitch.
they send us another influencer. So let's see how it goes.
Just out of curiosity, are you between 0 to 100? What is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
0%?
0%.
I'm at
Oh
0.
my
So what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
So not only that maybe
What a
somebody was
stupid
behind him as a
bitch, dude.
patsy influencing him. You're not even saying that he didn't even shoot Charlie Kirk and
Right.
kill him.
I would, if you said, was he involved that day, as
Right.
I have consistently said on my platform, I would say yes, he was.
Mm.
I don't know what role he played, but as the shooter, 0%.
Do you have any evidence for it?
For what? My
The
percentage?
fact that he didn't he didn't shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Yes, which I'm hoping we're going to get to all of the evidence that he feels that he has. I mean, I'm not even convinced that Charlie was shot from the rooftop on Losi that day based on the evidence that has been.
Do you think he was shot?
I do not think that Charlie was shot from a 30-06 from Losi.
Yeah, but just shot at all.
I don't know. I think that
Oh my
a
God.
projectile hit Charlie.
Oh my God. This is so silly.
I'm open to
A projectile.
other people's presentations, but I have not seen any compelling evidence that Charlie was shot by a 30-06.
Can we see maybe if we're going to have an olive branch to each other, if maybe we can establish what we consider the facts of the case to be first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you're not sure if he was actually shot. You're open to alternative theories. To that.
He was definitely hit with a projectile of some description. If we're talking about was he shot from a gun, a 30-06, I would say definitively no.
Okay.
It defies common sense to think that he had a Superman neck, and even if he did have a Superman neck, which has been demonstrated, I think actually recently a YouTuber actually set up Valhalla steel cages and shot it, and it went through. So under no circumstance will I.
So at least not a 30-06.
Definitively not. A
Okay,
30-06
but you
from
are
low
This is
speed,
so
150 feet. No,
But you're not necessarily closing off the avenue that he could have been shot at all.
with maybe a smaller.
Smaller caliber. Okay. And then there's some things that I'm going to make concessions on that I do think we need more answers on, and I'm fine with that. And we can get to those things as well. The other thing is in the timeline, one of the things that we dispute, I think, on the timeline is that you think that Robinson drove hours away to a steakhouse in
Yes.
the timeline. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And what's the compelling evidence that you think you have there?
I spoke to the owner of the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and I have seen the receipt. I know the conversation that I had, and I think it's enough that it will be presented. Obviously, if this goes to trial, but yes, I do believe that he was in Panguitch, which is near his grandparents' home.
Did he give you an unedited copy of that receipt?
I have seen an unedited copy of that receipt. It was not given to me from the owner. But I want to, before we get into like all the timeline stuff, I want to address what you think is evidence. so we can
It's
keep
always
this on par
shown,
with
but
what your claim
it's a
is.
receipt.
Well, I think that that's a piece of evidence that's in dispute, and that's why I'm.
Yeah, but
because if
we're
not
trying to get
establishing
to
the
whether there's
timeline-
overwhelming
Oh,
evidence
so you've
that Tyler
seen
Robinson
it, but you
did
just don't have a
this.
copy
Yeah,
of
whether
it? How does that
starting
work
with-
I
exactly?
want to use the first part of that for the
Yeah,
internal critique.
yeah.
for you.
We
That's
should go
fine.
over the actual
Okay,
evidence that
so
we feel.
The first reason that I think it's compelling evidence is that Tyler Robinson's rifle was found near the crime scene. So I would consider that to be very good evidence. And also the fact of the matter is that I dispute this claim that a 30-06 could not have made this wound. I think that that's absurd. 150 grain Remington core lock absolutely could shatter when it hits the neck of any human being. When you say that there's some steel neck and it's a smaller caliber, you have to make a counter explanation. Why wouldn't a smaller caliber also go through bone?
It could. I didn't say it can't.
Right, exactly. So if that's the case, then ammunition is going to be the critical key here. And if we have frangible ammunition, which we do in this case, a flex tip round, well, I'm sorry, not a flex tip, a soft point round from a 150 grain Remington core lock, that's just a small jacket that goes around the actual lead piece. This thing could have split apart in air for all we know, but definitely upon impact. And we have the medical examiner who confirms this in a summary. And my team can bring that up, the summarization, which means he would have to be a part of some kind of conspiracy as well.
Okay. So just to start with your point about saying that the gun was found near him, near Losi Center, or I guess off in the woods. That gun, did you watch the testimony? Did you watch the preliminary hearing?
Yeah, we covered it live. Yeah.
Okay, so forgetting what the summary of the medical report was, did you watch the testimony that was given by the Caitlin Oliver,
She's so
the
out of her
ATF woman,
element here.
Samantha Carner,
Mm-hmm.
any of those people who went into the science of
Yes, I recall. You're talking about
the bullet
when they-
analysis?
Yeah, when they went into the DNA.
Okay, so that's kind of the most relevant part.
Okay.
I'm not denying, I've never denied on my platform or anywhere else that a gun owned by Tyler Robinson was found near the crime scene, right?
Except you have.
That doesn't remove, if you think somebody set up as a patsy, you could take a gun out of this room right now and you could walk out and plant it in the woods near a crime scene.
I
That's
agree.
not convincing evidence to
I
me.
concur with the fact that that's a possibility.
So
that
you
logically
are,
possible.
you, I think, have said on a platform that you were a gunsmith. Okay. And for how many years?
Many, many years.
For many years. You also said that you were an Army sniper.
I wasn't a sniper in the Army.
Okay.
And I never said that. By the
Sorry,
way.
your wife tweeted that you were an Army sniper.
Yeah, I don't know. Like 15 years ago, she said something.
Does it
She said
change
that
15 years later?
She said that it was colloquial. So
Army sniper is a colloquial term?
Yeah, I was never an Army sniper.
Okay.
It's funny how she's
What
immediately
did you
trying
do
to
in the
go
Army?
into
Did you
like
teach?
the
Then I corrected it and said you taught
personal
rifles in the Army?
attacks now.
No, I didn't teach rifle. No, I taught rifles as a private citizen.
Okay.
And I was an NRA instructor for many, many, many
Okay.
years
So,
alongside my gun shop.
As with your expertise, when she gave testimony on the stand, Samantha Carner, that there was dust and there was debris that was found in the gun barrel.
Yep.
And then when we had the person who, and this was, I believe, Caitlin Oliver, who explained painfully about the DNA, the prints.
Well, let's start with a point at a time.
I'm not done. You said something, so I'm going to finish my thought, right?
You don't want to do a point in time?
No, well, sure. If you want to respond to,
Well, I
but
wanted
I
to
want you to
start
respond
with
to
the
2 points. I
debris.
want you to start with 2 points.
Okay.
Dust and debris in the gun barrel.
Yeah.
Secondly, the fact that there were 5 sets of prints, 5 plus actually by the end of the testimony, 5 sets of prints for which we already had the woman who worked for the FBI forensics testify that above 2 prints, if you're taking a sample, it's no longer a science, right? She testified that when they took the sample of what was on the trigger, they saw 5 plus prints. And among those 5 plus prints, Tyler Robinson's was the most degraded. So I would like you to explain how Tyler Robinson's prints could be the most degraded when she said, actually, you could have DNA on something that you've touched. You could have DNA on something that you've never touched. And to get DNA degradation, they've looked at pieces, items 20, 40 years on that don't have
It's like hard to
degradation.
even follow her.
Yet
'cause
Tyler
she's just saying
Robinson's
nonsense.
prints, amongst 5 plus other prints,
Oh,
were
food's
the most
great.
degraded on that
Food's
weapon.
fantastic.
So let's get into all 3 of the claims. First, with debris. When it comes to debris, firing a rifle doesn't always blow the debris out of the barrel.
Okay, that
So-
you think there could be debris and dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just fired the weapon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not only that, he left it in a forest. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, but if you leave a rifle in a wooded area, it's also possible that debris could get in that way. But I'm not even sure that
Yeah.
that's what the case is. I think it's far more likely that you fired the shot, it just didn't blow all the debris out, and it often doesn't. You'll find this if you take Grandpappy's dirty rifle and it's
Yeah,
all dusty
kinda why you have
inside
to
the bore
clean
and
a
you go
gun.
fire it. You'll often look down the bore and there's still dust.
Okay.
Happens all the time.
Okay. And the prints?
Yeah, so the prints we don't know all of the details on just yet.
We do. It was excruciatingly long. testimony on the prints.
We don't because they haven't gone to trial, so we don't know on the print front. But Tyler Robinson's DNA was on there. You made the claim that Lance Twig's DNA was on there, and it was not.
Well, when she gave the testimony, no, hold on. First, let's go to your first point because that's wrong. We can get a fact check on that. What do you mean we don't know until it goes to trial about the degraded prints? She testified, and
Yeah.
this is the person who took the prints.
Yes, but the problem is that inside of this particular testimony, you agree with me that there's going to be much more of the DNA analysis during the trial, right?
But you also would agree that her fact is not going to change, that among the prints, his was the most degraded.
Even
so I'm
if-
asking you to
but let's-
address that. How
well,
could that be
here,
possible?
Let's give it. Let's just grant this for a second as a possibility that his fingerprints were degraded.
It's not a possibility. It's a fact. The person who took
hang
took
on.
it.
I'm just
Okay.
granting it for the sake of argument.
You should grant it because it's a fact that
so
she
now,
presented.
So now it's
Okay.
granted. So what?
What do you mean? So what?
Yeah. So what? What does that prove?
It proves that if his prints were the most degraded amongst 5 of them, you're going to have to explain how that's possible if he's the one that recently fired the weapon.
Yeah. So wait a second. You're saying that it's an impossibility that if his fingerprints are the most degraded,
I'm telling you
if
to
that's the
explain it.
case-
You're the gunsmith.
Well,
so
wait a
explain
second. How would a gunsmith give an analysis on fingerprints or DNA? Do you think that I work in a DNA laboratory
So
with
your answer
fingerprints?
is I don't know. You can just say you don't know.
But
you
I
don't
did.
have to.
But I did. But I did.
No, you said so what? So
Yeah,
say
so-
I don't know. I
but what
actually
would
don't
that-
have an
what would
explanation
that
for that,
prove,
Candace.
though, is my question.
Well, I think that what it would prove is that it is a more viable theory that people who had stronger prints on the gun may have used it more recently.
Did they say who else had fingerprints on the gun?
They named Matt Robinson explicitly.
Okay.
And this was a part of the testimony where she was speaking about how they got samples of elimination samples from the home of Amber Robinson, Matt Robinson, and Lance Twiggs. Those are the 3 names they named.
So are you saying that Twiggs
Would you like me to
fingerprints-
finish my statement?
I just want to make sure I'm clarifying.
I'm trying to finish the answer, but it can't be clarified
She's so
until the answer
rattled.
comes out of my mouth.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
this was a portion of her testimony where she was explaining how they got elimination samples from the home. And she named Matt Robinson, Amber Robinson, and Lance Twiggs as the elimination samples that she was using. And so she explicitly said, some of them, so we can assume 2 out of the 3, were their prints were found on the gun. She explicitly named Matt Robinson as someone who had prints on the gun, and then said there were 5 people that they had taken that sample from. And again, what's also relevant here is the earlier testimony, which came from the FBI forensics analyst, I believe it was on day 2, where she said that when you're using those mixtures and those samples and you get up to 5+, it's really hard to make any sort of a determination. So both of those things are relevant. If you can't explain why his prints are the most degraded and you're saying he is the shooter, it's not really a so what. It's an open-ended question that people have a right to pursue. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually proof of my claim that there is evidence that he was set up as a patsy.
That wouldn't prove anything about him being a patsy.
They said it's evidence to support the
His
claim that
prints
he
are on
could
the
have
gun.
been set up
Okay.
as a patsy.
So this is why I said earlier, so what? Because even if it's the case that this doesn't have an explanation for it yet, that doesn't actually give you any evidence in your corner for Tyler Robinson being a patsy.
Okay,
hang on. I didn't cut you off, right? You would need to actually explain how this would demonstrate Tyler Robinson. This is tied into Robinson being a patsy. Are you claiming that these fingerprints were Lance Twiggs or that he had any DNA there?
I'm saying that it could be Matt Robinson, it could be Amber Robinson. That sort of information is going to come out during the trial.
How would that tie into the idea that he's a patsy?
Yes,
though?
because if his is the most degraded prints and the information that I shared on my platform is true, that this gun was given to Tyler Robinson as an heirloom. I had conversation with members of the Robinson family, Twiggs family, both of them. You know,
Okay.
like I said, we're not just dreaming. And if we're having those conversations and they told me that gun was only given to Tyler Robinson because it was a family heirloom. Okay, so it was his grandfather's gun or great-grandfather's gun.
Okay.
I don't remember the difference. I don't remember which one it was. And so he got it because he's the firstborn. So, but he's not much of a shooter, is what I was told. And so he has this because he inherited it, essentially. So if I get something from my grandpa and I put it up on the shelf and I own this, you could see that could be.
How do we get to the patsy part?
You don't let me ever get to the end of the sentence. So how could we get to the patsy
Because you're
part?
rambling,
Okay,
you
I'll
stupid
wait
bitch.
patiently
You're
till you get
So that could be a
rambling.
reasonable explanation as to why there was dust in the barrel, because he doesn't often shoot this weapon and he is indeed a fisher. And it could also be a reasonable explanation for why we have Matt Robinson's prints on this. Obviously, Lance Twiggs, even if he has prints on things, they live together. That doesn't really mean anything. But that could demonstrate that somebody took his weapon and put it somewhere. His prints are the most degraded. Somebody else's prints, there's more presence of somebody else's prints. And
Jake
that
Shields
could
said
demonstrate that
Andrew
somebody
Israel
is taking
made
items
for
from his
him.
house
Oh my
and putting it
gosh.
into
But it
various
also
places.
could demonstrate nothing. So the problem that you have here is that this is pure conjecture.
No,
This is not evidence that Tyler Robinson is a patsy. It's only evidence that you have conjectured up that, well, if it's the case that these are the more degraded prints, then therefore that means must be patsy because dad's fingerprints on gun.
I didn't say must be
Describe
patsy.
how this actually links in to Robinson being a patsy.
Okay, I just described that for you, so I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, so I'm going to move on from that. But to just go back to your point
Wow.
about this is
Yeah,
not
'cause you're
evidence,
dodging
you can't make that claim because the entire basis for why you think that there's evidence for Tyler Robinson being the person that took the shot is based off of a hearing under Utah 1102 rules, meaning that they are doing the exact same thing that I am doing. This is the state. You said you're here to represent the state. Well, did you watch the preliminary
no, I
hearing?
didn't say I was here to represent the state.
The state's position you think is strong and convincing.
What I'm
okay?
here to do is represent my own opinion,
You
which
said
is
in
that
your opening
based on
statement-
based on the evidence presented so far by the state.
The state has
that I find it
presented
convincing.
evidence under Utah's 1102 rule.
But this doesn't demonstrate any patsy
No, that's very
behavior.
important because that rule is hearsay. So you can't say at the same time,
Great.
Candace, you're not allowed to. And what that means under the Utah rule, which I'm sure you know, because I'm sure you watched the preliminary hearing and yourself understand what that means, is that the entire hearing was hearsay. It means none of that information that was presented is going to be allowed. The majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, is not going to be allowed at the trial. They're allowed to present when it's just a probative hearing.
I don't think all the evidence that was put in was hearsay.
Okay, you didn't watch this case.
But not only that, no.
This is a huge point. This
I
is,
want to.
this
Well,
is crazy
we
that you
can
don't
call
know
for
this.
a fact check if
Yes,
all the
well,
evidence
we need
was
more than a
put
fact
in.
check. This was every single
The team
day.
in the back is
Utah
actually
Rule
saying
1102.
They want to go there. So they said there's a medical examiner's explanation of the shooting that's in the back. Rob, if you want to pull it up, and then Candace, if anybody from your team wants to pull something up, no problem as well. But they're requesting it. If you guys got it, pull it up so we can show it. And in the interim, is that it?
Yeah. So I'll read this.
Just what are we looking at, just so we know?
Yeah, so this says the bullet, or at least part of it, sequentially perforated the interior left of Mr. Kirk's neck, strap muscles of the left side of the neck. This is a summary, by the way. Left common cartoid on the left internal external jugular veins. The bullet also obliterated the left side C27 vertebrae, transacted the cervical spinal cord. Medical examiner observed a significant portion of Kirk's cervical spinal cord was traumatically absent. Mr. Kirk suffered from other severe injuries, including bilateral, apical, and posterior intercausal hemorrhages.
So
pulmonary,
glad that Andrew
apical
Wilson's reading
hemorrhages,
this and not
multiple
Candace Owens.
disruptions
She
to
would
the
not be
thyroid,
able to
et
make
cetera,
it through
et cetera.
this.
So the summary of the examination is that he was shot.
Okay.
That was what they were pulling that up for.
Okay, and I'm not disputing that he could have been hit with a projectile. We're not disputing that, so I don't know why this was brought up as a fact check. Could you bring up 1102 Utah rule? Because this is an unbelievable point that you're making by saying that I am not allowed to infer off of evidence.
You can infer. I'm trying to follow the inference.
But your entire reason, like you asserted that you believe there's overwhelming evidence on the basis of what we saw in the
Correct.
preliminary hearing. The entire preliminary hearing was hearsay.
Yeah, I'm fine with your inferences.
But no, you just literally said I couldn't do that. Yes, I can.
No, I didn't. I'm just saying
What?
from your inference, how do we get to Patsy?
This is how you got to Shooter. The Tyler Robinson did it
No,
the same
no,
way
no,
that
I
you
didn't
got to
get to
Tyler
just
Robinson.
Shooter from that.
Yes, you did. You again. This is something important, so we should pull up a fact check about what the 1102 Utah and under their
my God,
Constitution
dude.
for the sake of a
she's
preliminary
such a
hearing.
stupid bitch. It's
They
crazy.
do not have to have hard evidence. They don't have to put
Like,
people
she's
on
not
the trial.
understanding what he's
But
saying.
no, that's why the entire hearing was basically hearsay. Officer Bagley
But
was
not
saying
all of it, like I said.
the overwhelming
And
majority.
again, no
I mean,
dispute.
outside of the one
But
that you
there's
don't
no-
that you don't
that's
want to
not
give.
what's
Please don't
in
cut me off.
dispute, though.
Outside of that is what's in dispute. It
It's
means
not.
that your entire brand of saying you don't have evidence, falls apart when the entire preliminary hearing is based off of hearsay. In fact, Lance's testimony before they had about an hour debate. Actually, maybe it was more than an hour debate before he sat, and they said
This
this
bitch
is
is
not
so
going to be allowed.
stupid.
You wouldn't
So
even
she-
be allowed to do
so
this. We'd be able to cross.
they're just doing a hearing and they're saying a bunch of shit that isn't true in the court of
I'm
law.
the magistrate under Utah Constitution.
That's what they're doing.
1102. It is my job
Yeah.
to allow all of this so we can see.
You know, in
if the
court
state
cases
has
where they just go
enough
up there and
here
just
that we
start-
can then move to a trial.
A Cyclops actually killed Charlie Kirk. It doesn't matter. All this is hearsay, right?
But you're arguing things I'm not disputing.
But the entire substance of your argument is that people can't infer off of evidence.
No,
That's what you're saying
it's
to
not.
me. When
did-
you say Candace,
Here,
you
I'll
can't
give you
talk
the
about the degraded
argument
prince, which is
now.
a fact.
Yeah, I'm not
and then
saying
infer
that.
off
She's
of that
Then
that
arguing
Tyler
against
could have been a
something that he's not
patsy.
even saying.
I
This
am
is
telling
crazy.
you-
making stuff up. So
I'm
here's
not
what the
making stuff
position
up.
is.
I'm
I'm
not making
asking
stuff
this.
up.
Well,
I'm
I have Rule
saying
1102
that
ready
I
if you
think
wanna
you.
read
Let's
it.
pull
Oh
that up.
my
Let's
God.
pull it up.
We have to.
I am
She's
doing
like
exactly
stalling.
what the
She's
state
stalling.
did. I am
This is
pulling
what
out
she's
pieces of
doing.
evidence, and I am
She is
saying-
arguing
You're not
against
showing how
something
you
that
get
Andrew
there.
Wilson
Back to
didn't
the
even
audience
say
with
to
the
Yes.
stall.
So this, just so
That's what
everybody
she's
who's
doing
watching
right
this at
now.
home understands what I'm
She
saying,
is
even
stalling.
if he doesn't. What Andrew is arguing is that I don't have the right to extrapolate from
Never
a
made that
fact
argument.
like
Just making it up. Just purely making
She's
it
stalling.
up.
She's
I'm
stalling.
asking based on
Andrew,
based on
can I
your
show my evidence? You just
inference.
showed yours. Reliable hearsay.
You'll get a chance.
Reliable hearsay in criminal preliminary examinations. The entire
Yeah, literally running up the clock. That's
preliminary
exactly
hearing
what
that you
she's
just
doing.
saw was on the basis of reliable hearsay. And what that means essentially is the people
Everybody
who
saw
are
this.
making the statements.
Andrew
can just
Wilson's
say,
like, okay, so how do you
Patrick
get to
told
Patsy?
me
Well,
that
you're
he
saying
did
I'm not
this
allowed to
on
make
Monday.
conjecture. It's like,
Patrick's
no.
not here.
I'm trying to
And
find
that
the
is-
law.
they
And
can
she's
allow that
arguing
into
against
hearing.
this now.
That's just-
You're
it-
saying
because
I'm not
it's
allowed to
just
make
meant to
conjecture.
be
I'm not
probative.
allowed.
And
I'm
so
not allowed
it's
to
the
infer
state saying,
things.
Here's what
Stalling.
we have inferred. So you are allowed to.
He has said it multiple
take
times.
a piece
That's
of
not what I'm
evidence,
arguing.
And then
That's
you
not what
are
I'm
allowed
arguing.
to infer
And she continues
off of
to do
that
it
evidence.
because
Okay?
she's stalling.
Case in
Thing
point, that's a
nobody's
demonstration
disputing.
of, to give you, that's a demonstration of what I just did. I said the prints were the most degraded off of Tyler Robinson. And from that, what I am
This is
inferring
embarrassing.
is that
She
it's
is the
plausible that
stupidest
Tyler
bitch alive.
Robinson was set up.
That doesn't.
Okay?
That's the point in contention.
That's not a point in contention. That's
The point in contention.
It's not a point in contention. If you're saying it's a
It
point,
is the point in contention.
It's not the point in contention. I'm telling you that was what the entire hearing allowed for. So the evidence that he is
Great, but
describing,
we're asking you
that
now.
he is using to argue his case, is all based on
Look at her body
inference,
language. Look at her.
not
Look at her
fact.
eyes. She's
Great.
not
Inference,
confident.
not fact.
She's
What
just
they
just
are
rattled.
inferring off of the facts.
So again,
She keeps looking
we're
up.
gonna
She
take
keeps looking
this,
around. She won't look at him.
and I'm just going to
She's
even grant it
fucked.
because it's irrelevant. I'm asking how you get to the inference that even if you dispute that piece of evidence, that means Patsy. I'm looking for the logical chain for how you get to that inference.
What I am telling you is it's the exact same way that when you tweeted, I think that this evidence is overwhelming. When they say that looks like Tyler Robinson's car, he drives a similar car, okay? They are inferring that
answering the
that's Tyler
question.
Robinson.
Can you walk me through the inference
The
so that I
infer-
understand?
She
it's
doesn't
not a
know what an
fact.
inference
It's not a fact.
is,
When you
dude.
show a blurry image, which you kept citing,
She doesn't know
No,
what
no,
an
I'm talking about
inference
your
is,
inference
dog.
that the fingerprints, even if they're degraded, equals Patsy. How do you
I
get
didn't
that
say
inference?
I didn't say it equals Patsy. I think it is enough evidence that it should be explored, which is exactly what this preliminary was in the
but
inverse.
That's not what in dispute. What's in dispute is when you said, I'm using this as evidence that he could have been a Patsy. I'm asking, how do you get the inference to Patsy from that?
Because what I am saying is that it shows that somebody else had more DNA presence on that gun than Tyler Robinson did. So it is plausible, which is all they're doing. They're presenting plausibility based off of the facts, okay? It is plausible that somebody just took his gun and put it there. That's it.
Is there equally
That's how it works.
and is there equally 100 other plausible explanations?
I think that's the reason why most people are exploring when things don't make sense.
Got it.
So,
So-
yes, at the beginning of that, this is how the court process works.
So
just so
there-
we're clear,
if
this
there's
is the
100 other
state's evidence,
plausible
and they're inferring.
explanations, then Candace, why is it that we should go with this idea that it was a Patsy?
I'm not saying that we should go with the idea that it was a Patsy. I am saying that there is.
You just showed.
I thought that was the whole defense, your whole claim
No,
today.
my whole claim was that there is more evidence that he is set up as a Patsy.
How does that equal evidence of Patsy?
I don't know how many times I can say this. Like I'm saying that I am using the exact same mechanism that you are accepting for some reason in the Utah courtroom.
Yeah.
Right. To say I'm going to look at the evidence and I'm going to infer an alternative theory. So you just saw.
You
the
literally
states
said
and
there was a
you're accepting
0%
it. And
chance
they
that Tyler
They
Robinson
have not
did
presented
it.
any concrete facts. You listed on your own Twitter that what you found to be convincing.
You said there was a 0% chance that Tyler Robinson did
pulled
it.
into the driveway. A blurry image.
No, I didn't.
The standard white guy coming up the steps that could literally be anyone.
This never happened.
Can we get a
fa-
fact check on
fact
that?
check
Can
it.
we pull up his
I
tweet
didn't-
where he goes over
I didn't
the
say
four?
that's what convinced me.
When you actually didn't say it's what convinced me, but you said
Right.
this is the evidence that you found to be overwhelming, and you named, I believe, actually 5 things. I think you said it was his car. You said it was.
Well, there's multitudes of things that I find
You
to
just
be
said you didn't
compelling
say it, so we're going to
evidence.
get a fact check on that. You
Sure.
did.
Go ahead.
You said the blurry images coming up the steps. Quite literally, when Officer Bagley testified, they talk about when I'm talking about making inference. This is the most I thought was the most absurd testimony I've ever heard. And pardon me, it was actually Hull, David Hull. They asked him a question. How did you know the guy in the maroon shirt was the same as the guy that came up the stairs later that was wearing the American flag black shirt? And he said, they're wearing the same shoes.
Why is that absurd?
That's how you decided these two are the same people. Oh, wow. What a scientific. They're both wearing Converses. Okay. That's an absurd thing to say. That is not evidence that these are the same people if we're both wearing Converses. That was what he said. That's what flew on the stand.
But I still don't understand how that would be absurd. If somebody,
it's an absurd thing.
For instance, if somebody were to change their clothes but keep the same shoes on, wouldn't you utilize the shoes to try to track that person? If
The
they were changing
idea
their
that on a
clothes?
college campus, 2 people wearing this totally different outfits, but both wearing Converses can't happen is such an absurdity that I don't even need to argue that. I'm just going to let people deal. We didn't want to just concede that point. Obviously, it's an absurd thing to say.
I'm not
I know
sure,
these are the same people because they're both wearing Converse.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
a lot
not
easier
sure
to change
if
a
in
shirt than
context
it
is
is your
what happened.
shoes.
But it
Even
is.
if
You can
is.
get a fact check on
Like,
that.
are you
even if
kidding
it
me?
is. Again,
And it was
if
Hull.
we're utilizing inferences, whenever we're dealing with logic and we're dealing with making a logical inference, we're going to take the entire collaboration of evidence and then we're going to make inferences from that. You would do that with any type of logical proposition. Otherwise, you could never have a true or false claim.
But you just told me I couldn't.
So
do
when
that.
I never, that never happened. You're just making stuff up. So anyway, when we're talking about logical inferences, what I'm looking for is the logical inferences that you have that Tyler Robinson's a patsy based on the totality of evidence that you have.
We can keep going through your other evidence, but we should find
Yes.
his tweet where he lists the reasons that he was convinced.
So let's start with the 30-06. I think that that's fine.
Your team's looking for. Do you remember how long ago that was?
The tweets of the 5. Did you delete it or no?
No,
Did
I
you
don't
delete
delete
tweets?
tweets.
Okay, cool. I just look for. He said
Unless I
it was his
misspell.
car. It was his. It was the car, and it was definitely the staircase photos, and it was when the trial was
Okay,
going
she
on.
has it. Perfect.
She has
If you got, Skylar has it. If you want to pull it up so we can
Fantastic.
see it.
Somebody said, so give me the clear evidence right here. I want you to provide it right here. All I heard from the investigator was, we believe this to be Tyler Robinson. Is belief something you go as a fact? You wrote the car pulling in. That's a totally blurry image. Robinson getting out of it. You have no idea if that's Tyler Robinson.
It
The
is.
fact that he is seen 4 other times on camera, the fact being just a standard white boy with brown hair was seen walking up staircase. The DNA on the roof, we should discuss that. And on the screwdriver that he left behind, it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, but that's not an exhaustive list.
Well, just so we're clear, you did tweet it.
But it's not an exhaustive.
Yeah, but
well,
just
you
5
said
seconds ago, you should
You
concede.
said I only said this one thing and said that that was overwhelming. Actually,
That's not what I said.
it is. You can even pull
Patrick,
your
did
own
I
clip.
say that?
Can you fact check if that was said or not? I did not hear her say
So the
this.
thing is funny here is like we
She
still
did.
aren't
I mean,
getting
she did
to
say
any of
that,
these
yeah.
inferences. So
Why are you pivoting?
so
But
that-
just say you
well,
were
I'm
wrong.
not. I'm
It's cool
gonna-
to just say I was wrong. I did say it.
I'm not wrong. So back to the tweet aspect here. It was really funny. That's not an exhaustive list of why I find it.
I didn't say it
overwhelming.
was exhaustive. I just said you said it.
And on top of well, no, you didn't. You said that I only said this one thing, and then said based on that it's over. Well, I didn't. You didn't mention that I mentioned the screwdriver, DNA, all these other things. You never mentioned any of that. So no, you're actually incorrect there. But on top of that, moving over to the actual evidence itself.
Are you
Yes, I'm okay. Anyway, back to
wasn't
the
gonna ask
evidence
if you're
itself.
okay.
Yes,
Actually,
I'm
I'm
fine.
glad you're asserting that you're
But
okay.
back-
I wasn't worried about your health. I'm
but
just saying
back to
that I
this.
just said you tweeted this. You said no, I didn't. We got a fact check, and now you're like just gonna gaslight me and pretend that I
There's
said
no
didn't say
gaslighting.
he
it wasn't exhaustive.
didn't
I never
like,
said
what
that.
are
I
you
just said
talking
did say
about?
this.
Zero gaslighting.
I didn't say you couldn't have said more,
Yeah.
but I would like to address what
I mean,
you
this
said
is
in
your
that tweet.
time. If this is how you want to spend it interrogating my position, you can do it that way.
I'm just addressing what you asserted on your Twitter was like the
She's
hard
stalling.
evidence that convinced
She's
you it was overwhelming.
stalling.
That's literally
That's
your debate
not what
claim.
you said. That's not actually, in fact, what happened in that exchange. I was here for it.
So what's your position here?
Yeah, so my position is that based on all of the evidence, which has been demonstrated, at least all the evidence to my knowledge, that I am actually not seeing anything that's compelling as an alternative theory. I'm not seeing anything which is convincing me of something otherwise than what the state is presenting as evidence. That's my position, if
Okay.
that's what you're asking me.
So just going back to what you did actually tweet, is it fair for me to ask questions about that? That's
Is that the
evidence.
only tweet you're going to ask me about?
Well, we're addressing your claim that the evidence is overwhelming, and this is a tweet where you listed what you felt was overwhelming. I think that's fair,
but not
right? I feel like
sure,
that's fair.
but not exhaustive, just so you know.
And I never said it was
Okay.
exhaustive,
Go
even though
ahead.
you said I did.
Sure, whatever you want.
But yeah, so going back to that, all of that, as you say to me, well, Candace, why are you addressing and making inferences off of the testimony?
No, I never asked you why. You're making inferences. I asked you how, with the inference you made, you got to the conclusion.
Okay, so I would like to know how you got to the conclusion, and I'm just going to throw it right back at you because
Yeah,
for some
that's
reason
fair.
you permit yourself to do it, and that's what I'm demonstrating is that you permit yourself to do it, and then you say when I do it, it's a conspiracy, right?
No.
How are you able to infer off of blurry staircase images that is Tyler Robinson?
Yeah, so in that particular case, what you do is you take that evidence, you combine it with other evidence. So it's not just that Tyler Robinson is seen in the staircase.
Why are you calling him Tyler Robinson in the staircase? That's what I want to get to.
Yeah, because, I mean, we'll just use this. If you don't agree that that's Tyler Robinson, then you would just have to humor me. I think it is, so I'm using the name.
But why do you think it is? Because you
I'm
make
trying-
everybody, you
that's
call them
literally what I'm
conspiracy
trying to
theorists.
explain to you. So if you're asking for my inference, why I think it's Tyler Robinson is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say. On
Yeah, I
top
would.
of
I'm
that,
sorry. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I
Yeah.
don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
Yeah, I'm
in footage.
paraphrasing.
Can
but
we
it was
pull that
close
up?
to
Yeah,
it.
If
I
you
don't-
may
I feel-
have
I
it,
think
if
And
that's
by the
not
way,
pull it up.
Twigs himself said that he
You're
had
gonna see me
some
on the staircase.
that he had some maybe a tiny bit of doubt, but it sure looked like Tyler Robinson inside of this various surveillance footage that he saw.
So Lance, sorry.
Hang
Go
on,
ahead. You're
hang on.
right.
So there's multiple reasons why it is that I believe that that's Tyler Robinson, not just because of blurry footage.
Did you have a dream? Just kidding.
No, it's because I combined multitudes
Sorry.
of evidences.
Okay, so let's address those multitude of evidences. The first one we're working on a fact check on because I do not ever remember him tweeting. That's me in the stair. I mean, or
Well, he didn't tweet
texting.
it.
Texting
Yeah.
that's me in the staircase. I think that
I didn't say that.
It's like
I
it's like
said
funny she tried to make the
he's-
dream
I
joke.
did-
It's like
literally
you're the one
didn't.
that said
What I
that for
said
real.
is that
You
he
fucking idiot.
texted
You're the
over,
one that said
you'll
that.
be able to see me in footage at UVU, and I'm paraphrasing, but that's
okay.
what he said.
Yeah, could we get a fact check on that?
You
The
can find
second
it.
thing you said was Lance's testimony, and actually what Lance says is I'm not 100%.
I agree.
But in terms of what he wears, again, pointing out the absurdity, he wears Converses, he wears sneakers. If his boyfriend is not 100%, I'd like to understand why Andrew Wilson is overwhelmed by it. That's what I'm trying to get to. And lastly, I would like to remind you that Lance's statement would not be permitted. This was a huge part of the preliminary hearing, that they were leading. All the questions that were asked of him were leading, so they would be struck down at the actual trial. And also, I would like to remind you that he got use immunity for that. Use immunity,
I understand.
which means like
That happens, by the way, all the time in these
and
cases.
I'm wondering why it particularly happened for Lance and this testimony. And I would also like to point out that something that's remarkable about this, again, leaning to my perspective, that Lance has a lot more, which I have said many times, Lance has a lot more involvement than the feds are letting us know. I think more
Nobody
is going to come
disputes
out
that either.
because they interviewed him on September 11th, and then for whatever reason, just ahead of what was supposed to be slated as the preliminary hearing, which was initially supposed to be in May, they bring him back to do this interview, which in my opinion should have never been allowed. And I actually agree with the defense that it's a violation of his constitutional rights not to allow them to have cross-examined him. But I understand Utah 1102, do what you do. It's all hearsay. But to allow it in that way for him to just be able to also have use immunity, knowing that he's not going to get in trouble. He could literally get up there and lie about anything, and he's not going to get in trouble because the use immunity was given to him in April, I believe. April 28th is when they gave that testimony to the defense. I think they shot it in like April 28th.
This is like her first court
2026.
case she's ever covered.
That is
in her
not
life.
compelling to me for somebody who has use immunity.
Use
to give a
immunity is
testimony
granted
and
to
say,
people
"I'm
all
not
the
really
time when
sure,
they are
but
testifying."
definitely like he wears jeans and stuff.
That's not what he said.
He did. Actually, you can get a fact check on that.
Yeah, that's
Skylar,
not,
I think
he
you
said
pulled
much
it up
more
if you
than
want
that.
to. So a couple things we have. We have Rule 801, Tyler's messages, that says it's not hearsay. But first, go to what Candace is asking about. Skylar, I think you have it. You just texted me if you want to pull it up. You said you have the text. If we can put that up on the screen. Thank you.
It was me. Look at the pictures from the surveillance footage. It was me. Okay.
Damn.
I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't remember this, and
Damn.
I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay. I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I literally said I don't remember that.
Well, I'm just saying to you, like,
Okay.
I'm trying to be
Oof.
concise
Okay.
for you.
And then also bring the 801 that you just said. What was the other one?
Yep, the 801, Tyler messages saying it's not hearsay, if you have that as well.
It's kind of Well, there goes your fucking argument.
Wait, what are we saying is not hearsay? I thought
Statements
you said
that
the
are not
messages.
hearsay. A statement that meets the following conditions is not hearsay.
It was hearsay. They said it in the trial.
Hang on.
Okay.
Okay. Is consistent with the declarant's testimony and the declarant denies having made the statement or has forgotten, or is consistent with the declarant's testimony and is offered to rebut the express implied charge that the declarant recently fabricated or acted in recent improper influence or motive in testifying. So then, wouldn't that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
No, so the issue with his
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Would that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
So the opposing party, which down the line, like I said, they talked about this for about an hour and a half.
She's getting
they
owned.
discussed
Like, she's
how
getting destroyed
if Lance
here.
was in court, and
Like,
he
it's
was
been kinda
giving his
like,
first
but,
party,
like-
giving his testimony as the opposing party, whatever. All of this would be fine. They had an issue with how the questions were being asked and that they were not allowed to cross-examine him. So that is why his video testimony would not be accepted in the main trial. And what I said to you is this entire preliminary hearing is under Utah's 1102. So they are allowed to just use hearsay. And
No,
so the
you didn't
judge,
say
when
that.
he
You said most of it was hearsay, actually.
yeah,
The
it was.
overwhelming majority.
Well, I mean, I'm leaning now into my opinion that some scientific aspects, which they kept asserting, like the federal rule 403 or 402,
She's
some of those
backpedaling
parts
now.
were quite
Sounds like
scientific.
you're backtracking quite a bit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not backtracking at all. What do you feel?
yes,
Let me
you
help
are.
you. Where do you feel like I'm backtracking? It
Well,
literally was done under Utah's 1102.
Yeah, nobody disputed that.
Okay.
What the dispute was is whether or not most of it was overwhelmingly hearsay.
Yes,
is that the case?
it was. Yes, that's
Okay.
a fact. I'm not backtracking on
And
that at
what
all.
are the things?
How many times did you? I mean,
Yeah.
if you watch the video here, it's like they constantly. I'm 1102, 1102, 1102,
She's so
1102,
fucked.
1102, and the reason for that is because it's allowed. I'm not saying it's illegal. It's allowed at this stage, but I'm just reminding you that when you're going to sit across from someone and your claim is going to be, "Where is your hard evidence? This is what I heard, and I agree with what I'm watching." You are watching the state put on a hearsay preliminary
There's gonna be
hearing,
hearsay. True.
and that
Yeah.
and all of those things are not going to be allowed, right? Even when they got into witness statements and things of that nature. There's a reason why they swear you in and they say, "You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth. Did you,
These
write
things
this
are not in
statement?"
dispute.
So it's the overwhelming majority of what you saw was hearsay because other people
Okay.
were representing other people's statements. They were saying they had conversations. We don't know where it came from. All allowed at this stage. Okay, but it's hearsay.
And
So it
But
doesn't.
even a lot of that stuff may not fall under hearsay, under what we just read, right?
But the evidence that you're speaking about, like when you're just when you say that we're going off vibes, you don't know Tyler Robinson. Okay, his boyfriend is not 100%. It was him. So I'm going back to your points that you made that this was overwhelming evidence for you. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, overwhelming just means
You can't
convincing.
consider another option that there
Well,
could have been
hang
another
on. Do you
white
agree
guy
with me
wearing
that I-
Converses on campus.
Yeah, do you agree with me that I said that what overwhelming means to me is that it's just very convincing to me?
Yeah, and I find it to be completely unconvincing.
fair. I
Because
understand that
I
you
looked
can
at those
find-
blurry photos
Yeah.
that they presented and said, your statement on right now is that
Yeah.
he's wearing Converses and he also wear like that's just
But
crazy.
these
to
aren't
me.
the evidences
And
that
we
I
also
find the
said
most
in the text
convincing.
Well, you
messages that
said
that's
that
him.
in your Twitter,
That's not the only thing I've ever said on my Twitter about this case.
right? But the question that was asked of you was pretty direct.
Yeah.
Right.
She's stalling
What
him.
did you
and
find
this
to
is
be?
not an exhaustive list of all the things
Well,
that
that's
I
not
find
what you said
convincing.
in the tweet. You can tweet longer too. It's not like we're limited now to 240
So,
characters anymore.
wait, so anything that I tweet and all other tweets that I've ever made are now excluded because I used the word overwhelming in this one.
Well, they
even
wanted-
though all of this
So-
information I've said so publicly over and over and over
This is-
again
she's
what informs
spiraling.
my position for why I'm convinced on the case. That's bizarre to me.
I feel like this is Andrew versus Andrew. Somebody asked you a question. What are the points that you find to be the most overwhelming? And you answered.
You mean
and
from that day, from that particular day of the hearing that I was responding to?
Okay, this is something you find to be more overwhelming? Let me ask you that question.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what
do
I
you?
was
Okay,
saying,
go ahead.
yes.
Go on. What do you find to be more overwhelming?
Yeah.
Can
So
we do this? Do we want to get into it, or do we want to do a quick ad break?
I'm
Are you guys good to keep going, or
I'm fine to keep going, but we can
would
also.
you like to take a quick break?
doesn't
or
matter to me either
If
way.
we're going into a different topic, that may be another 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I don't want to stop you
Yeah,
guys in the
let's
middle of it.
end
So
it
what
on
would
Oh
you
my
what
like
you
to
find
god,
do?
to be
ad
more overwhelming.
breaks.
Yeah. So if for me, it's the
We really doing
confessions,
ad
the
breaks
text
during this? Are you
messages,
fucking serious?
all of that is what I consider to be, from my opinion, that's the
Dude,
most
fuck
convincing to me.
Patrick Bet
Okay,
David.
we should discuss the text message confessions when we get back, if you'd like to.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Folks, we're going to take a quick ad break. We will be back in 3.5 minutes. Thank you.
Oh
All right,
my
you guys,
god.
for nearly 2,000 years, Christians
When
have
we
lived
set out to
continuously
create
in
a
a small
shoe that
village
blends
just outside of
comfort,
Jerusalem
Fuck
called
this, dude.
And luxury. We had the choice
A
to make it
fucking
fast.
ad break?
We had the choice to
Really?
make it cheap.
They've been talking for 30 minutes. She's getting, like, this is embarrassing. I genuinely do not know how you could argue otherwise. Like, I mean, people are going to. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Like, the people that watch Candace Owens are fucking retards. So they're going to argue regardless that she's winning, even though, like, there's nothing. There's literally nothing there. She's been filibustering this entire time. She's been arguing nonsense that Andrew hasn't even said. She's trying to, Andrew is, like, she's dodged, like, pretty much every single direct question that Andrew's asked. Like, it's pretty bizarre. This is pretty bizarre behavior. I mean, it's not bizarre because she's an idiot, right? But, like, if you were to watch this, if you didn't know who either one of these people are, like, by every metric, Andrew's winning. Well, how do you know it's him in the pictures? Like, well, he did say that in the text messages that it was him. Well, I didn't see that. It's like, how do you not see that? You're the big conspiracy theorist. That would be like one of the biggest points of evidence that you would think that you would look at. Like, I feel like this isn't being talked about enough. Okay, let me get this straight. Candace, you are the biggest conspiracy theorist who has been peddling this and making millions and millions of dollars off of this, and you didn't bother to read the text messages that Tyler Robinson sent to his boyfriend where he said, "That's me" in the security footage? Really? I remember reading that. That is the most retarded fucking thing I have ever heard in my... How do you miss that exactly? You know? That is like one of the big glowing he did it sort of things, is him saying, that's me in the security footage. And you're like, I don't remember him saying that. It's like, you're a fucking retard then. Like, I mean, truly, you're a fucking retard. Like, that is the most insane thing ever. Like, that was it to me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but like, to me, that was like a kill shot. That was like, okay, well, not only does Andrew just prove his point that he has every reason to believe that it was him in the surveillance footage, but it also demonstrates to me that you didn't even bother to read the Tyler Robinson text messages. You didn't really bother to study the evidence, you know? And and don't get me wrong, I understand she's going to say, well, the text messages are fake. And it's like, what is your proof exactly that the text messages are fake? None. But, you know, this is what these people do. This is the argument. It's like having to prove a false negative here. Well, I think that they're fake. Why do you think that they're fake exactly? Like, what evidence do you, like what makes you think that they are faking these text messages exactly?
Google, show me this guy's balls, please.
Ripped Goat sent $3 according to Candace's 215,000 audience. She's winning and Andrew is crashing out.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to make $100.
Oh, yeah.
On super chats and gifted subs. She's a pure tard.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. This isn't going to change anything. You know what I mean? These debates never change anybody's minds. And it doesn't matter. If you were dumb enough to believe Candace Owens to begin with, like, there's no convincing you. This could be so overwhelmingly one-sided, and these fucking, the Jake Shields of the world are still going to side with Candace, right? Like, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. They want their soap opera. It's a bunch of 50-year-old wine moms. They're too stupid. They're too stupid to be saved. And this is the really important message that everyone needs to take away from all of this at the end of the day, because we all know the truth about what happened. Tyler Robinson clearly killed Charlie Kirk. But what you need to understand is that people are stupid. Americans are fucking stupid. You can convince them of literally anything. Okay? Anything. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. And that's why you should just go out and bang an art hoe. Okay? It doesn't matter. Just go get laid. Get your dick sucked. Okay? That's my message for you today. My message for you today is that none of this matters, that people are too ignorant and too stupid to function, form, you know, or form coherent thoughts in their head, and they're incapable of being convinced. So you should go out and get your dick sucked by like the baddest goth bitch on the planet. Be like Drake, bark for her if you have to. Okay, that's my message to you. Okay, that is my message to you. All right, enjoy, and I don't really mean that. Obviously, I don't promote promiscuity. What I'm saying is enjoy your life. Okay, this stuff is fun, but you should remain a spectator and just enjoy it. And don't get mad. Don't get emotionally invested in it too much. Just enjoy the ride and have fun. You know, this is a hobby, and you should not let this impede your real life. Because the inmates are running the asylum, okay? The right wing is done for, and I don't think there's any saving it, outside of Nick and the Groypers. You know, everything else is a fucking sideshow, freak show. So if you're going to get involved and you do want to be serious, try to help Nick out, and if you can't do that, then enjoy your life. That's my message to you. You know, I mean that seriously. Enjoy your life. Don't ruin your life for this shit. Because I mean, we are surrounded by fucking morons. You know, Paul Town pilled. Is it? I mean, as it turns out, when you've known a guy for 10 years, you do tend to think alike. Paul Town is right. I do admire Paul Town in that regard. Like, he knew when to get out. He knew. I just still genuinely find all this stuff very fascinating and funny. You know, at the end of the day, the reason, unironically, there's two specific reasons why I still cover politics and I'm still sort of involved in politics. For one, I love Nick and I'll always support him no matter what. And I want to help him out no matter what I can do. But two, this is hilarious. Okay, as someone who considers himself somewhat of a comedian, it is ripe with material. Okay, ripe with material. You know what I mean? And I just want to have fun. And I find this so fun. By the way, we're still on the 3-minute ad break, you know? We're still on the ad break. But yeah, just where do you put yourself on the click theory? Jock, for sure. I'm the jock. Total jock. I don't know. I don't remember click theory, to be honest, but I'm a jock for sure. How much do you want to bet she left during the break? Hopefully Andrew is smoking a cig. Honestly, he deserves it. Let the boy smoke a cig, dude. He should have brought. We gotta get him on vapes. You know, Andrew's. Unironically, dude. It kind of sucks at first. I get it. Like, I'm with you.
Google, show me this guy's balls, please.
Love a good cig.
Paultown viewer _new sent $3. Thank you. Everything is coming together.
Thank you. Thank you for the 3, man. I appreciate it. Breathe air. You do not need a vape. You realize I do breathe air too, but I also
Google, show
really
me
like
this guy's
nicotine.
balls, please.
Yeah, Septism, thank you for the 100.
just gifted 100 kicks on Kick.
Thank you. No, dude, we gotta get him. I know it's like vaping is gay. I get it, but like, dude, Andrew, you go to a movie, these things are a lifesaver, dude. Just quick little puff, it'll get you through it. You know what I mean? Like that's why I keep these. It's like it's so good. We gotta get him on the vapes. Get a geek. I will personally, Andrew Wilson. I will personally buy you a geek bar. Okay, just try it. I know, like I won't even get you like a really just like a nice mint one. They're honestly for stuff like this especially. You just kind of step off, get a few puffs. The pouches I think suck. I think the pouches are even more feminine than hitting a futuristic cigarette. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why these people like freak out. Like vaping is gay. Why? Like what is gay about it exactly? It's cool. I like it. Like I genuinely don't understand like the thing. Like obviously I prefer holding fire in my hand. Like I love cigarettes and it does look cooler, but like the geek bar is just such a life-saving invention. You know what I mean? Popcorn lung isn't real. Popcorn lung only happened when people were buying knockoff Chinese THC cards, okay? This is way more than 3 minutes. Okay, here we go.
Okay, we're back. Fantastic. I think we're back. By the way, just an FYI for those of you that are watching The Crucible, there's 30,000 concurrent there watching. Support Andrew Wilson. That's your fans of his. Click that subscribe button and helps him grow his business. If you're watching Candace, I think there's 225 to 250,000 concurrent right now. We'd like to see that 300, 400,000 number on there. Click that button as well to subscribe and share it with your friends and family. And if you're watching it on PBD Podcast, do the same there as well. This allows us to have more conversations like this. The mainstream media hates the fact that we're having these conversations right now. Just so you know, they want to control it. This is free for all. This is what's best for the audience. That's why we like freedom of speech. Having said that, let's go back into the text conversation you were having, right?
Okay.
Let's stay there, and then we'll go into the cross-examination stuff in about 30 minutes.
Okay, that sounds fair. Okay, so yeah, I used basically three pillars for the totality of the evidence. Okay, so if you want to know exactly what those three pillars are, this is going to be the testimony with the text messages and the confessions. This is going to be the physical evidence, and this is going to be the totality of the summary of the case. Okay, so right now we're focusing on one of these pillars in my defense, which is fine. I understand that I have to defend my claims as well. So when we're talking about the messages themselves, they seem totally valid. I have no idea why they wouldn't be valid. And I have not heard any good explanation for why it is that these messages should even be questioned. The defense hasn't questioned them, as far as I'm aware. Nobody has actually questioned that these messages came from Robinson to date, except perhaps you and other people who are kind of in that camp. But why should I question these exactly? I'm not sure.
Okay, so first let's just go over legally what the point is of a probative hearing. The defense is not they're not there to say or to argue or to defend themselves at all. They have to address what is being presented by the state, okay? So they're not here to then say, let me give you an explanation for these text messages.
Agreed.
The relevant portion of what the defense did do was actually before
Answer the question.
we got to the preliminary hearing. I had mentioned that it was initially supposed to be scheduled for some time in May. They asked for an extension. That reading through those filings of why they were requesting an extension and why I actually believe their extension should have been granted because they did not receive discovery on their text messages. That was one of the reasons. There were many reasons why they wanted to have an
How
extension.
about
but
just
this was
answer the
crucial,
question?
right?
Why
so
should we
forget
question the
just
text
the general
messages?
sense that these messages feel off, and yes, you are allowed to have
They
an intuition. You
feel
are allowed
off,
to have
by
a
the
sense
way.
and just go, this
This
is
is the
very weird.
evidence.
We're being told this kid had like above a
Here we go.
4.0. Tyler Robinson, he wanted to get away. I mean, the
Above
text
a
messages almost
4.0.
run, head to head with themselves. Like
Above a
he wanted to get away
4.0.
with it. So he thought the best thing to do would be to text a full confession of what he did, down to what I didn't even remember, saying, yeah, and that's also me in the surveillance footage. It felt a little too on the nose.
Oh, do they do that
people
now,
have common
actually?
sense. You just don't text message. But then we're also supposed to believe that he put a note
No.
under because and
Retract it.
burn this and get rid of the evidence. But don't worry about that because I'm about to text you a full confession. That it felt off. It felt weird off the bat.
I
The
dropped out of
manner in
high
which
school.
They were
I know.
texting. We're told he's like a gamer who's using a Dremel to carve expressions, catch
Don't listen to me about
fascists, but then
GPAs,
suddenly
dude. I
he's
dropped out of high
writing
school.
like a
Also, as a Hell
1700
Divers
novelist.
player, he did actually get the 500K code correct.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, so we'll say that if we start debating that, you'll be way over my head.
But yes,
yes. But my
yeah,
point being
yeah.
is just that, just first, it's a general sense of why people had a reaction to these messages that seemed like they were written by Jane Austen rather than like a kid who games and writes catch
Yeah, but do you see how
fascists.
that's intuition?
That is, I just said that. I said just parking aside the intuition of just something feels wrong here, which you should follow your intuition. You should actually do that. If you say
I
the
think you-
COVID
I think
vaccine is
that's-
running out, feels like it's coming out too fast, and there's too many celebrities telling me to do it, I'd like to take a pause. That's good. That is, you are allowed to do that. I believe in intuition.
But,
now,
but hang on,
when I
hang
said
on, hang on. Let
parking
me
it aside-
respond a little bit here because you've been going for a minute. Let me at least respond to a little bit of this. So the first thing is like when people bring up the COVID vaccine, not trusting the COVID vaccine en masse was the science. That wasn't just intuition. That was the science. There was tons of competing science. Now they tried to suppress it. That's true. But there was tons of competing science for why you shouldn't take a risky mRNA vaccine.
Well, no,
and
the
masks and things
science
like
they
this.
kept telling us was 100%.
Now, when you're talking about
It was-
intuition, though, when you say trust your intuition, I'm actually giving a different message. You actually should be very wary about trusting just your intuition. It is true that intuition can be useful, but it has to be tempered with logic, reason, explanatory power, and evidence, not just intuition.
That's why we're parking it aside. Intuition's the first step. Something feels
Okay.
off, right?
Okay.
That was my first step with COVID. I
That's
don't like
all
the
that
way
this
it's being
is.
pushed. It shouldn't require a celebrity campaign, by the way. Another element of that is why people don't feel good about the Charlie thing. Why do we have so many influencers saying things? It's over. Why are you guys all using the same adjective? Can you switch it up? I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. Like, chill. Like, you could say, I found some
Kinda
parts
like Fed
compelling. I
slop?
think this should go.
Like
I
Fed
found,
slop?
I found some parts compelling. Maybe we should, see at the trial. That would be kind
Don't
of.
you think Fed slop's a buzzword for the counter industry?
But everyone on the same day of watching this trial, which was, I would say, not overwhelming at all. Nobody came in medium, right? No one came in like there were some interesting aspects. This was a little suspect. But I do think it's enough to go to trial. They all came in like they were passing away and we're going to die from being
Well,
overwhelmed.
they're trusting their intuition.
Okay, well, actually, in that scenario, they're looking at the preliminary hearing and have a reaction to it. It wasn't their intuition. But like
Why?
I said,
How do you know
parking
that?
aside, just getting to the substance, parking that aside, parking
Okay.
aside just a general intuition that sometimes might be second messages. Then we look at the
She's
filings,
such a
which came
stupid bitch,
from
it's
the
crazy.
defense, and they were requesting an extension saying, we have gone to the prosecution and we have requested all of this stuff in discovery. Yes, you are saying that you took Lance's phone, okay, and that you collected his phone on September 11th and that you sent it off or whatever. You took a picture of the text messages and we are being given these text messages to review. Crucially, Kathy Nestor said, I have not even been given access to my client's phone during this hearing. She said, I haven't even been given access to my client's phone. She can't tell you, as a part of their discovery request, it's not enough to say to me, Candace, I just got a text message from Candace, and I say, I didn't send that text message. Maybe that's what her client's saying. We don't know because we're not at the trial, right? Maybe he didn't send those messages. Could there be someone who logged into his Discord? Could there be someone who logged in to his Apple? George could be sending text messages right now. We are married. He has every login that I have. And remember, he's up for a death
That's
sentence.
not how that works,
So if I'm able
for the
to
record.
sow
You
reasonable
can't
doubt
log
with
into
common
someone's
sense,
cellular
he
phone
may
number.
come during the trial and when they actually have to address these points, say, I did not write those messages. I was here. Lance, my boyfriend, was logged into my phone, logged into my Apple ID and my iCloud sending messages. I know that we have the capability because my husband does it. He has the capability to send messages from my phone. It is not convincing to the public when for whatever reason, the FBI combined with the SBI, it was not the prosecution's fault. They made that clear during that hearing, would not allow them that discovery request to be able to see where did that message come from? Because you're saying my client was here, right? I want to know if that message actually was generated from his iPhone when he was waiting to retrieve his, rifle, hoping that the pooch doesn't have a bad sniffer, like just weird messages. I want to make sure that, yes, it was actually him. He was holding his phone and his boyfriend didn't just log in to his computer when he was home. Lance was his boyfriend. That is a crucial fact here. That discovery was not met by the time we got to preliminary hearing. So I remain unconvinced by these text messages. Just as you feel convinced by them, I feel unconvinced by them.
Okay. So then the idea here is the reason that you don't think that these are valid text messages, and you don't, right?
It has not been proven that these messages are valid, and they don't sound valid to me. I don't think anyone, even if someone was selling,
you can see what device is logged. Just for the record,
I don't know. Pot
if I log in
would be smarter than to write a
Discord on another laptop that I own.
He even writes, "I thought I would get away with it."
I can check and see what device
never
that's
to tell
being
you
sent
until
from.
old age, and
You know
then
what
we're
I mean?
being told
It will
that
distinguish
he wanted
which
to commit
device it's being
suicide.
sent
And
from.
okay, but he just said he wanted to get away with it, but he's not smart enough to, I don't know, maybe not text it's such a confession like we've never seen. I think this would be like the first time ever somebody has start to finish written an entire, I'm in this surveillance footage and I'm here and I'm wearing my Converse. I'm being a little facetious here, but it was a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
It didn't pass a sniff test for me.
You have kids and you love them more than anything.
I do.
If it was the case that you thought that your kid was innocent, wouldn't you be out telling everybody and their brother that you thought that they were innocent? And also, wouldn't you maybe recant and say, hey, he didn't actually confess to me. He didn't actually, none of this happened the way that the state is presenting it. What would have prevented the parents from testifying?
Well, two things. I can answer that. And if you watch my show, I keep telling you it's not vibes. So right after the shooting happened, Lance Twiggs, the FBI put him into a safe house they paid for. They went to the parents as well, to Matt Robinson and Amber, basically said, your life's at risk. There could be somebody who jumps up and wants to avenge Charlie Kirk. And, we're going to watch you. And they went into a federal safe house. What happened next is that they started thinking that the feds were maybe gonna, maybe not as honest as they thought. And
how do you know any of that?
So you gotta watch the show, right?
Yeah, no. How do you know that?
I had a source within the Robinson family.
You have a source.
Oh,
an anonymous
I
source,
heard.
of course. So there's no way for us to verify that what you're saying right now is actually even true.
Do you find it to be reliable hearsay?
No, I don't find it to be reliable at all. It's just a source.
I'm just doing what the
What you're doing
prosecution
is
did.
a cool story.
It's
You're
not
giving,
cool. Well,
hang
you
on,
must
hang
have
on. You're
hated
giving
watching.
us.
You must have hated
Hang
watching
on,
the
you're giving
preliminary
us.
hearing.
You're giving us a cool,
Okay,
cool
but
story.
wait,
You're saying that according to your sources, that the reason that the parents haven't recanted any of this.
Recanted what? They have no statement from the parents.
Wait, I just want to make sure that if it was the case, it was being reported in mainstream media that your father came to you and said, "Hey, is this you? What's going on here?" And then he and one of his buddies took you in where you turned yourself in. You wouldn't go out and be like, "No, that's not what happened."
That isn't what happened, though. You're just wrong on this.
Okay, maybe I'm paraphrasing. What am I wrong
So
on?
what is sorry, just so I'm clear, where is your evidence that the parents turned him in?
Well, no. I didn't say that.
You said
I
it was the mainstream media?
I said with a sheriff friend.
Yes.
But the father did confront him.
The father confronted what?
Tyler Robinson.
And where did you learn this? That the Tyler
Well, I mean,
confronted
that's part
him?
of the official documents. Our fact checkers can pull that up. But yes.
But I'm saying, when you say official documents, do you mean you saw this on CNN or you saw this play out in the hearing?
No, this was one of the things that I went through and fact checked pre-debate.
Are you talking about the charging documents?
I think it was it could have been in the charging documents, but we can pull them up.
No.
And yes, are you disputing this?
Do we have that in the back to pull it up? 'Cause
I can
know-
already tell you what you're talking about, the charging documents, because
Okay,
this
go
is
ahead.
where we had to figure out where this story came from, because everyone was operating under the assumption that Matt Robinson turned him in. Until we got to the preliminary hearing and we understood, like I said, even for that, when you are charging someone, you can use hearsay. It's all probative, right?
Sure.
Nothing. So they didn't have statements. It's not like Matt Robinson, even though he was interviewed that night. Amber Robinson was interviewed that night by a Fed, separate rooms. Tyler Robinson was interviewed by a Fed. They did not produce statements saying, my son did this. I believe my son did this. But what happened was they did interviews, but also the crucial person here who you just brought up is Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell is the biggest unknown in this entire case. Everyone keeps saying they heard from Mike Mitchell this, they heard from Mike Mitchell that. So when the person wrote up the report that night, and it was Brian Davis who wrote up what became the charging document, he after they transported Tyler Robinson from the Washington Sheriff's County office up to, I think it's Salt Lake City. I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning that they got up there. He then writes the what becomes a charging document. So he's basically saying, we all spoke to a bunch of people and here's the information that we got, right? We've not seen that. So it could have come from Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell could be saying,
I don't know how this negates the point, though. Why
it
wouldn't
truly
the
negates
parents?
the point because you don't have a statement from the parents.
Yeah,
you are going.
Why wouldn't they just correct the
It's not correcting. That doesn't
misinformation?
negate the point. The point is that we now got the preliminary hearing. If the parents were the ones who said, I'm turning my son in because he's guilty.
I didn't say they turned him in.
I think you're talking about the over. You said it's been the narrative. Everybody's known this. The narrative initially, which I think you agree with, was that, Matt Robinson knew his kid was guilty and turned him into the police station. What actually happened in terms of Sheriff Brooksby, who was present there and gave a press conference, what happened was this Mike Mitchell character essentially peer pressured him, and we can get a fact check on this. We can find Sheriff Brooksby's press conference. And he said, they know it's you and you're going to come in peaceably, or people are going to be banging down your door. He was a undercover cop, which I don't like that. I don't know what he did undercover. It's very hard to find anything about Mike Mitchell, but he worked with them for 20 plus years, the police officers. The reason why Tyler Robinson knew him was because he lived nearby and he was also his Boy Scout
How
leader.
does this negate that the parents could write this second? And by the way, if you had
I'm
the
going to
evidence,
address that point. I'm just saying that your first point, which is that the parents did this.
Yeah.
We don't know that the parents.
I didn't say that they did ever. Never happened.
You're quoting the parents as having said. You said that Matt Robinson said that his kid was. Did you say involved? I don't want to misquote you.
Confronted him about it.
Confronted him.
Yes.
And I'm telling you that we have not seen any evidence that is true.
We can fact check that.
Okay.
Because we do have evidence that
And
that's
I'm saying
true.
it's the charging doc, which could have been derived from a statement Mike Mitchell said.
Two things I have ready in the back. One
Cool.
is the charging doc, and
Yes.
the other one is a video of Kathy Nestor saying she hasn't seen Tyler's phone.
Okay, we can
Okay.
run
Which
Kathy to
one
go
would you
back,
wanna
and
see
then
first?
just to
You
go
wanna see
backwards
Kathy
to
first?
Kathy first in court saying she didn't get her client's phone. Yeah, and then I think we'll go to the. If
A
you're
thing
okay with
not,
that.
A thing not in dispute. These are all things that are not even disputing.
Okay, so we don't
And
have to show it.
We never get to the thing that I am disputing.
Well, I was just providing an answer. We were coming back in from a break because you were talking about the text messages as something that you felt was concrete. So it was just my rebuttal to you that it's not concrete because they haven't had a chance to actually answer that. And she didn't even get to see your client's phone. So that's effectively, again, the state saying these messages are real. You don't get the discovery on these messages just yet. She will during trial. They will actually get
Don't you
discovery on
think
the
that
messages.
would make their case fall apart if it was the case that they weren't able to actually pull the data off the text messages? Do you think the prosecution would go to court with fabricated text messages?
It's called winners and losers. They may not be fabricated, but by the way, as what they are saying, like I said, if there was somebody logged into his phone, they may not be fabricated. That's the point.
So let's get to the
they just
let's
could
get
be
to
somebody
the parents,
else.
the parents fact check. That
Yeah,
was
so
the
I
other
was
one,
saying,
right?
I believe what you're talking about was derived from the charging doc, which was signed off by Brian Davis.
Let's pull it up.
Let's see if that's correct. What are we looking at
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, I'm sorry.
Can you zoom in a
here? Is
little
this
bit?
the charging
I
doc?
can't see it. Robinson's
yes.
father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched the rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle, which makes sense with the text messages. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home.
Yes. So this is proving my point. This is from the charging document, correct? Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that 3 people got interviewed on that night. Mike Mitchell got interviewed, Amber Robinson got interviewed, and Matt Robinson got interviewed. Of the 3 of them, only one of them actually wrote a statement, which was referred to in this preliminary trial. He came in, I believe, in March. Mike
It's
Mitchell,
crazy that
and
their
he wrote a
story.
statement,
I just
which
want to
find
point
be
this out
very
too.
shady that they decided to
it,
bring
but
it
why
up.
aren't the
Everyone's
parents
lying
speaking out?
constantly, and all,
first
and
off-
it's just
That's
some.
the
It just,
question.
you know what I
the
mean?
parents are not going to.
The parents
ever
are lying.
Play in
The
court,
police are
play to
lying.
the cameras in court
The
when they have a
forensics.
legal team
Everyone's on the
that is going to be
payroll.
advising
Like, could
them
you
not
imagine?
to speak
Like
to the
the
court
like
because
the.
your son
If
could
you
go to prison
examine
for
it
crime.
Somebody
seriously,
else who's your
the
source?
amount of people
I'm
that
not
are
gonna address
on the
that.
payroll
They're saying to
of this
I don't
fucking
think I don't think-
conspiracy.
Won't go
This is
publicly
a
tell
$1
the
billion
media this is not
operation,
true?
is
Well,
what she's
I
proposing
did not
to
say
kill
to you
Charlie
that.
Kirk.
I just said I have a source, so I want to be very clear and take it from somebody who was
I mean, think
involved
about that.
and permanently sued. When I have to take my lawyer's advice, I mean, there's so many things that I want to
Every
respond
cop
to
is
when
in
people
on
are
it.
speaking
The
about.
Yeah, but it's
defense is
bizarre
on
that they
in on
would
it.
utilize a source which would get the information to you, but wouldn't just go to the media and be like, actually, that's all wrong.
I am telling you that you would nary find a lawyer who would advise you to go to the media.
Oh,
and speak.
this mother.
Especially when your son is
If I
up
thought
for,
that my
is-
kid
was up for death.
If I thought that my kid was in any way, shape, or form going to be up, you couldn't shut me up. Or my wife, she would be like, "That's not true. That's ridiculous. There's no possible. That never happened. These people are lying through their teeth. They'd be public whether you like it or not."
Yeah,
True.
That's for you and your wife. But when a judge issues a gag order in a case and your son is up for death, and your lawyers could be advising you that if you say anything, you could blow the case, you would have a more responsible consideration.
I see.
And we're speaking opinion here. You're like, well, I wouldn't care. I'd violate it, and I'd violate the judge's orders and see what
But
would
I mean,
happen.
if you have a
I'm
source,
not-
it seems like
I'm
they're
not-
violating it with them.
I'm not speaking to a source, but what I am saying to you is speaking just relevant to what this is. We have not seen any proof that that
believe
statement
he's
that is
shilling
included in
shoes
this
right
charging
now, by the
document.
way.
I think it is highly likely on the
Ugly-ass
basis of
shoes.
the preliminary hearing that
If
that
I
all
see
came
you
from
wearing the
Mike Mitchell.
PBD shoes, I'm beating
And
the fuck
Mike
out
Mitchell
of you. I'm
would
just
be
telling you that
a
right
part.
now.
He's
Based
saying,
on
"Oh,
the
I am
statements
bullying the fuck out of you.
well,
the
it's him
parents.
saying." The parents told me this.
You're
the
getting a
parents could
wedgie,
dispute
dog.
that. That's going to come down the line, right? They're going to be able to seat the parents. I will say this, putting together context clues. If the state had it on, 100% certainty that Matt Robinson and Amber Robinson said it, a 5-day preliminary hearing would be a good time to say we have enough evidence. And I can tell you why Matt Robinson made this statement, and here is his statement that he signed. That would have been a good time to present that evidence.
That
and
would
get the
also
public
be a
on your
good
side.
time for the defense to say that's just totally
No,
fabricated.
it's not. It's the wrong time.
It's not true.
Why couldn't they?
That is completely the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
Because what they're doing is they already said they didn't receive discovery. They literally can't. They literally can't because they can't. They did not
You're
receive
saying that
discovery.
they didn't receive that information?
No, they just received the text messages. But in order to
That's not the text messages.
the probative information,
Yeah, we're talking about the information that we just reviewed. That's not the text messages.
they never presented it. The state never put it on.
Yeah, they didn't. The defense could easily still have presented this. Yeah,
No.
they could have said they're
No,
no, they're not allowed to. Are
no,
you sure?
in a preliminary hearing,
Yeah.
the defense is engaging with whatever evidence the state decides to put on. They did not put this on as evidence. Brian Davis was up there.
So they're not allowed to present anything.
They're responding to the state's
I'm asking,
evidence.
are they allowed to present anything?
They are allowed to say,
Like if there was a conspiracy that they could prove right then and there, would they present that in one of these hearings?
no, it wouldn't be the right time for
I
that.
disagree. I think
It's
that
not a
they,
disagreement.
I think
You're-
that they not only could do it, but they would do it. In fact, when I talked in depth with my attorney, they said that's exactly, if you had actual evidence that there was fabrications by the feds, that's exactly when you would introduce that.
So when in the document that they filed yesterday or a couple of days ago, the appropriate, like what you're doing at this stage of the hearing is the state is saying we have enough evidence
Yep.
that we think this needs to go forth to the trial. Hence the reason that there's this extraordinary, we allow hearsay because it doesn't really need to be perfect. It can be enough that we feel like we can move forward, right? And okay, I disagree with that in general when somebody's rotting in prison, but whatever. The next phase is for them to meet in court and for the defense to essentially present an argument to the state that says, we find this filing to be defective in and of itself. We don't even have to defend ourselves because you, the state, have enough, you know what the laws are on the books, and this filing is defective and you should get rid of these charges because they don't make sense based on what you can decide based on a law on the books. So then that's why they then file the dismissal, right? So in the dismissal, what they're doing is they are engaging, and this is what was widely misinterpreted.
well, yeah, they're engaging as though as it's a hypothetical. If this is
Yes.
hypothetically
Yes.
true, then
so they're
X.
saying all of
Yeah,
these
but that's
charges.
not, I'm not disputing any of that.
So that's
what I am.
what you're asking
what I
why
am,
you're saying, could they
no,
just
what
put
I'm
on-
asking specifically is like, who could shut parents up who are like, no way, there's no possible, this never happened, this is ridiculous. They would be shouting it on CNN. They would be shouting it from the rooftops. They would be losing their minds. And you're like, nope, the gag order would be enough to keep them quiet. Not enough for them to talk to your source, but enough to keep them quiet. I think that that's quite ridiculous. But I'll even concede this whole point to you. Let's just say maybe this was misconstrued, right? There's a little bit of reason to doubt it because we're still waiting for the evidence for trial. If that's the case, then why not take the same standard for the evidence that you present? You're just waiting for trial.
Well, you didn't do that.
Wait
the
a
reason
second.
we're here.
Wait a second. I just want to make sure that I got this right. That's your argument to me, right?
My argument to you is what?
My
Sorry.
argument, your argument to me
Uh-huh.
is that, hey, wait a second, Andrew. There's not enough here that convinces me, right?
Well, that's actually my rebuttal to you, is that you are saying, why are people engaging in what you term to be conspiracy theories?
No.
I term it to be thinking. They're just thinking because they're recognizing there are a lot of holes in these
Oh,
stories
they're just
and that
thinking.
this is not strong
Just
evidence,
thinking
right?
in dreams.
This is
with
the
their
reason they're doing it.
vibes.
I'm explaining to you, this is the reason that they're doing it. I'm addressing what
Yeah.
you view to be
Oh, okay.
overwhelming evidence. And by the way, I want to be clear,
That which
what
convinces
you're,
me.
yeah, well, but thus far,
And this is
every
just like,
every
that's-
point
that
that you've
doesn't
brought
convince
up,
you.
every point that you've brought up, did you feel like this is beyond a reasonable doubt? I mean, you realize
remember
he's,
what I said in my
he's
opening.
going to be.
It's not
Free
beyond
thinking,
a reasonable
yeah.
doubt.
Still free
It's
thinking.
just what I find
That's
convincing
a
is what I find
callback.
overwhelming.
So why are you so upset when people say they don't find it
If
convincing?
that was the limitation of the claims that you made, if it was just, wait a second, there's a little bit of problems. There's some problems in this case that I have questions for that I want answers to. Nobody'd have a problem, actually. At least of all
That's
me.
true.
I
I
would
agree
be
with
the
that.
least likely person to have an issue with it, you, any of your fans, anybody saying. In fact, I've had tons of Discord calls about this. My position's always been clear. Of course, conspiracies exist. Some of them have way better evidence than others, but I've seen them myself. I know conspiracy. In fact, the federal government has hundreds of thousands of laws about conspiracies. They see them everywhere. We both know this, right? That's never what the problem is. The problem is when you make claims outside of, well, wait a second. I'm just questioning evidence here. I'm just questioning what the state's case is here. I'm just asking questions. It's when you make claims outside of that,
Yeah, saying you have Discord
where you
calls is
claim that
pretty
there's
power.
good evidence or good standards you should believe because, and then it turns out that it's all nonsense or it's wackadoo stuff or it makes no sense. And when we have a chance to cross-examine your evidence that you've presented, I'm going to show a lot of that. A lot of this conjecture that's based on literally nothing, that leads from no inferences whatsoever. Like you couldn't even infer it logically. That's the problem. The problem has never been whether or not you just said, you know, there's not enough in this case so far until we get to the trial. I remain unconvinced. I'm sure there's tons of people who remain unconvinced yet until we get to the trial. I think that's fine.
Yeah, you
I
said
think it's
there's a
fine. There's people who are
0% chance
convinced,
it's Tyler
too.
Robinson shot.
That's
Charlie
never
Kirk.
been my problem. My problem is the claims which are external to that.
Okay. I'm not sure I really care if you have a problem with what I think in my own spare time. I don't understand this like lecture that you just gave. But beyond that, what I'm saying is that
What
if the state
lecture?
is allowed to use
I didn't
this is
lecture
what
you.
this is what my problem is. You guys are not allowed. Yeah, you guys think while it's still legal. You can. You are allowed to do that. So, but anyway,
Nobody said you can't.
going back to you saying I wouldn't have a problem. I think I just demonstrated pretty thoroughly that what you claim that you have a problem with is exactly what the state is engaged in at this stage. So it just doesn't make sense.
That's not the case. In fact,
So
the
if people
thing
look
is,
and they say,
the thing
I'm
is
looking at
funny-
the gun and I see and I'm inferring this, and someone else says, I'm looking at the gun evidence and I'm inferring that, they're both doing the exact same thing.
They're not.
You're just saying, I want to do it for the state.
That's propositionally false. and
That
I'll
is not
explain- I'll
propositionally
explain
false.
exactly how. It is the case that every proposition is going to have a true or false conclusion, period. That's just logic, right? It's the law of excluded middle. All propositions are going to be true or they're going to be false. When we get into when we're making inferences based on propositions. We can actually come to true conclusions with false premises inside of a proposition. In fact, what we're talking about here is not whether or not you feel that you're convinced by this evidence.
but you felt like you were
Right?
convinced.
Sure. But here's the thing. When you ask me my reason, Andrew, why are you convinced by this? I can give you my reasons why I'm convinced by it, why it seems reasonable and rational to me to be convinced. You could even say, but Andrew, I'm just not convinced by it. If that was the limitation of your claims, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. That's why I wanted to have the conversation, in fact, was so that we could move into your actual claims that you've made, which transcend the idea of I'm just asking questions.
Before we get into that, your team has one thing they want to show before you go into
Okay.
that. So if you want to pull that up, this is the prosecution filing showing defense had full discovery by April 1st.
Oof.
They did not. That's not true.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
To date, the state's prosecutors have disclosed all evidence that is presently and reasonably
Reasonably
available
available.
to them as required under Rule 16 Utah R Criminal To be more precise, as of April 1st.
Yeah, that was not 100%. That's why they're caging that by saying what's reasonable. There was an entire, and we can pull this up. Like, we should now play the Kathy Nestor clip because that's from there. So, and they were basically saying you don't need it at this stage, meaning it's not reasonable that you're asking for this when we're going into a hearing that's just going to be based on hearsay and stuff, things of that nature. But of course, by the time the trial comes, you're going to get all the discovery
just show
documents.
cause.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
there.
I understand.
Okay, so that's
I'm even fine with it.
Yeah, we all know. And then, by the way, just now that the hearing is over, and you can also fact check this, they
Candace.
at the end of the preliminary hearing dropped like
The nervous
an
laughter is
insane
not
amount
good.
of the discovery stuff they gave to them like the week after. You guys can give me the exact amount. I don't want to say because I don't know my I don't remember how much it was. It was an absurd amount of stuff that they gave to them right after the preliminary hearing that they had been asking for. Because that was one of the things that I kept saying on my show is as we were watching that preliminary of the preliminary, why not just give them the stuff now so they can engage in these arguments? Because I feel like you, it's like, I want to hear what they have to say about the text messages. Why can't you just give them what they're asking for so that they can actually engage you? And it didn't happen. So, but the judge ruled that it wasn't necessary at this stage. And that was the whole point of that
Because it's
preliminary
a show
to the
cause.
preliminary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to play the Kathy video?
Well, he's saying he's not disagreeing, so I don't think we need
There's
to.
no point here.
There's no
Okay.
disagreement
All right,
that
great.
that she said that.
Yeah.
So so I guess
Yeah.
the
I'd like to
disagreements now
also-
would move into
I,
the evidences that you have stated
Yeah.
on the record, which transcend elements of reason.
Why are we
in regards
having
to this
a
case.
transcendental conversation now? Because I mean,
Because
first,
they're all
because
related to this
your
case.
entire thing was about looking at
What?
the evidence, which never made sense to me. Again, because all of the evidence that you felt to be overwhelming was hearsay. That was bizarre to me.
You told me that I could take as much time as I
No,
wanted
you
to
can.
question you on
No,
these
but
things.
I'm just asking you just to lay the groundwork of what you're saying is
Because you've
problematic.
made
That
many,
you
many
decide that it trips
claims.
into
I'll
something
explain.
else, and I do still want to hold you for going through because we've discussed the gun, we've discussed your,
and you can hold me to those things, but I
yeah.
would like to get into the
and
things
we
that
should
you've
discuss
said.
the screwdriver as
So,
well.
and I'll explain exactly what the groundwork is. When you make claims which pass the idea of I'm just asking questions because the state's evidence is not convincing, I think you have to answer for those claims because they are in regards to this case.
Yeah, this is what
You're
we all wanna
saying,
see.
I
This
have
is
a
what we all
claim.
wanna
It
see
is
right
in
here.
regards to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which is what we're talking about, not just the case of Charlie Kirk, his assassination. You should have to answer for the claims that you've made in regards to the assassination itself. You should, agreed. So if that's the case, then I would like to finally dive into some of that evidence and dive into
Well,
it.
just to be clear,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to have you talk about, like I said, publicly, you want to engage in some conspiracies, but I said I want to make sure that we get to the substance of our debate. The substance of our
This is
debate
part-
is
this is the
Oh,
major
so now
subject.
she wants to
demonstrating
avoid it.
that
Now
all
she's
of
trying to
the
avoid it.
quote unquote evidence.
I
that
just
you
want to get to
feel
the
that you
substance of the
have,
debate, which is you being on the
demonstrates
defense
that
for
Tyler
the entire
Robinson-
time and
I mean,
not
that Tyler
actually
Robinson shot
holding me
Charlie
accountable
Kirk.
for
You
what
don't
I
find
said.
convincing. I get it.
It's been invalidated by the testimony that we saw, and in your answer for when I
Well, you haven't
explained to you that he had
invalidated
the
it.
most degraded prints was I don't know. Okay, well there lies my ability to process that.
It's just fine for you
Okay.
to not be convinced up to this point. All of your viewers, everybody watching,
She's really stalling.
so
nobody's
you're,
she's
just
giving,
gonna, you're conceding.
nobody's giving a
that.
dispute that if all your claims ever were just up to now, the evidence that the state's
She's
given,
stalling.
I'm just kind of not convinced. That is not what's been happening. What's actually been happening is that you've made tons of claims in regards to this case and in regards to the Kirk assassination, which are far above and beyond, I just doubt, the state's theory.
Okay, yeah, I mean, sure.
those are
I
the
do
things
doubt. I
that
do doubt
I-
the state's theory. I also am
I get
welcome
it.
to say what I think. If you want to move into opinions, if you want to talk about Erica Kirk, if you want to talk about
Yeah.
Turning Point USA,
I'd like to talk about all
and
of
get
it.
into it, I'm
Yeah.
totally happy to do that. But I just want to say that, like, I do not feel, because I've said what's important to me is that we exhaust this topic first of our actual debate claims. I do
Stalling.
not feel that you sufficiently
Stalling.
have argued that the evidence is overwhelming.
I'm sorry.
Candace, question for you.
That
What,
Tyler
But I am
Robinson.
sorry you feel that way.
Candace, one question. What
I mean, she's
evidence do you
stalling.
need to see for you to say Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
That's a great question. So I actually expected in this preliminary hearing, actually, the
Patrick Bet
almost
David
the
contributed-
inverse of what he was saying is true.
Like, we
right?
were really about
So
to get
this
into
is
it,
now
and then
kind of- the
Patrick
state
Bet
is putting
David
on their evidence.
opened
That's the
his
purpose of
stupid
this hearing,
fucking
right?
mouth.
The state is using hearsay, but they're also putting on their evidence. So I was just expecting some sort of a slam
This
dunk. Like, we got
fucking
him on camera
idiot.
taking the shot. at least we have him clear on camera. You're telling me this guy drove 13 hours all around.
We
like,
were
we can definitely show you a
literally
picture
right
that
there.
it's going to be beyond a reasonable doubt. Before we even get to the trial, people are going to see and go, oh crap, like it was really Tyler Robinson. I was expecting
Can we
to
not
at
just
least
get into the
see
claims that
evidence
she has
that,
made?
because I
That's
had
what we
reported
want
early
to
on
see.
that
Because they are fucking
the
retarded.
source was saying that Tyler did not step foot on
gonna
campus
take a
that day.
piss.
It
I'm
is
gonna
my
take a
perspective that he
piss.
had something to do with something. I do
I'm
believe he
taking a
was
piss for
putting
episode.
like
2 seconds.
disposing clothes
Yeah,
at this stage. At this
trash
phase, I do believe he was disposing clothes. He was involved somehow. I find Lance to be more suspicious, if I'm being honest with you. And also, like I said, the use immunity that was given to Lance by the feds, the fact that the feds didn't ask him any questions, the fact that I spoke with Lance Twiggs' family, and they were like, it's very weird that the feds are not asking him more questions. He's exactly the person that I would imagine to be involved in some stuff. Allegedly, I'll say allegedly. But when we got to the preliminary hearing, there was not a single piece of evidence that I felt was slam dunk. I was waiting for that, a photo. I mean, anything would have made me go, all right, I think this could be the guy. If they had handed over the discovery on the text messages, since that was their big ta-da, we've got the text messages, that would be the first thing that I would hand over. But actually, who was holding them up? Like I said, it wasn't the prosecution. They're right to say we were handing things over, and we heard the defense argue on behalf of the prosecution, saying it's not them and it's not the SBI, it's the FBI that's holding on to things. As the FBI took everything. The FBI took the gun. The FBI took initially the screwdriver. And then when I heard testimony about the things that they found that were suspicious, example being the backpack, that's something that really bothers me, that they say they traced the shooter, they traced the route that he went on, and then there was an abandoned, we know it looks like he's wearing some sort of a backpack. We know that there was an abandoned backpack found at the bus stop in front of a library, and they felt that this should be taken into evidence. They took it.
I literally go take a leak, grab a
this was the
soda, come back.
testimony
She's
of
still
Amanda Baker, I believe her last name is, but you might want to fact check that because I think I'm blending last names. She was
This
the
is so
forensics for the
embarrassing.
FBI.
This is
and
so
then she
embarrassing.
says she gets a call on the 13th, and
he's just letting her.
They stop testing on this backpack because they find that the backpack actually belongs to somebody on Charlie's team. But if you know the map of the layout of the campus, you're going, well, what the hell are they doing all the way up? This is nowhere near anywhere. And by the way, that's not an acceptable answer for why you just gave it back. That's like, why would you give it back? You're acting like no one's ever been killed by somebody on their team before, right? So I found that to be very strange that it was on the exact route that the alleged gunman ran, and that their excuse was, we just gave it back because we heard that this belonged to somebody on Charlie's team. So that to me is, this is why the investigation itself feels underwhelming. When you learn, and this is completely crazy to me, that some of the artifacts that Charlie was wearing were immediately returned to Erica. That's absurd. That is absurd. Everything should be in evidence. When you learn that the car that they carried Charlie in to go to the hospital, they had immediately towed, cleaned, and back up for resale, that's absurd. That should be sitting in evidence. And any police officer that you speak to will say, or a person that's been involved in a crime will say, I didn't get my stuff back for years. That had nothing to do with anything. It was just around. And they kept it into evidence until the trial was over, and it has to be approved. I think somebody said
would that
by
even
the Attorney General
prove?
has to
The
sign off on giving
car?
you those objects back. And we were told this is all
You
fine.
want a bloody
and
car?
We see, this is just one example, Erica holding the crucifix. That should be in evidence. Irrespective of if you feel bad for her and think she should have it and it's sweet, that should be in evidence.
Why?
Immediately paving over the crime scene? This is like the craziest thing ever. It's like defies common sense. You immediately, and when you heard the guy who did it
on the college campus,
actually
you
go
want a
up on a
big blood
podcast and
stain
explain,
right in
I
the
got
middle
the
of
call.
the
They said it was
square.
a paver emergency.
Yeah.
I've never in my entire career heard of a paver emergency.
What would it even the
they
evidence
had already
be
had someone come up and dig
there?
up the dirt. So by the time he got there on Sunday, the dirt had already been dug up for him to lay down pavers. That is what people are looking at and going, this is weird.
Why?
There needs to be answers for why this was
I think
done.
it'd be
He tells
weird
us
if
the
they
call
made
came from
college
the
students
feds and
walk
the governor's
around
office.
a
You've
big ass
washed their
blood
hands of
stain
it,
where Charlie
and
Kirk
what
was
he's
fucking
saying
murdered.
Sounds true, because we heard during
That
the
would be
testimony,
fucking weird.
one person described the regions of who was in control of everything. The feds were in control of the courtyard. So in order for anybody to have paved anything, that was federal territory. so to speak. I'm maybe not using it in the best
Google,
cop
show
term,
me
but
this
the
guy's
feds
balls,
were in control
please.
of the courtyard.
Anonymous
So
sent $5
these are
as bad
things
as
that
her
I
side is
think
with the lack of evidence.
should be answered
A
for.
$300
Why are we doing things
payday for
differently than you
stalling
would
isn't a bad play.
in any other
She's gonna
criminal
get
scenario
fined.
of keeping the
yeah, for
evidence
sure.
until
I mean,
we
but
know
that's what this
more,
is all
until we're
about. She's
confident.
just doing it for money 'cause she's a
the various
disgusting freak.
decoys. I did it. It just doesn't look right.
Okay, so go back to the question. So what would you need to see for you to say,
Something, if they had, I was expecting, here we have him, he took the shot, here it is. And then I'd be like, great, a clear image of him on the staircase where I'm like, that's definitively Tyler Robinson and he was on
Right.
campus. We got nothing. We got literally nothing but hearsay of people saying,
But you basically get no case.
what?
You basically no case on planet Earth. You get the
Sure.
Oh, we got a picture.
Okay,
Here's him with the murder
you're
weapon.
right.
Here's him taking the
But
shot.
Most of this doesn't take place on a college campus that has surveillance everywhere.
Yeah,
One
but,
clear image of his.
But I don't understand when you're
his
asked
car plates,
If
you
you're
know,
asked
like-
the question, what would it take to convince? It'd be the same question be asked to me, Andrew. What would it take to convince you that the oppositional is
Google,
true,
show me this guy's
right? That he's a
balls,
patsy or
please.
something like
Right.
that.
J _
Just good,
sent
clear, concise
$3. What
evidence that's
happens
been
when you
presented,
give women rights?
right? And is
True.
being presented that I could go through and link all together to see if there's actually some clear picture.
Yo,
of
Thug,
there
thank you
being
the
a
5 gift
patsy.
to me. I
That's what
appreciate
would
it.
take for me.
Okay.
Just
I
a
don't-
good,
I don't disagree with
just
that.
a
We actually
good,
heard the
hang on,
defense
just a
respond.
good evidentiary standard, and then of course I would change my mind.
just to qualify this, so there is a possibility in the next few months that you may come out and say, guys, it's done. Tyler killed him. So you're saying yes to that.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for the audience.
You
to
said
hear
at the
that from
beginning
you.
of the
Without
debate,
question.
For you, is there
0%
anything that you could
chance.
see for you to say, yeah, this guy was a patsy. The
Of
government was
course,
involved.
I'm going to always
Okay.
follow evidence.
Perfect.
So my whole thing is just this. It's
You literally
really
said it to me.
important to
You said a 0%
mind.
chance. You lying
Google, show me
bitch.
this
truth
guy's balls,
seekers
please.
and justice
Septism
searchers
just gifted
and
100
the
kicks
internet
on
has
Kick.
helped solve
Thank you,
tons of
Septism.
crimes.
Appreciate it.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? However, there's also people who, they not only don't solve crimes, but they just come up with conjecture and what's called flooding the zone. You flood the zone with tons and tons of conspiracy-based ideas, and they go nowhere, right? And in fact, they actually take away from legitimate investigation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not even saying anybody here is purposely flooding the zone. That's not even the claim. All I'm saying is that the claims made absent, this is just me not being convinced by the state's evidence. Those become claims, and claims have to be defended. Just like mine have to be defended, yours have to be defended. And that's what we're going to get to now, yeah?
You want to get into it? Would you
Yeah.
guys like to take an ad break?
We'll take
before
an
we
ad
come
break.
back?
Take an ad break, sure.
And then we'll talk Erica Kirk and TPUSA.
And the conspiracies that have been conjectured by Candace Owens in regards to this case in the Charlie Kirk
Perfect.
assassination.
Folks, we'll take a 3.5-minute break and we'll be back soon.
Another fucking
All
ad
right, you guys,
break.
you have probably seen all the buzz around.
Another fucking ad break, dog. To sell some shitty ass shoes. If you wear these shoes, like straight up, dog, I'm spitting on them. I'm scuffing those fucking things. If I ever see you wearing the PBDs, dude, I'm scuffing those fucking things. Thank you
Google,
again,
show me
Thug
this
Tug,
guy's
man.
balls, please.
Eddie LaViolette sent $10. Candace was right.
Thank you.
$300K was way too low. She probably could have made $1 million to go to Dubai and get shit on privately.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate it. Almost at the Gold Sports Stream Project. We should get an ad break here. Yeah. We got five subs from Thug Tug. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, God of Conquest. Thank you, Anonymous. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys supporting the show. I did, because this is the meat of where I want to get to this too. Because this is, I agree. I actually really agree with Andrew. Like, I don't really care about people asking reasonable questions about stuff. Like, I think that's fine. Like, I am a conspiracy theorist, 100%. I find conspiracy theories very fascinating. I do. Like, even if it's something that I don't inherently believe, like, I do like exploring them sometimes, just sort of maybe like an intellectual exercise even, you know? I find them interesting, and I like to be a very open-minded person. The problem is that for the past year, Candace Owens has essentially insinuated that TPUSA and Erica Kirk have killed Charlie Kirk. She's attacked Erica Kirk nonstop, which is absolutely disgusting. I'm not a fan of Erica Kirk by any means. Like, I'm not a fan of TPUSA. I never have been. I never will be. But harassing a widow is insane to me, with absolutely zero evidence to back it up. You know what I mean? Like, and don't get me wrong, Erica Kirk's a weird person. Most people involved in politics are weird people, and Candace Owens should know that first and foremost. Okay? And so when you see behavior from people that are involved in politics that may not seem like normal human behavior, that's kind of how these people are. You have to be a psychopath to get involved in politics. You do. You have to be a psychopath. You have to be almost devoid of all human emotion in order to succeed. But this isn't even exclusive to politics. This is exclusive to any sort of like upper echelon of power or influence. Politicians, movie stars, you name it. You have to be a psychopath to be successful to a certain degree. Clearly, Erica Kirk is very successful, and she is a bit of a psychopath. But that does not indicate her or implicate her in the murder of her own husband. Okay? Do I think maybe it was a political marriage? Sure, absolutely. This is something that human beings have been doing for fucking 2,000 years. Okay? So, I don't really understand how this implicates her because she acted weird. You know what I mean? It's the most retarded thing on the planet. You know what I mean? And it's disgusting. Yeah, great point too. Candace Owens literally herself married into British oligarchy. Like this is something that happens. Okay, this is not new information. This is not anything crazy. Suggesting that Egyptian planes were flying around. Remember? And by the way, you know what's funny about all of this too? Is the people that are backing up Candace and the people who have defended Candace this entire time have been claiming that it's been Israel, right? That's Israel is behind all of this, somehow. And yet, during this entire debate, Candace Owens has not once even made a single argument that points in any direction towards Israel. The main theory from a lot of these fucking retard conspiracy theorists on the right, like Jake Shields, like Ian Carroll, and all these other fucking morons, Sneeko, etc., is that it's Israel behind it, and yet Israel has not even been even remotely close to the topic at hand of this conversation, and nothing that they have shown has proven otherwise. They're saying, if anything, when you hear them, Candace explaining the evidence, they're pointing towards like the trainee boyfriend. That's what they've been pointing to. Not Israel, not anybody connected with Israel, but the trainee boyfriend. Well, maybe the trainee boyfriend logged into his Discord and sent this. Oh, well, maybe the trainee boyfriend, lied about this and that. Haven't talked about Israel a single time. Isn't that strange? It's just a thought. I don't know. But we haven't got any sort of coherent theory at all to begin with from her. And we never will. Right? Just asking questions is a very convenient excuse when you don't know fucking anything and you're a fucking retard. And again, if examine the scope of what she is proposing here. So the text messages are fake, right? They can't get the phone back from the forensics examiner. The undercover cop is also in on the amount of people that Candace is suggesting is in on this conspiracy theory. We're talking hundreds of people involved: local police, state police, FBI, forensics examiners, medical examiners. Everyone is in on this payroll. Hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of people are all colluding together. By the way, and these are normal people, normal United States citizens who have probably been in their positions for decades, that all of these people are colluding to get Tyler Robinson convicted. Even his family members apparently are also in on this. His boyfriend apparently is also in on this. Do you know the scope, the scale, and the amount of money? Would it not have been cheaper and easier to fucking blow his ass up with a car bomb or a drone? You know what I mean? I mean, what we're talking about is one of the biggest conspiracy, like the biggest cover-ups in history is what she's proposing. You could have just slipped some fucking arsenic in his water. You know what I mean? Like, why even have a patsy? Like, that's what I don't even understand. What is the point or the like TPUSA's in on it. The police are in on it. The medical examiners, the state police, the judges, the prosecution and the defense and his family. What you're proposing is fucking insane. And by the way, even if it were true, not a single one of these people has managed to like be inconsistent in their story. You know what I mean? Not a single one of these people. You mean to tell me 1,000 ordinary American citizens in different positions, in different fields, completely unrelated to one another, all just so happen to be consistently telling their story. And not a single one of them is breaking or having remorse or seeing all this footage and like, you know what, I've changed my mind. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. Not a single one. Wow. This is the most impressive conspiracy of all time. Honestly, I'll tell you what, if Israel managed to pull this off with all, they deserved it. They deserved to get away with it, honestly, at this point. You know what I mean? If they could manage to get all of these people convinced and pull the wool over everybody's eyes like this, fuck it. Let them have it then. They earned it. They pulled off the fucking heist of the century. You know what I mean? And again, all of this for Charlie Kirk. Somebody whose star was waning, by the way. Somebody whose influence was waning. Like, somebody who is very pro-Israel, who literally paid money to send kids to Israel to specifically brainwash them into being pro-Israel. Not for religious reasons, but for political ones, to learn about how good the government of Israel is. Charlie Kirk paid kids to go and do this, by the way. And then the insinuation is that Israel killed him and then pulled off the fucking heist of the century. It's just the most asinine thing of all time. You know what I mean? It is the most asinine conspiracy theory of all time. Like, the logistics of it alone, the logistics of all of this alone are insane. I'm sorry. Mossad's good, but they're not that good. You know what I mean? Clipped, by the way, good. It's the most insane thing of all time. He met with a rabbi the day before the event. He invited Ben Shapiro to speak at TPUSA, like, 3 days before, right? But yeah, he was going to be big. And by the way, also, why would they not have tried to kill Candace at this point then, too? You know what I mean? Why is Candace still alive then? If they're killing Charlie Kirk for being anti-Israel, why is Tucker still alive? Why is Candace still alive? Why is Nick still alive? Why is Ian Carroll still alive? That last one, I especially ask myself every single day. I keep expecting him to wake up one day and he's choked on a slice of pizza. You know what I mean? I keep expecting one day Ian Carroll dead at 35, got too high and choked on pizza last night, you know? But you know what I mean? I'm just asking questions here. I wake up every day. Ian Carroll found alive. No, no kidding. I don't want him to die. I just think he's a fucking idiot. Yeah, dude, right, Vile? It's like, oh, they killed him because he invited Tucker Carlson to speak at TPUSA. And it's like, well, why didn't they just kill Tucker then? Oh, well. Nevertheless. And then, yeah, and as it turns out, Tucker still ended up speaking at TPUSA anyway. So, mission failed successfully, you know? Tucker's dad is CIA Beardson. Oh, true. Yeah. That's how they got away with it. It's the most insane thing ever. Like, it just does not make any, like, you want to talk about vibes? You know what my vibe is, Candace? You're a fucking retard. That's my vibe. My intuition is telling me, I'm inferring that you're a fucking retard. And I have evidence to suggest that, because you can't pronounce a fucking word. You cannot read or write. It's insane. You know what I mean? I mean, just absolute scum. I initially wanted to like give her a break when she was started saying all this crazy shit. Because again, if let's use Michael Lionheart as an example, if there was a video of Michael Lionheart getting his shit blown smooth off, and I had to see it, I'd be traumatized, and I mean that seriously. I would save the video and I would make edits, but I would be traumatized. If Michael Lionheart was on film in 4K for the whole world to see, getting his shit blown smooth off, that would traumatize me. And I probably would think, like, some probably crazy shit, And I understand that. Like, I'm being, like, genuinely, I know I'm joking a little bit, but, like, I'm being serious, though. Like, when that had to have been very traumatizing for Candace Owens. It was traumatizing for me, and I briefly met Charlie Kirk for, like, a split second. You know what I mean? That was my relationship with Charlie Kirk, is that he offered me a bottle of water one time because I invaded his green room at CPAC. You know what I mean? That was it. And it was traumatizing to me. And I don't like seeing it. You know what I mean? So I couldn't imagine how Candace
so we're
would feel.
officially back.
So I understand
Andrew,
being
before we go on to
traumatized.
the other issues
We're
we
well
wanna talk
past
about,
that.
Is it fair to say you're good defending your position of the overwhelming evidence?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. You take the lead. Go for it.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of questions for you, and I want to make it super painless, right? So no traps, no gotchas. I'm just going to ask them direct. And I think that as long as they're not loaded, if they're loaded, you should not respond yes or no. But as long as they're not loaded, if I just directly ask them, I'm hoping that you'll just give me a direct answer. So here's the questions that I have.
Wait, before we get into that, I would like to just reply to that. So just to be clear, we agreed to debate our claims, and then I agreed publicly that I have no issues having a conversation with you about other things that I've discussed that were outside of the court hearing and things like other evidence that's come across our lap and things that we've been speaking about. But I just do want to make it clear to viewers that for whatever reason you think that you have a right to sort of depose me.
I'm not deposing you. I just want to ask you some questions.
You literally said that I want to be able to question you.
This is a meta conversation.
Right,
we're having
but
a meta
okay, so
debate.
now we're transcending. Like I
Here we
use
go.
a word
There's no-
to use
here
a
we
word
go.
that you're
She's
saying.
She's backing out now.
But this is
She's
what you're
backing
doing, right?
out
So
now.
this part to me feels like a
So
bit of
am I
a.
allowed to ask the questions?
I've already said you can ask questions,
Then
but I
let me
made it
ask
very
them.
clear to you
Yeah.
via email and with you in conversation that
Wow.
we should be speaking. This
Yeah, I
isn't
know,
like
but
you
I
get to
wanna-
sit.
I wanna
I
ask
said
you
if you
some
wanted to
questions.
depose me, you should join
I'm not
Brigitte
deposing
Macron's
you.
defense team.
This
But
is
you're
part-
like, I'm
this
just
is
going
a
to ask questions.
legitimate
Can you
part-
answer it? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what you're going to ask. And
I
I'm
know.
going to
And
answer
if
as
you
I
have
see
issues
fit
with
because
it,
I'm not.
I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
I get it.
Just
If-
so we're clear. 'Cause-
Usually in the debate, if something's not loaded, I'm just direct with the
because you kept
question,
saying
with
I'm
the
Joe
answer.
Rogan. They have no evidence. They have no evidence. And now you're like, let's move away from the evidence.
You
Just talk about
actually,
transcendentals.
yeah, okay. Anyway, so direct question,
Good.
super easy. Was Lance Twiggs DNA on the rifle, as far as you know?
We can't say that for certainty.
As far as you know.
I already answered that in the first part. We can't say that for certainty. I told you the context of which they spoke about those things.
So
was-
no, as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty until we know what other the 5 sets of prints were
So
on
that
there.
would be no, as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say no, as far as I know, for certain.
We can't say that for certainty. I actually,
You can
I'm
say
just so
that
you
for
know,
certainty.
if your energy here is going to be like you're my dad and you can tell me how to speak or what I'm supposed to say, you're just going to come up against the wall. I'm
Okay,
familiar with
but-
this debate strategy.
but I
like,
am just
yes or no,
telling
yes or no,
you.
yes or no. We're not debating anymore. We're having a conversation. So I already addressed that in the first half of this about why.
No, we're still
there's-
definitely debating.
She's looking
This
for
is
an
still,
out.
No, it's not a debate.
This is
Now
inclined
this
to
is
your,
you saying I want to probe
Yeah.
things that sit outside of the evidence. I actually already
That you've
addressed this.
stated.
You asked me.
Uh-huh.
You're not going to go like where you're
Okay.
sitting and I'm on trial. I'm not on trial.
Okay, great.
So
let's
you
talk
can
about
have a
the
conversation
let's
as
talk
we've
about the
agreed
French.
to.
Let's talk about the Foreign Legion.
Sure.
Was the Foreign Legion, do you believe, trying to kill you?
Yes, that's why I reported it to the correct officials in government. That's what I was told, and I handed
The
over that
Foreign
information to Tulsi Gabbard's office.
What's your best piece of evidence for that?
Well, it was
Positive evidence.
It was told to me
Mhm.
by somebody who is high up in the French government. I passed off that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office.
It was
I
told
also
to me.
passed it off to Trump's office.
It was told to
Donald
me in a
Trump's office.
dream.
And that's all I can tell you. I wouldn't be able to probe any evidence because I don't have the power to do that. I'm not the federal government. And I would also like to say that this becomes this other piece of what you do, which is when people say this I was told
so
this, and this is the
embarrassing.
evidence that I have, and I'm willing to have that conversation and write the email to the correct government body that deals with this. Like, I can't hack into Emmanuel Macron's bank account and say whether or not the information.
I agree.
But then you go, well, where's your evidence? It's like, well, my evidence is that I reported it. I did the right thing that you're going to do. So if somebody
not
calls
evidence.
and says, hey, Andrew, there's a viable death threat against you, and that person
Knight, please.
definitively
Knight, the
has
audio's in the
right
red
to
already.
be
You
able to
fucking
tell
turn
you
up
this,
your speakers,
and
you
say, well,
fucking
what I'm going to
idiot.
do now is I'm going to report that to the feds. Then I go, what's your evidence?
Literally, you're
It's
the
like,
only
well,
person
I
with
got the
audio
information,
issues.
and I gave the information that I got from who I got it to the right body of people. And that's
Okay.
what I did.
Got it. I just want
Cool.
to make sure.
And so
I'm not
it-
trying to trap you.
Well,
I just want to make sure I got it clear.
and that's why I say I want to know what you're doing now, because this has always been the thing. It's like, we actually can't win on the overwhelming claim. So we're just going to go and bring up everything that I think can try to embarrass her. I reported
I'm
exactly
not
as I
trying to
received
embarrass
it.
you. I just want to make sure that I get your
Yes,
positions clear.
I have not said, yeah, go ahead.
And now you have stated multiple times that you believe that Israel's involved in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Can
Google, show me
you
this
give
Yes,
guy's
we can
balls,
pull up the
please.
clip.
Anonymous
sorry, I'm just
sent
saying.
$3.
Can I finish the sentence?
2026
Go ahead.
is not good
Can you
for
give me
brown
the
clowns.
context for what you're, are you
So
talking
confusing,
about?
anonymous.
Like, when I say, generally speaking, why people think that Israel's involved?
hmm
Okay, where's your question?
Yeah. Do you have any positive evidence whatsoever that Israel killed Charlie Kirk?
Well, I couldn't say Israel was on the ground and shot and killed Charlie Kirk. I would say that there are various things that we're trying to establish, one being a motive. And since I don't believe that Tyler Robinson and his transferee is a convincing motive because he was fired up about politics, which Lance testified that he never spoke about with him, nor do I believe that he was so into LGBTQ issues, since Lance testified they never spoke about LGBTQ issues, that he stopped and ate at Chick-fil-A, which, if you are into LGBTQ issues, wouldn't be your lunch before you go kill Charlie Kirk for LGBTQ issues, because
I've seen gay
Yeah, but do
people
you have
work at
positive
Chick-fil-A.
I'm answering.
What
the
are you
question as I
talking
feel like
about?
I wanna
Gay
answer
people
it.
aren't
Like I
allowed to
said,
eat
you don't get
Chick-fil-A,
to, for an
apparently.
hour and a half pepper
But the question I'm
questions and
asking is
tell me.
about positive
I'm
evidence.
telling you that in any case, establishing a motive and and again, I already explained this at the top of the show, but the reason why people find Israel to be an interesting question is because, truthfully, Charlie's perspectives were changing on Israel.
Sure.
And he was starting to realize how much pressure was being put on not just our government to constantly fight their wars, but also being put on his organization personally. If people had come out and been honest about that, rather than rabid, claiming he never flinched and everybody's lying and this is not true, you would probably have people that just go, that's life. People change their opinions.
I understand.
And then there was the rabid, I mean, not even that. It's like everything was about trying to convince the public how much he liked it.
So then,
loved
other
Israel.
than intuition, how you feel about things, do you have any evidence Israel
I
was involved in
have-
killing Charlie Kirk?
I have already said, and if you're watching my show and the context of what I said, this is the general sense of why people think Israel's involved. Nobody has made the claim that Israelis,
Yes, they
there were
have.
also,
I mean,
obviously
Ian
Joe
Carroll
Kent.
made
Yes,
the
they-
claim.
Well, Joe Kent, who I think would have the right to assert it, noted that there were 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground that day. I think most people would like to probe that. Now, it could be maybe they were students, and they were Israeli students in Utah that day. But we'd like to probe
Yeah,
that narrative
probably.
because what we've seen after, coming from the Israeli government, the Israeli prime minister, kind of denying that he did it, which wasn't really necessary, was quite busy. The phone call that happened, which no one wants to discuss, in the Hamptons the week prior, or not the week prior, I think it was around August 5th or 6th that took place. And again, the almost desperate lies about Charlie shifting opinion on Israel lead us to believe that there could be an Israeli angle in this. But we cannot say for certainty that Israel called the shots and this is how it happened. But it is definitively, I think, a thread that a lot of us would like
Do you
to see
say there's no
pulled.
positive evidence?
Whatever you want to say, however, positive, negative, however you want to say it.
Well,
I
like
don't
positive
need to, I
evidence
can just
would
have
be
a conversation.
material evidence and other evidences which would
what
point
we've
you
said
to it.
is on our show is what we said, which is this feels like a conspiracy building. There's no
Debate.
reason to lie about these things.
Andrew,
and yet
you could
people are
lead a kill
lying.
shot right now.
BB ain't acting right. The
If you just
Hamptons
pull up
thing
a
was
picture of
weird,
Charlie Kirk wearing a
and
fucking
the way they
yarmulke,
tried to shove
okay?
the Israel narrative down our throat immediately. I mean, the day he died, posting a picture of him with an American and Israeli AI'd photo on the president's feed doesn't feel right. So
Do you have any evidence that Erica Kirk or TPUSA participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I've never said they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk. So how could I say that I have evidence they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Okay. So then you don't believe that they did?
I never have said that statement, so I'm not going to get you to ask me personal questions
Legal.
about things that I've never said on record.
Okay, fair.
She's afraid of getting
Your
sued.
team is sending messages in the back saying they have a video they want to play.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what the video is.
Candace, look at Candace. He's so worried.
If you're, yes, you said that there's a video you want to play that Candace said she has full confidence Israel was involved.
Yep.
Yeah. He said evidence that they killed him. I said
ahead
this
and
is why
play it,
people think
though.
their involvement.
So she
If
can
they have the clip,
Yeah,
they
if they
can
got
play
the
the
clip.
clip.
Yeah.
They're referring to a clip.
Yeah.
Via whom? My guess is Pierre. Erica. I think that there's a reason Pierre knew that Charlie was dead first. I think there's a reason he was a priority. How? Why? I think France and Israel are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination.
France and
And,
Israel. France
I'm
are
gonna
now
put that
also
out there with
involved
full
too.
confidence.
Okay.
I also
Involvement.
now have-
I understand.
Yeah.
So you
That's-
think you with full confidence you think that
Yeah. I think
that
Israel's
France
involved.
and Israel.
Yeah, I mean, the person that gave me that thing that I reported said that French Foreign Legion were on the ground that day.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that
This is the
information
most
that I
ins-
handed over.
like,
I can't do that.
you know
I'm
what I
not the
mean?
But you
You
don't
United
have
States
any
government.
positive evidence of
Okay,
that.
okay.
Right?
Liz, I don't. Can you just stop? It's actually just like annoying to hear you keep saying positive evidence. I've just asked me what I think, and I just tell you, yes, I think
Well,
they are
that's
involved.
a claim.
No, I said here's what I think.
I have every right
think-
to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if there's
I said,
positive evidence
in
for
this
your
statement,
claim.
I literally just said I think, and I am allowed to think. And
Yeah,
you
you're
keep
allowed to
saying,
think,
do you have
but you're making
positive
a
evidence?
claim.
You
I have
actually, you
tons
should
of
not be
positive
allowed to think.
evidence that I'm allowed to
Actually.
think.
I
Yes.
agree. You're allowed to think.
Okay.
You should not. be
Nobody's
allowed to
disputing
think.
whether or not
Yeah,
Candace
but
Owens
like
is allowed to
you're-
think. What
you're-
I'm
I am
asking is,
disputing that.
But
you
what's
have
your issue then?
positive
What is your issue with the statement?
evidence.
I think
Uh-huh.
that Israel is involved.
That's
I
not
do.
what. That's not just what you said. You said
I did
that
say I
it's
think.
with full confidence.
Yes.
You would think that if you had full
Can you have confidence
confidence,
to think when you think?
if I said, for instance, I think I'm going to be late to work, right, with full confidence, I would say my evidence for that is that I'm 20 minutes away and I need to be there in 5.
Andrew,
That's how you would know whether or not you had
I'm
full
just gonna
confidence.
tell you something.
Hang on, hang on, let me finish.
Sure.
Let me finish. If it was the case that I said I have full confidence I'm going to be late to work, I would say my evidence that I'm going to be is that work is 20 minutes away, right, and I have to be there in 5. So I have full confidence. That's why I would think that. So I'm asking, if you think that Israel and France were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you say with full confidence, I'm just asking for the evidence, or at least walk me through the mindset of why it is that you could think that with
I
evidence.
actually don't have to walk you through why I think. I can give you something that I think with full confidence. I think with full confidence that you know you lost the substance of this debate, and now you're moving toward things that I have said that I think.
Oh,
which
how
I can do.
sad
Well,
for
I'm gonna do
her.
that.
Oh,
It's
how
not exactly
sad
pertinent
for
to this debate.
her.
It's not pertinent because our
These
debate
are claims
Oh.
made
She's
made
tapping
about
out.
Charlie Kirk's
She's
assassination. That's the
tapping
complete
out.
substance
But
of the debate.
no, actually, would you like to
Oh.
remind him of what our debate
Oh,
claims
how
actually
sad.
were?
And would you like to remind
You
that you
said-
said I could ask you about any of these things
I
to my
said
heart's
feel
content?
free, but you do not get to structure how I'm allowed to reply or ask me
I'm
why
not
are you allowed
structuring
to
how you're
think.
allowed to
That's
reply. Just
sad.
asking you direct questions.
Dude,
I
she has
have
no
full
evidence for
confidence
any of her
that
claims.
You do
That's
not
what's been
feel
exposed
that
today.
you represented your claim well. And so now what you came
That's
prepared
nice.
to
I just
do is
wanna
to
know-
present yourself like a professor of
I
fallacies.
just want to know.
and to say, you're not allowed to say that. You can't. It's
You
my
can say
podcast.
whatever you want.
Well,
Nobody's
I said
disputing that.
It
I'm
It
asking-
seems like you are disputing
I'm
it.
asking
I think that
specifically
when this
why
is
you
all
think
said
that.
and done, I've already explained to you. I explained at the beginning of this.
She won't
why
even
I think
answer why she
Israel
thinks that.
is ultimately going
France.
to be proven to have involvement in this. I just explained to you in the middle, and now you're wanting me to structure the sentence or provide evidence. You don't have to. You're just allowed to think, and I've explained to you my thought process. I don't need to structure it in a
So
sentence. If you feel like a
embarrassing.
professor today, you
This
picked the
is
wrong
so
day.
Don't you think that
embarrassing.
like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people would want to know what Candace Owens' positive evidence for why it is
No, I
that
don't.
Israel and France were involved in the most traumatic public assassination of Gen Z's lifetime is?
That's why they watch my podcast.
So you're just going to drip to them? Like, here's why
It's
I
not
think
dripping.
that?
Every time we come across any
is
of
so
these discussions, they're
embarrassing.
watching this in context and they know why I'm saying it. So
Her
for example,
answers are like,
when you're bringing
well,
up,
watch
Candace,
my
Where's
show.
your evidence for
Well, watch
France
my
doing this? I
show.
just told
Just
you someone who's
explain it.
high ranking in the French government, right?
Who's nameless?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. So there's good reason
So
to
it's not a
doubt this.
conspiracy, though, if I then took it to the federal government. Like, you can't just go out there making a claim to the federal government. You can get in trouble for making false statements and things of that nature. So, and then you go, well,
Where's
I'm
the
going to probe
evidence
that.
that you
Well, how
even
can
made
you
a
probe that?
statement
This
to
happens
the
me.
government?
Well,
This
that's
is
not
my
what I'm probing
podcast.
specifically.
This is my podcast. I am sharing my life and my experiences and what has happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically coming in like you're going to, regulate how I'm allowed to say
Nope,
it, if
I'm
I'm
not
allowed
trying to
to
regulate
say it.
anything. I'm asking very
you're
pertinent
sounding a bit
questions.
like a professor trying to regulate and say, Candace,
You sound very
can't say, I
defensive
think.
and like you just don't want to answer questions.
I did answer your question 3
You
times. I just
literally-
didn't say it in the way that you wanted me
You
to
just
say
kind of
it.
obfuscate and you run away from it. But I would
Let's
like
see-
for you to
let's
actually.
Where's the
go
modern?
through
Why
every
isn't
clip
Patrick
that you
Bet
guys
David
have
like, okay,
prepared, because
Candace, you haven't
it's
answered the
pretty-
question. This is a debate,
I
and you're
think
just
with full
running away.
confidence, people will recognize the strategy that you're trying to employ. So let's get to the next clip you have prepared.
Sure, they can pull up whatever clips
whatever
they want.
it is
yeah.
that you guys have prepared. So let's
But
go.
there, but I would still. On this point, I just want to make sure that you have full confidence that France and Israel were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
I think in
and
the
you
end-
have no evidence for it at all that you'll give us.
Well, I already did tell you where it came from. Like I said, I can explain it to you. I can't understand
Did
it
that
for
same
you. So if
higher
you
up
need
tell
to,
you
if you
that
need
he was
to,
gonna
She's in a
kill-
David
that
Lynch
France
movie.
killed
She
Charlie
heard it in a
Kirk, or just
fucking
that you were in
dream,
danger?
dude.
they said that the French Foreign Legion was involved and on the ground that day. I've already said that. You just don't like hearing it.
No,
Candace, just out of curiosity,
Yes.
when you pass down that message to Tulsi or Trump,
Tulsi's office, yes.
Tulsi's office, are you giving them who told you that, or you're just saying, "Here's what I heard from
and
somebody"?
I have this information.
Sure.
And of course, if they wanted to open a file on it, which I thought was quite mysterious, that Trump's office never got back to us. It was kind of weird about maybe they're
And-
not the
and
correct
convenient.
office too. I did receive a response from
Isn't that
Tulsi
convenient?
Gabbard's
Oh, I told
office,
them, but they just didn't-
I don't
I
think
never
there was
heard
ever any
back. I don't know.
investigation into what
Got
I
it.
said.
So the call was, "Hey, I've been
Email.
told
So wait, hang on.
some-
Let me get
the
this straight.
email.
So
Yes.
Email
they're
was,
trying to kill
"I've been
Candace.
told
I have
She
somebody-"
went to the
information,
government about it. The government
that
said
the French Foreign Legion was on the
nothing.
ground
And
during
yet you're
Charlie's
still alive.
assassination.
Isn't that crazy?
And that.
So-
I mean, it was a lot of information. but,
Nobody
You didn't get
cared.
specifics
Nobody
who
did
was from.
anything.
not in the first email because I figured they would.
And
like,
you're still
So
alive.
if
Isn't that
they do
how
contact you,
miraculous that
Are
is?
you
Yes.
comfortable giving 100% who it is?
I would absolutely give them as much
And
information
can I
as
ask a
possible.
question? If whoever's the U.S. government, why are you not?
Yes, it's very strange to me.
You know, so if
Oh,
that's the case,
what a
now,
fucking
they may
simp,
respond
dude.
back and say,
What
"We
a
did,"
fucking
you know,
simp.
that's their position.
Because
And
it's
that's why I
not
did
fake.
it in writing.
Because she
And so I'm
lied.
glad
You
that's the
stupid
case,
fucking
because-
idiot.
So if they
And
do,
right
Why
away
isn't the
in
government
Trump's
doing
office,
something
his,
about this? They don't.
Margot
She's
got
still
right
alive
back to me.
still.
Shit was
If
on
the
his
French
desk,
Foreign
so
Legion
he
wanted to
has
kill
that.
Candace
There's no-
Owens, they
and if
could.
you
It's
do
not. It wouldn't be that
say
hard.
that, and they
She's a
contact
pregnant
that
woman, dog.
individual, obviously, you
She's
don't
not
have to
fucking
leak
Jason
your sources
Bourne,
here.
dude.
Is there enough credibility where that person would be willing to talk to them and explain to them exactly what their sources
Yes.
If they wanted
Okay.
to kill
I
her,
mean,
then
that's-
she'd be
Seems
dead.
reasonable. And so why he's asking me to defend that is like,
I'm not. Never
are? I
did.
think those are two different things. That's more
Two
something I'm
totally
asking
different
to say,
claims.
why are they not reaching out to you?
I've asked that many
Patrick
times.
Bet David
on
is
my
the
podcast.
is the worst part of
What do you
this.
think
He is
about
the
that,
worst.
What?
The fact that she emailed, she gave it, and nobody reached out to want to contact the
They
source that she's
probably
willing
didn't think
to
it was
share.
actionable, is my guess. But even if they did think it was actionable, great. Every lead should be followed up on within the confines of what's rational and reasonable.
Is it fair to say that this is maybe a different individual because this is a person that was involved with TPUSA
Well, we
and
don't-
had a relationship with
Wait,
Charlie?
who?
No, her relationship. Like
Yeah.
this isn't just anybody. So if an average person sends it, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know who the source is. We don't know any
Well,
of
then
this.
if you were in that department, wouldn't you want to? Even you assign it to one of your
There's
guys.
no
to
guarantee
say,
they
What are
didn't
we
look into
even
it. How do
arguing
we
about
know?
right
How
now?
could
This
they
has
No,
if they
nothing to
didn't
do with
get
Charlie
the
Kirk
the
at all.
information, more of the information, because it
And
was a
by the way,
long
th-
file.
Yeah.
This is a separate. This has
Did
got
you send
nothing to
them
do
the
with the
guy's
debate.
name?
This is more on.
Can,
Well,
can
I
we,
sent
can
the
we,
email,
all-
assuming that
as a
you guys
society,
go and
agree
you
never to
report-
listen to
you-
Patrick
I
Bet David
think they're
ever
going to come
again?
back to you and
Because
say,
he's the biggest
hey, what's more
fucking
information?
retard
We're
on the
investigating
planet.
this, and that didn't happen, and which is what I raised.
No,
I
I'm
found
asking,
that,
did you send them the
especially
source of
because
the
this was at a
claim?
time where they were saying that they wanted to explore every possible lead. I even texted Dan Bongino.
But did you-
So actually, it was three offices.
Let me ask
the
one question.
executive
I'm really
office,
confused.
Dan Bongino, and Tulsi Gabbard's office.
Okay, so a follow up to that is the following.
Thank you. Thank you for the three.
If they contact you to say, Is that specifically to the French government or Israel's involvement in the killing of Charlie Kirk?
That wasn't about
Those
Israel.
are two separate things.
That wasn't about Israel. It was
Okay,
they were
got it.
saying the French foreign, that person as a part of it was saying that it was the French Foreign Legion that was on the ground that
So
day.
I'm surprised they haven't called you.
Then I find that to be very strange too.
I do as well.
Because
I
who would
hate
want to
Patrick
make a report?
Bet-David
Like, I mean,
with
I've
a
never made a
passion.
report with the federal
But when
Let me
government.
you
ask one
did-
question.
but
Let me
when
just
you
ask
did
one
say
literally
question.
getting off
Let me
the
just ask one
topic at
question, and
hand.
I'm going to bring it to you.
Oh,
The
shut the
question
fuck
is,
up, you
in
stupid
regards
fucking
to-
caveman.
I've not seen that clip, so I'm seeing it now. I'm full confidence. I believe that Israel and French was involved. Is that also based on a source that somebody told you that Israel was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or is that a gut feeling?
So in terms of Israel, I mean, what I've said is what I publicly have said here. I do think that at the end of this, we are going to find that Israel was involved. I do. Now, in terms of any of the hard evidence that's been presented, I think this has been a huge problem that a lot of us have had is that they won't even explore anything else that was going on in Charlie's life personally. So if we're not satisfied that Tyler Robinson did this in any way, then every alternative theory should be explored. Other
Google, show me
evidence should
this
be brought
guy's
forward.
balls,
We've done
please.
that in our capacity. Like when
Conquest
people keep saying she has
91
no evidence,
$3.
it's
Fuck
kind of
Patrick,
crazy. I
bet,
think
save
we've
a
broken
David.
like more stories
DPF
than
was
any news
destroying
source in
her
the
and
world. I
he
mean,
ruined
down
the
to
flow.
pictures,
Yeah, literally.
details, police
Literally.
officers, what the dog's name was, because we're not the only people that believe there's a conspiracy here. The police officers that were involved, the many police sheriff's offices that were departments that were involved that day, all believe there was a conspiracy. Down to the U.S. Marshals believe there was a conspiracy. They were my sources at the U.S. Marshals were saying they were basically sent on a wild goose
your
chase that
sources.
day.
But do you see how you say my sources?
Am I not allowed to have sources?
Well,
Like
the thing is funny.
So is CNN allowed to have
well,
sources?
hang on. I
but
have
we can't?
sources. If I said I have sources that claim none of that's true. In fact, my sources claim that her sources are lying. My sources claim that none of them believe that there's a conspiracy. My sources claim all of them really think that Tyler Robinson was a lone gunman. If I just said that as hypothetical, wouldn't you say, what?
Yeah, I think what probably adds weight is like then when I drop photos of the car that no one was supposed to see, people go, okay, her sources are legit. So, and
he's
then
dropping
when what I
text
say is then
messages.
proven in court and nobody knew those things, people are recognizing that my sources are legit. When I say Charlie was scared in the last days, and then I dropped the text message, which you've just learned about a couple of weeks ago, of him saying he was leaving the pro-Israel cause when everyone was lying about that, then they say, I think Candace's sources are legit.
By the way, you never dropped a text
what's
message of him
happened
saying
is
he
I've
was
actually
scared.
built up a rapport with my audience.
That's a lie.
That's
That's
not
actually a
vibes
lie.
and dreams.
You
and
never
that's
dropped
why
that
they
text
keep watching
message.
my content, because like for example, when I just the other day released the content of the shooter on the roof doing the lateral crawl, then they're going, I don't think these are just vibes. It seems like Candace's sources are legit. So I've proven myself in the market.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would legitimize your sources as being legitimate when it comes to the idea that, they all believe that there's a conspiracy going on, which is actually what your claim is now. How
Well,
would that
I
actually,
was just-
hang on, I'm almost done.
How would that talking to PVD?
How would that
without-
legitimize? Well, it's not his debate. How would it legitimize these sources? That even if it's the case that you get some court footage or some things like this, why would it legitimize that your sources are telling you all the marshals believe it's a conspiracy, all the police believe it's a conspiracy, everybody believes it? How would that legitimize
Well,
any
what
of that?
I am saying to you, and you are not forced to believe it. So let me just explain what I was answering here, and I think that you understood what I was saying. Is I have, because
She's appealing
people
to the
trust me,
moderator now. This is so crazy.
compiled a lot of information and presented it to the public, and this information has been proven true. We've presented photos, we have presented videos, never before seen stuff. The public has never seen it. And so what that does is your audience goes, okay, when she says that she has these sources, clearly she's telling the truth. Now, whether you would then go, well, I'm going to believe her when she says they think that there's a conspiracy, that's up to you. You cannot watch my content. I'm not here to tell you that you have to watch my content or believe everything I'm saying.
Well, don't you think
But I am-
questioners should get questioned as well?
By who? I'm not committing a crime, am I? By just like saying
Well,
what I
I
think and
mean,
collecting
aren't
evidence.
most of the people you ask questions of not actually committing crimes?
But what do you mean they should answer questions where? Like at a police station? Like what are you
just
saying?
like if you want people to come in and answer questions for you. I have questions about this in the investigation. I have questions about this. I have questions about that. You want them to answer your questions. Doesn't it seem totally fair that you answer back the questions people have for you?
Well, they're not answering our questions. So it's also fair that they don't answer them.
So you're
That's why I
okay.
said
So I just
Andrew
want
Colvett should be in this chair. He's not.
But
That's
isn't
his
that a double?
prerogative.
But isn't that a double standard?
No, it's not because he's not doing it.
Yeah, but what that would still be a double standard. If you're requesting that he does do it, then that seems to infer that you think he owes you answers.
Oh, so inferences are allowed again?
And they never weren't. So that
Oh
seems to
my
infer
God, she's
that
such a stupid
you
bitch.
think that
It's
he owes
crazy.
you answers. If that's the case, then don't you owe answers?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm answering your questions and his questions about. I mean, I'm talking about Andrew Colvett. His position is he's a spokesperson for Turning Point USA. So when the crowd turns against Turning Point USA on the basis of a lack of information or because there has been, I don't know, seeds sown of distrust, I would imagine, and forget answering my questions because it doesn't need to be me.
But aren't you sowing a lot of those seeds of distrust?
Well, I think they're doing a pretty good job themselves, if I'm being honest. You can blame it on Candace all you want.
Well,
people love to do that.
The thing is funny is
people
like,
act like I'm
I think
ground
their
zero.
PR I'll be fair with you.
I'm ground zero of people not
I think-
trusting Turning Point USA.
I think that there was some
actually kind of
PR
a
there.
last-
I think there was some PR there. Sure, they could have done better. Absolutely. I'm not disputing any of that. One thing, though, that I want to just directly ask you is, do you actually believe that anybody in TPUSA or Erica Kirk or Erica actually participated, had foreknowledge of, or facilitated the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I'm not going to get myself into a legal pickle here. Everything I've said is on my podcast.
How would that get you in a legal
I think
pickle?
firmly that if I was the investigating officers, I would seat them all and I would ask questions. I
She
would,
signed
at
an
this phase.
NDA because they threatened to sue
Okay,
her.
what does
Using
that mean?
hypothetical.
Does that mean that you do think so?
I think it was not a sufficient investigation into what we know to be true of 80% of homicides. It's usually conducted by someone you know, right?
She
and
sat
the
down
fact that
and
was never
Erica
even
Kirk
considered.
bent her over
Like I
the
said
fucking
earlier, the
table.
backpack was returned.
How do you know that was never considered?
Because they gave back the backpack as just one example. They gave back the backpack. They gave back the.
Has he got?
That
No,
doesn't
he's
show a conspiracy.
and
Well,
you know
I mean,
me.
it shows that the police trusted everybody and didn't
doing
just
a
hold things
decent
up
job.
for a
Yeah,
second.
they
Not a
ruled
great
them out
job.
as suspects.
He's doing a decent
That
job. He's
quickly,
gotten her in a
I'm
couple
not comfortable
things.
with that investigation. It's a
Whereas
pretty big
I'm actually
organization. There's
impressed a little
$100 million
bit.
incentive. People, this is
What $100 million incentive?
what I'm saying is his organization, like it had grown to, I think it was 100 million.
Plus per year.
Yeah, per year. If that's something you want to back
Yeah,
up,
but
that's
what was
fine.
the-
Your
what-
team wants to play video, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
There's a video they want to play of Candace said it's impossible to not believe Erica's complicit. If you guys want to play that video.
Could also just ask him,
And so
but
right
sure.
now, their guys are going out and they're going to look for evidence. And then by May, which is fortunately around the corner, then she'll see what they found. So what the F is that performance? How could you sit up there and say, yes, I 100% believe Tyler Robinson did it. That right there is why it is impossible for me to think that Erica Kirk is not complicit somehow. Because what?
Damn.
Those two thoughts actually don't even follow. How would it be the case that even if Eric Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, let's just say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed all the evidence, because she did.
Google,
She
show
just
me this
actually
guy's
did.
balls, please.
Would it then follow that
Mikhail
somehow she's
DePerson,
complicit?
$3. We know that
in
in
his
80%
death?
of murders, it's someone they know she literally
say
cannot
implicit in
exist
death.
outside of dogma and
You added those
heuristics.
two
It's
words.
insane
Okay,
how
so
dumb
what's she
is, man.
complicit in?
Yes.
Agreed.
So sowing this narrative that Tyler Robinson is guilty. So you're chopping up clips. Like I said, you didn't have the confidence to
Okay,
come
well,
in
tell
debate.
me,
So
what
now
does
you're
that mean?
chopping
What
it
does
up.
complicit mean?
We are showing a clip of her on Barry Weiss, which I can't remember the date that she did that interview. And Erica, when she is asked, "Are you one? You know, do you feel with 100% certainty that Tyler Robinson did this?" And she says, "I do." Then again, context matters. I sit down with Erica for 4 hours under the assumption that she had some evidence, right? Like I'm like, I actually, this is why I did not engage in any like Erica, everyone's questioning what she's wearing and all this stuff. I was like, I'm going to wait here because I don't know, just it feels
Yeah,
weird
you were
to
so
think that-
respectful.
did I think that some of her mannerisms were weird and stuff like that? Yeah, but that's not.
Yeah, no,
you
you were
can't
really
convict somebody on
respectful the
weird
whole time.
mannerisms.
Yeah.
And then when I sat down with her and I was expecting for her to say, well, you know, I'm obviously the victim on the case and we got to see the shot, you know, taken or this or that, whatever it is. Great. You know, that's why she has that much confidence 2 months ago. And when I sat down with her, it was nothing. It was nothing. Okay. So this is a conversation.
How would that make her complicit?
Complicit And when I'm, again, you said complicit in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Complicit in what? Yeah.
Well, if you let me finish my sentence, I could tell you that. But my point being is that then you take a look at this and you go, okay, well, this is weird. Why would you have this confidence? And then when you sit across from somebody and you say, okay, great, I want to go out there and defend you now. I want people to know that you can't say this stuff publicly, but you know more things. And she just blanks. And then she says, well, I'm going to call the lawyer. And she called the lawyer. Again, all of this is on my show. So out of context clips is not going to work because I know what I say on my show.
Okay.
So we call her lawyer, and her lawyer says to us, she calls him on the phone, pardon me. And it's me, her, and Justin Strife. And I'm like, okay, great. What do you guys have? He goes, well, we don't have anything yet. We're not at that phase yet. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't have anything? And he says, well, don't you know how it works? It's a probable cause hearing. So basically the state says that they're going to bring this forward. And now our people go out and they look for the evidence to assert that Tyler Robinson is guilty. And so I asked her directly, her lawyer directly, the phone's in between us.
Ma'am,
I'm
you
like,
do
wait, so
not
just
know
so
how
I'm clear,
legal cases
you
work.
haven't
This
seen
is the
anything
most-
that the public hasn't seen? And he says no. So I'm going back in my head and I'm going, okay, so why is Erica saying with such a degree of certainty, like she was sent out to convince the public, and people bit, by the way. I remember even Megyn Kelly was like, let's wait. She's going to have access to things. I did think she had access to things that we didn't have. Why express that confidence to the public as opposed to just being like, we don't know yet. I feel confident he's involved. They
But
made an arrest.
I don't understand, how would any of this make her complicit, and in what?
Well, I've already told you. She's complicit in trying to fool the public into thinking this is some open and shut
How
case.
is she trying to fool the public into this? If she believes
Like,
it,
don't look
if she
anywhere
believes
else.
that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk, if she believes that, how would that be complicit in anything?
I do.
Are you
believe,
saying that you think she doesn't believe it?
I don't believe that at that stage she sat down with Barry Weiss that's what she believes. No, but that's my opinion.
Right. But so when you just say complicit, you just mean she believes that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk? That's it?
That's what we were talking about. That's why I said if your strategy was to dice up clips and take it out of context and make it
No
seem like I
strategy,
said
you
she
can
was
explain
complicit.
Lying
everything.
bitch.
Yeah, but then why
You
not just play
lying
the full
bitch.
thing?
You're
Like,
trying
why-
not to get
and-
sued.
Because we don't have like infinite amounts of time, I'm guessing. You probably don't want to
Well,
watch.
I'm going to go back to my theory that you didn't feel confident that you could defend your claim that it was overwhelming evidence. So now you're trying to move towards doctored clips and getting
Well,
me to
there's no
respond to
doctored
it.
anything. I'm just making sure that we got this right.
Yes,
That what you're actually
yes,
saying
I
is
do
that
believe
Erica is just complicit in believing
and
it.
when I re-examine her actions backward, because I did not have this perspective of her at
Mm-hmm.
the beginning, which is why it's so funny to me that you guys make it seem like I'm ground zero. People thought Erica was sus from day I forgive him. And I was not a part of that. I did not lean into that. I did not contribute to that. I was
Lying
getting
bitch.
actually terrible messages from my fans being like, Candace, you and Charlie always say to go with your intuition. You won't address this, how we all feel about her.
Lying bitch. Lying
Things changed for me when I
bitch.
saw that Zoom call. I will tell you that.
Yeah, what's up, Tendro?
For sure. And the fact that she lied to me. So I sat across from her and, I wanted to have that conversation publicly, but they're probably grateful they didn't do it publicly.
Crush her.
She told me some lies. And so the next thing that happens naturally when somebody lies to you, when any person lies to you, whether it's a toddler, people only lie when they're trying to obscure something else.
Have you addressed what that lie was?
Yeah, I've talked about, we have a list of lies that we've been told by Charlie. We can find that,
In
I'm
the
sure.
meeting with her.
Well, no, I didn't want her to cage up. I didn't want to do this, and because I didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't know if she was going to be like, I'm so overwhelmed with everything, and I don't know who to trust at the organization, and I don't know what I'm doing. Like I didn't know. I didn't want to.
Just out of curiosity,
gosh.
before anything happened with Charlie, how close were you and Erica?
Not very close.
So there's not a relationship.
No, I would say it's totally normal. Like it's not like there was any issues at all. We were always nice to each other. It just is our life went to a different phase, right? So Charlie and I hitting the ground, running around, traveling 4 days a week. Now I get married. I find love of my life. I get married and I get pregnant. I haven't stopped being pregnant. And what you want out of life changes. You don't want to be running around for 4 days a week and traveling on a plane nonstop. You suddenly want to start building at home and live. I was desiring that suburban life.
Did you guys ever do the double dates? You, George, her, and Charlie?
Oh my
Was there
God,
ever
who
double dates
cares?
between the
Oh,
four
wow.
of
Who
you?
fucking
I was,
cares?
engaged
Oh
to
my
George
God,
before we
who
were planning our
fucking
wedding. I was kind
cares?
of in a
Patrick
bubble
Bet David.
with George. George,
Did
had
you
both
guys
me and
go
Charlie,
on
but
double
Erica and
dates?
him were
Did
just
you go
starting
on
to date
double
at the beginning of
dates
2019.
together?
George and I were planning our marriage.
Oh my
So George really got to know Charlie. I wouldn't say that I really got to
Most
know Erica. I
insane,
was just
like,
rooting for them because
Joe
I knew how
Rogan,
much
if you
Charlie
could
wanted
hear,
to,
I need you
find
to
love. And so that was
roundhouse
kind of
kick
his
Patrick Bet David's
wing
head, clean the
throughout
fuck
that
off his
phase,
shoulders.
And I was just happy.
Please.
And I never was under the impression, obviously, that they were going to get married when they were dating. So it wasn't like I was conscious. I really need to get to know this person. And so it was.
I would literally
just
prefer Joe
kind of
Rogan
normal
just
that
sitting in the
by
back,
that time,
just
because of where I
smoking
was in my
weed.
life, that I wasn't spending
Instead of
any
Pat,
time getting to know
I hate
Erica.
Patrick
So
Bet David
the
with a.
complicit part about Erica to you, is that a gut feeling? You think
it transformed when she lied.
you can take the lead? I'm just asking questions.
Yes.
If you want to
well,
interrupt, go for it.
I actually don't. I still don't understand what you think she's complicit in.
Yeah. So when I say Erica's complicit, that's my opinion. When you tweeted Erica's too retarded to kill her husband,
Yeah.
would you like to explain how you developed your evidence, your positive evidence for the fact that Erica was retarded?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
I just think all women are retarded.
Oh, so you're allowed to just say stuff.
Okay.
Who knew? So,
Kinda
and
dumb.
by the way,
Kind of a
and
dummy,
what
actually.
dramatically transformed your opinion of Erica after
That's kind of a dummy. You gotta
going
give it
to
to
the
him on that
headquarters?
one.
Because you were pretty hostile about.
I wasn't hostile towards them.
You don't think calling somebody too retarded?
No,
Is-
come on. That's like normal tongue-in-cheek stuff for me online.
Oh, you're being tongue in cheek.
Usually when I call someone retarded, I'm being tongue-in-cheek, yeah. Like, for instance, you got supporters. I mean, if you want to use the same exact argument, you would take a supporter like Owen Benjamin. He called you bad names and called your husband bad names. You're just like, well, that's no biggie?
I've never answered him on anything that he said. I'm saying that you now are her biggest defender. So do you still think
I'm
she's
not
too,
her biggest defender.
Do you still think she's too retarded?
No. I didn't know Erica Kirk. I'd never met her before.
Okay, but you had an issue with Turning Point being led by a bunch of fembots talking about
Still
the
do.
feminist angle.
Still do.
And then suddenly you go to the
Still think
headquarters.
it's a terrible idea.
You go into the headquarters. Now all of a sudden you've got text messages that you're sharing with them. You say that you and your wife are getting involved with management.
No. I'm not involved in any management at Turning Point
Well,
USA.
I'm pretty sure there is a clip of you where you say that your wife went to their recent conference and sat down. And then when you were on Joe Rogan.
No. Hang on. I'll explain what happened just so that you understand.
Yeah.
So I was invited there to do some debate training. That's literally what I was invited there to do on recommendation. So I went down and did some debate. That's the first time I ever met anybody at TPUSA.
Okay. And then you said you sat down with Erica.
Well, I didn't sit down to her. I talked to her in a hallway.
So you didn't sit down and speak with Erica?
No, I didn't have like some sit down long conversation. We talked in a hallway.
Okay.
I
Is that
don't
when you
know,
gave her
maybe-
the hug?
Yeah, gave her the hug right there. My wife did too. We were both very sorry for what happened.
Okay.
to
So
her.
at what point did you start receiving text messages from that you cited in your opening statement?
Oh,
that
I
you-
just reached out to TPUSA and said, I'm prepping for a debate. Is there anything that's pertinent that I can use here?
Do you find it interesting that people have been asking for, basic answers to questions, and you're saying that you walked into their headquarters and reached out and they
It's
instantly...
amazing, isn't it? If you reach out in good faith and you're not demonizing them and saying that they're complicit in the murder of people's deaths, that perhaps they're actually willing to release things to you that are pertinent,
I mean,
other than
it's-
thinking that, perhaps you're diabolical.
Well, I don't know.
that don't have the
I
best
feel like if I was
intentions.
going to release that information, I didn't
Yeah,
demand
I
that
mean,
it be
that is
released to me.
kind of
I actually
common
never
sense,
demanded that it be
actually,
released.
yeah.
I just simply said that this is what was going on in the last 48 hours. Maybe to the media they could release it. They could release it to PBD. They decided to release it to a guy that called Erica too retarded in June.
So what?
Yeah, I just think it kind of shows that Turning Point is sending you as their horse.
Well, I don't
They
know
just
where
don't
you,
have they don't have
I
the
don't know where
courage to
you-
have the conversation.
Like, I don't
if they
see
were
this-
just releasing something in
Let
good
me ask you
faith
a
to answer
question.
questions.
Do you have any
I've never
evidence of that
demanded
claim?
it's not evidence that
No.
you're sharing your opinion
No.
that she's too retarded. I can't share my opinion that I think it's going
Well,
to
I never
register
met the
as
chick.
really obvious to the public that rather than presenting that throughout the course of everybody wanting to know what Charlie was going through his last days, they decided to give it to you to come to my house as some sort of a surprise.
Well,
do you think the
when-
public's not smart enough to see through that?
Do you think that if you
talking
know
about terrible PR.
if you know that there's a huge debate that's coming up that's going to be probably one of the most viewed that year, and one of the debaters calls you and says, I'm taking this position. This is the position that I feel like there's the most evidence for. And Candace also agreed to answer many of my questions in regards to this. So if you got pertinent evidence here that I can use, I definitely like take a
But
look.
what is the-
It was actually amazing to me. It really was actually amazing to me how if you approach people in good faith and just say, hey, I'd actually like to know what the facts and details are around this, They actually do talk to you. It's amazing.
Yeah, I just do not believe that they are doing this in good faith. I don't believe that anything you have done has demonstrated that's in good faith. It demonstrates that you walked into Turning Point USA headquarters and came out a different man because you were critical of the organization. You
Still am.
were critical of Erica, and now you're sitting here going,
Well,
Candace,
first
I
of
want to
all,
interrogate you for
have
an
you
hour
ever
and a half
been-
about everything you've ever
Have
said
you ever
about
been
Erica.
critical of somebody that you hadn't met and then you meet them and you're less critical of them?
And the inverse has happened too. I was
You're
less
right,
critical
exactly.
about Erica, and now I'm more
But I'm
critical about
asking
her.
you, isn't it the case that there's people you've been critical of and then you've met them and you're less critical after you meet them?
Too retarded. I feel like if you think that she's dumb and let's just talk about your record. I mean, you're a person that has spent time in what most people would term to be the manosphere, talking about feminists. Well, yeah.
I debate against
against feminists.
and red pillars.
Okay.
And a lot of the actual, so I'm a Christian ethicist. I
And then
always
you
take
go
the
on to
ethics
Joe
position.
Rogan and you're like soft explaining away why Erica had to take over Charlie's company when they don't have a parent at home. So now you're a feminist icon. Like you just go into the headquarters and you just shift all of your perspectives.
That's a bizarre criticism. Like nobody's in the bigger girl boss position than you.
Yeah, I'm actually
You're in the
That's
biggest
kind
of
of
the
true.
girl boss positions. Like you don't have to do this.
Look,
You just do this. You could definitely not do it at all and be fine, right? But you still do.
I would say that you are making a comparison that cannot be compared because Erica's husband was just assassinated in front of the world.
Which makes sense why she would take the organization over.
No, it makes sense why you would go home to your kids, just so you know.
Wait a second. That's bizarre.
Because they don't have a parent. They don't have a parent, and they've just suffered a trauma. You don't go into the office.
You
want
to protect your husband's legacy, right?
No.
And you're trying to find some
The
new
legacy
normal.
is his children, not the organization.
It's both.
No,
Yes, it is both. It's totally rational and reasonable to believe that it would be both Turning Point USA, that is part of Charlie Kirk's legacy. He worked his whole life
I think
for
this
it.
is why people think she's sus.
And his children. Now, for you, though, to say that anybody's a girl boss, right? That's like the pot calling the kettle black.
That came out of your mouth.
No, that was you. You brought up girl boss.
Girl boss came out of your mouth.
Yeah, I'm telling you that you brought up this idea that I'm defending some feminist nonsense. I'm not. I'm pointing out that they're by the way,
she's not qualified
always
to take over his company.
There's always objective outliers to each situation. In fact, it's the exception that proves the rule. And the interesting thing here is like, I'm still just as critical of feminism inside of TPUSA as I've always been. And I'm just as critical of any pro-Zionist position as I've ever been. None of that's ever changed. By the way, I would think it's the most rational, reasonable thing on planet Earth to do if you wanted to actually see an organization change, to try to work with leadership or reach out to leadership to try to do so. Doesn't that make the most amount of sense?
I would like to state for the record that I think Erica is underqualified to run the organization.
Sure.
And on the more emotional aspects, I agree with
What are we even talking about here?
What seems to be a majority opinion.
She has completely derailed this
Not to say
conversation.
scientific, that any woman that would leave her kids and go right into the office after their husband was publicly assassinated does not have their priorities straight.
Okay, well, I understand that you can have those criticisms,
Yeah.
but I'm not understanding still how that would make her complicit.
I don't have to keep answering the same question.
Okay,
so
but
let's
do you
let's
feel
get
like you
team
got
is
an answer
asking
to how
your-
it's complicit?
Your team is asking to play a clip. So if we
Okay.
want to play this clip to just finish this segment on the Erica Kirk topic, we can spend some time on that as well. So
Okay.
if you guys are ready in the back, we're ready.
and causing that 30-06 diameter, as would happen with a patent explosives, as we've demonstrated to you in the past.
30-06
It
diameter, by the way.
accidentally, because of how Charlie was crouched, went up and hit his neck. And that ruined everything. That ruined everything. It was problematic. It's the reason why Terrell then had to scramble to get the cameras down, because they were never supposed to see it. They could have said reasonably that a 30-06 got eaten by Charlie, much more reasonably, obviously, than saying that the chicken bones in his neck stopped it because he ate vegetables. They panicked. That was what then, that's why Terrell's nervous on the phone with me. Again, this is my theory, and I am now very much sticking to it. Okay. They panicked. It's the reason Erica had to step out. That's why she would have gotten on the phone with Terrell so quickly, because I was going, why is Terrell saying, well, I didn't want Erica to relive, oh, that's why I did it. He didn't have an answer. He was nervous. It was crazy. But he acknowledged that he spoke to Erica immediately. Why did you speak to Erica immediately?
So do you believe that there was a shape charge that killed Charlie?
Hey, can I ask you why you keep starting clips mid-sentence?
Probably to get to where the clip is.
No, it doesn't seem that way because you can always start a clip at the beginning of a sentence.
Oh
Like
my
you're just started, like
gosh.
it's completely
It's
out of context.
mid-sentence,
Great, I
actually.
didn't-
You're
I
taking me out
didn't
of
so-
prepare the
context.
clips, but
yeah,
Yeah,
just-
you're
like,
flustered.
I
it's
didn't,
like you
but
were
it's
kinda
fine
ready.
to ask it to back it
Like
up.
I said, I don't need to say what's happening here because the internet will clock it. But
Yeah, you're a fucking
in this
idiot.
episode,
we
we are now
filibustering. That's what's
going,
happening.
and that's why I said we're now going to look at some alternative theories. I made it very clear that this was a theory that I didn't want to look at. This is, I believe, because I don't have every episode in my head, but I'm pretty sure this is an episode where we presented the evidence that was in the car, the photos of what was in the car, right? And so we are now inferring off of what we see in the car that this very much does look like that we see a bunch of shattered Rode microphone, which was an early theory that I was actually interested in, but couldn't really wrap my head around what was the shape charge explosive. As I say at the beginning of the episode, it was just not my expertise. And I was concerning myself with timelines and stories and statements that didn't make sense. Without question, Terrell Farnsworth is someone who made me think that we were missing a big part of the story. So I'm walking them through John Bray's theory. If we started to insert what we are actually observing with the evidence that we're taking a look at and what took place that day. So we're completely in the hypothetical right here. And you're now introducing this.
If that's the case, if you're just hypothetically
Yes,
exploring it,
and
that's why I'm just asking directly.
Yes, but that's obvious when you watch this episode. So that's why it feels like
So yeah, sorry, we didn't
I'm
watch
in
the
the
whole
middle of an
episode
interview
of
with
the show.
CNN when they like pull up random clips and they're
No, I'm
like,
just making
"What's
Well,
this?
guys, we
What's
should have
this?"
just watched
You
the whole
watched
episode.
You
I'm
know
just
what
trying
it
to make
is.
sure. Do you think that your alternative theory?
I think John Bray's theory should be explored. Yes.
Okay. Do you think that Charlie Kirk was killed with an explosive?
I think that is a possibility. Yes.
Okay.
And it
good.
should be explored. He's done a lot of work on it. John Bray has done good work, and I think that that's why that
Oh my
theory
goyim.
is now starting to gain
Oh my
steam
goyim.
since we released the
Oh my
second set
goyim.
of the photos of what was in the car. I think it's viable.
So this was the big thing I wanted to get into with you on the explosives too.
Mhm.
What is it about that theory that's actually compelling to you? So I looked into the explosive mic theory multiple times, and the biggest thing that stood out to me is there's no explosion. there's literally no explosion. In fact, there's videos when the shot rings out that kills Charlie. At least it sounds like a shot to me. People are actually like looking up towards where the gun is being fired. They're looking away for where the sound is. Like, where's the actual explosion?
Well, for every person that you say looks away, there's going to be a person that was looking forward. We have former Marines that have gotten on and said,
Former
it
Marines
looks
are
to me like there's an
fucking
explosion on your
retarded.
shirt, right? You obviously saw
Former, again, former
Bravo
military
Neil
are retards.
go on
They had their
to-
brains
I'm forgetting
rattled.
which platform
They're
it was,
shell
where he
shocked.
said,
Okay.
It's the first thing I thought.
Sorry
was
if
like,
that
He was
hurt
the
your
man that
feelings.
Killed Osama bin
yeah,
Laden.
and I think he's qualified to say what he believes he saw. We should actually, since they're pulling clips, we should run that clip of Rob O'Neill and what he said and what
And
he
that's fine.
observed and his experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
that
going to
guy's a
take that,
retard.
and also there were people who
Not an
immediately spoke
expert.
to the media
What-
that day
what
who
is-
said
what
the
is
same
that-
thing, that they thought that something
So
happened
if
on
you
their shirt.
served in the
That was
Marines,
actually-
you're
if
a
you go back to my
ballistics
first
expert
episode, when
now,
I was just
apparently.
observing what I saw with my eyes, I was asking the serious question. I was seriously saying, why is it like somebody shot him from
Oh
underneath?
my
Why is his
gosh.
shirt moving first? That doesn't make sense to me. And I'm
That's
not.
because of air dispersal from the bullet.
Mm.
So whenever a bullet is shot, a projectile shot, you can actually run this experiment yourself if you have a rifle.
Mhm.
Take like an empty box of ammunition and put it on the table, and then fire it near the muzzle, and that box will actually blow off the table.
Okay, so question for you: does
Mm-hmm.
that box go sideways off the table?
It can.
It can.
Yeah, you can. It depends on the dispersal.
You 3,000 pounds of energy or 2,000 pounds of energy coming at you. That's how much it carries.
Well,
A
it's not
30-06.
2,000 pounds of energy.
Well, we can fact check that.
That's-
How many pounds of energy is it? A
Pounds of-
30-06,
Pounds of
being shot
energy.
150 yards away. That's
I
a
don't-
great question for Grok. I'm going to say when we looked at it, it was between 1,500 and 2,000. I'm pretty sure pounds of energy coming at you, and you just go upward and to the side. I don't really buy that. I'm going to just say think that that's not
Yeah, right. But
possible. It doesn't go through on
the-
top of that.
We're
so there's
moving
another
weight
miracle.
out
You
here,
didn't get
boys. We're
blown
moving
backwards.
weight.
It didn't
But
go
if
through.
air is-
But I also want to say that you're saying this
Yeah.
can happen, and Rob O'Neill is infinitely more qualified, I think, to speak on that.
Why?
And well, because he's actually shot and killed people.
Why would that have anything to do with anything?
Well,
Did
because
he slow down all the videos of the people he shot to see if their clothes moved?
well, why are you able to assert your position as a fact?
Because I'm gonna tell you how projectiles work. He's not even gonna I guarantee you this guy's not even gonna disagree with what I'm about to say. If it is the case that you have energy and you have mass and the mass is moving in the air has to go somewhere. It doesn't have a choice.
I think you're totally BSing right now, man.
Not only am I
That's
not BSing,
science.
I'm telling you the
you're
truth.
just- no, you-
If a
That's-
bullet
I
is
think
moving
one
in
of your
air,
That's
things-
air
just-
has to move out of way of bullet.
But maybe not at the bottom of a shirt here. I don't know. I disagree with that. I'd like to say, for the record, I've watched some of you do these sorts of things where you assert something with a lot of confidence, and it's,
You can fact check it.
Your
check if
shirt,
bullets displace air.
Not about whether it displaced air. It's where it dispersed the air. Underneath his shirt here.
It's not underneath the shirt.
A bullet's this big, and you're telling me
I'm
it's
about
going
to
to
blow
hit his
Candace
neck, and
Owens'
then
mind right
it
now.
is beneath his shirt. The
It
shirt
starts
puffs.
up here, and the collar's moving, and then you see the wave here as he's moving backwards.
No.
Yeah.
That's not
It's
true.
not.
And we
the-
obviously
the
can't
idea-
show
I'm about to
that
blow
clip.
Candace
I
Owens'
disagree
mind
with
right
you.
now.
Okay, I understand you can't
Just-
show
Watch
it for US
this.
purposes.
Exactly.
That's fine.
I disagree with you. People
I'm
can go watch
moving
and
the
make up their own minds. We
paper.
don't need to debate it.
I'm
Whether or not
moving the
it was
paper by
first thing I said
dispersing
was,
air.
Why is his shirt
Look,
moving first? That didn't make
it's
sense to me.
moving.
It almost
I am
looks just like this.
dispersing
It
the
goes
air and
across.
it's
His necklace
moving. My
breaks
hand
first
isn't even moving the
before Charlie even
paper.
reacts.
Isn't that
If you watch it in
crazy?
slow, his necklace breaks first, which I thought was very odd. And then you see a puff here, and then the next thing you know, there's the entry
He's
wound on his
insane.
neck. I would not confidently assert that I see smoke. I've never said it on my
Do you
platform.
think that an explosion generally has smoke?
I don't think that there's any quality version of video that would get us to be able to answer that question other than Terrell's 4K footage that he has from the front. So
There's a lot of, if you look at the Israeli pagers, it's assumed that it's a similar, if not the same type of explosive that was used inside the pagers that would have been used inside of this road mic.
I think that you should, since you love debating, you should debate someone like John Bray, who's worked on that theory for 11 months, and ask those sorts of questions of how a shaped charge would work. I presented the evidence of what was in the car, and I also, at that episode
Avoiding the
that you're
question yet
clipping,
again.
said John Bray has done an unbelievable amount of work on this, and I think he
Avoiding
has
the
debated a
question
ton of
yet
people,
again.
actually, regarding this
You should
topic.
debate the other
So
guy,
that's
not me,
the route
about
that I would
that.
send you on. For
Yeah,
purposes
that's
of my,
fine.
yeah,
That's fair.
for the purposes of my show, I do believe, to answer your question, that it is a hypothetical. I mean, that it is a theory that should be thoroughly explored.
There's two clips your team wants to show. One of them is the Rob O'Neill clip, since we're on it. So if you guys are ready in the back before we go to ad break. if you
Oh
wanna
my
pull it up,
god,
this is a good
another
time to do
ad
so.
break. Another ad break, bro.
And good to see you, General Holt.
You too.
A lot of things bothers me about this. Nothing in particular. And it's not like I'm out there saying big lie or a conspiracy or someone did it. I'm just saying I've been in a lot of shootings. I've killed more than a handful of people, and this thing looked shady off the bat. I mean, I've killed people closer than I saw the camera, and I've never seen a shirt move like that. That looks like an explosion to me. Just the fact that no one started doing first aid to Charlie Kirk, they were more concerned about getting SIM cards out of cameras, removing cameras, and then getting him off the X somehow. There didn't seem a lot of concern for his life. It seemed like just clean it up. And then, I mean, I've been told they paved it over a couple days later. And then you get Erica Kirk behind all the razzle dazzle, and she's really quick to forgive the alleged shooter, which technically says that was him because I forgive him, but then she can't forgive Candace Owens for having an opinion or asking questions. And they mock people by saying, oh, I'm just asking questions. Yeah, I'm a SEAL Team 6 sniper. I'm asking a lot of questions. No one wants to answer them.
And you're able to ask.
Okay, what does
He's
that
actually
prove?
said very little about the explosive there. So
I'm
he
just saying
starts,
he observed, he said he's shot people up close,
Yeah.
and he's never seen a shirt
No
move like
dispute.
that, and it looked to him like an explosive. That's what he
no
just
dispute,
said.
But when I play that video at full speed, I can't see a shirt moving. I can only see a shirt moving when we slow it way down. So if I'm in real time, I'm just assuming this, right? If I was in real time and I was in like a close quarters combat, you kill somebody situation, and I shot them, would you even see the shirt move?
Well, I just feel like 5 minutes ago you were arguing that it was because the bullet carried air. Now you're saying you don't see the shirt move at all.
Yeah, but that's if you
That's
slow
not what
it
he's
down,
arguing.
The dispersement of air, that's where you're going to see it, right?
How
It's
are you
gonna
not
be very
understanding
quick.
this? I mean,
very,
she is.
very,
She's
very,
just
very
being
fast.
very
Yeah,
and then
that's
malicious
not what
right
I
now.
saw, and clearly it's not what he saw, and he thinks that there could be an explosive. So I'm just saying to you,
When you,
people disagree with you. Your opinion's not a fact. That's all.
I
I
understand.
think that's a good place for us to. If
Oh,
if
you
we
wanna
have
move
another a break, and then we can keep answering your questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. We'll do a quick 3.5 minute ad
Oh,
break. We'll
ad
be back for
break.
the last segment.
Cool.
Ad break, and then the last segment.
When we set out to create a
Everybody
shoe that
support the
blends-
stream right now because I am fucking suffering at powerchat.live/BeardsonBeardly. And sub if you're not subbed already. And if you're already subbed, give some subs to your friends in the chat. You're making a lot of friends today in the chat, I've seen, because we're all bonding over this together because it's terrible. And I hate it. And Candace Owens is such a stupid bitch.
Google,
And
show me
I
this guy's
can't
balls,
believe people
please.
listen to her, but it's
Fair
fine.
Hanian just
Yo,
gifted 100 kicks on
Rohanian.
Kick.
Love my homie Rohanian. Thank you, buddy. We love you. My longtime friend, colleague, confidant, friend, Rohanian, who we all love. Who we all love. Thank you. Back to the fucking PPD shoes, dude. If I catch you wearing, I'm not kidding. I'm scuffing those
Google,
things,
show me
dude.
this guy's balls, please.
Large Killa just gifted 100 kicks on Kick.
All right. The shirt does move first. Again, Eddie, you're a fucking idiot, okay? I need you to know that you're a fucking idiot. I just need you to know that. I do need you to know that.
Google,
Okay,
show me
can we
this
stop
guy's
with the
balls,
dollars? Like the
Cyber just
$1.
gifted 100 kicks on Kick.
I appreciate it, but can we stop with the $1? Let's get some big money here, okay? I'm suffering here, all right?
Google, show me this guy's balls, please.
Louisville girl,
Louisville
thank
girl
you.
sent $5. Candace is dumb.
So true.
Google, show me this guy's
And
balls,
another
please.
$1. Okay.
Cyber just gifted 100 kicks on Kick.
Okay, yeah.
Google, show me
Okay.
this guy's balls,
At least
please.
it's adding up. It's adding
Cyber
up,
just
I guess.
gifted 100 kicks on Kick.
Yeah, thank you for
Google,
the
show me
dollar.
this guy's balls, please.
Okay, okay.
Cyber just gifted 100 kicks on
Thank
Kick.
you, thank you,
Google,
thank
show me
you.
this guy's
Okay.
balls, please.
All right,
Cyber just gifted 100
Okay.
kicks on Kick.
thank you.
Google, show me this
Okay.
guy's balls, please.
All right, all right,
Cyber just gifted 100 kicks
Okay.
on Kick.
all right. We're
Google,
really
show me
full.
this
We're
guy's
really
balls,
full
please.
sending it on my ass today,
Cyber
aren't
just
we?
gifted 100
Okay.
kicks on Kick.
Google, show me this
This is
guy's
like
balls,
this is like
please.
hypnotizing now. Actually,
Cyber just gifted 100 kicks on Kick.
okay,
Google,
are we?
show me
Is it
this guy's
done?
balls,
Is it done?
please.
Okay, we got one more. I think.
Cyber just gifted 100 kicks on Kick.
I was starting to get into like a little bit
Google,
of
show
a.
me this guy's
Okay.
balls, please.
All right.
Bob Doleg just gifted 100 kicks on
All
Kick.
right. No, I just feel like a stripper
show
right
me
now.
this
People are
guy's
just
balls,
throwing
please.
dollar bills at me.
Jeriber FR just gifted 100 kicks
I'm not
on
really
Kick.
sure I like this.
Google,
I just
show
don't
me
like
this guy's
everyone.
balls,
Okay,
please.
can we stop? Can we
Large
stop
Killa just
throwing
gifted
dollars at me
100
like I'm a
kicks on
fucking
Kick.
cheap stripper
Google,
here?
show me this guy's balls, please.
Okay, I'm
God
not a
of
cheap
Conquest
stripper.
91 just gifted
I'm not
100
taking
kicks
it
on
off.
Google, show me
Okay.
this guy's balls, please.
Kick. God of Conquest 91
All right.
just gifted 100 kicks on Kick.
Google, show
Do
me
I need to
this
start?
guy's balls,
I need
please.
some stripper music. I feel like
Jeriber
now.
FR just gifted 100 kicks on Kick.
I feel like I need some
Google, show me
fucking
this
some
guy's
stripper
balls, please.
music.
God of Conquest
know?
91 just gifted 100
Okay.
kicks on Kick.
All right.
Google, show me this
We're
guy's
really-
balls, please.
J_ sent $3. What would you rate Andrew's performance from 1 to 10?
How would I
show me
rate
this
Andrew's?
guy's
I'd
balls,
give him a.
please.
I'd give him a solid
Jimmy E just
7.5
gifted
or
100 kicks
8.
on
Thank
Kick.
you.
Google, show me this guy's balls, please.
Okay.
God of
Some
Conquest
corn and grab a
91 just
stool.
gifted 100 kicks on
The
Kick.
boys about to break some y'all about to make me Richie like Lionel for real.
Jeriber FR just gifted 100
And that's the
kicks on
truth.
Kick.
Let's get some stripper
16
music
hours
on.
ahead of Melbourne. I don't even know what's going on back
Here we
home.
go.
Straight.
Just gifted
I'm taking it
100
off.
kicks on Kick.
Hey. Since you guys throwing dollars at me. Hang on. How do I need to do it? Shimmy it off. Is that what you want? Is this what you people wanted? You want me to strip for you? Is this what you wanted? Is this what you people wanted? All right, now it comes to no. I'm not doing the T-shirt. That's all you're getting. That's all you're getting. No, that was way too many dollars that you guys threw at me, and I don't like that. Okay, you want me to floss it? Did you want me to like fucking floss it? You know, between the legs. Is that what you wanted? Is this how? Do you guys feel better now? I'm a cheap stripper for your amusement. You sick fucks. You sick people. You sick people. Why? Why would you do this to me? What, do you guys want to see my feet next? You're going to need to pay a lot more money to see those. I got the dogs out. They're out. They're ready to go, but yeah, I'm going to need a lot more than it's like $15 for the dogs, dude. We're going to need to drop some bands, all right? That's crazy. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew's doing fine. I think there's definitely a couple good moments. I feel like, I mean, obviously I know what I want. I'm not a big fan of this debate style content to begin with, to be perfectly honest with you. And I do wish he would press harder. I understand why he isn't. You know what I mean? I do understand why he isn't. I don't want to like fault him, but I think too often he's letting the conversation get sidetracked. He's done I will say, like, credit where credit's due. He's done a decent job of trying to keep it sidetracked or keep it on track. And we have a retard moderator who seems to be like literally just running cover for Candace. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane. Like, how much, you know what I mean?
Show me this guy's balls, please.
Eddie LaViolet sent $5 feet now.
No, not for $5. I'm gonna need a band, you know. But she is weaseling out of certain things. You know what I mean? And it's like very apparent that she's weaseling out of certain things. So, but I don't even know if you can fault Andrew for that, to be perfectly honest with you. And again, I'm saying all this, I'm completely unbiased. Me and Andrew have history. I wouldn't consider him a friend by any stretch of the imagination. I do like Rachel a lot. I think she's a super sweet person. But Andrew, not so much. I'm not a big fan of his content personally, but I have nothing bad to say about him. And I think he's been doing a good job. I think room for improvement in certain things. But you know what I mean? I do think it's largely the moderator who's the problem here, because he's just fucking retarded. I mean, he is just actually retarded. I genuinely hate Patrick Bet-David. He is the biggest retard of this whole thing. Well, that's not true. Candace is the biggest retard, but Patrick Bet-David is a close second. When he asked Candace if her and Charlie ever went on a double date, I wanted to like legitimately blow my head off with a shotgun. I'm not joking. When he asked, did you and Erica and Charlie and George ever go on a double date? I wanted to fucking reach through the screen and grab him by both of his ears and just like knee him in the fucking face. Like, I swear. That was the most retarded thing I'd ever heard. Who gives a fuck? That is not pertinent to anything at all. Like that, like you should straight up be deported for that question alone. Like, deport BPD. Or PPD, whatever his fucking name is. Patrick Bet Retard. That was so stupid. Really hated that. So, but yeah, I think Andrew's doing a good job. I think he is. I think again, it's like the people that watch Candace, they're not going to change their minds. This is not going to change their minds. But this was never, no matter what. Andrew Wilson could have came with 4K GoPro footage that looked like it could have been like Jackass, right? Of Tyler Robinson holding the gun. It's like, hi, I'm Tyler Robinson, and this is Jackass. I'm about to kill Charlie Kirk. And then turns and then shoots him. And they would have been like, well, where did you get that footage? You know, like they would figure out a way to deny it. You know what I mean? So, you know, they would call it AI. They would say anything. I mean, you know what I mean? He could have literally been holding up today's news, or, you know, the day of the murder's newspaper, and it wouldn't have mattered. Like, they would still deny that he did it. He's like, I'm doing this for my trainee boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the fuck. Boom. And then, you know, had a whole thing, and they wouldn't believe it. I mean, there's no convincing these people. They don't care about facts. They are retarded. Like, there's no arguing against it. These people are retarded. You know what I mean? So I don't think that there's any convincing them. You know what I mean? The people that like Candace were never going to come into this debate with an open mind. PPD is awful at moderation. We agree on this. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, he's awful. I'm glad you agree too. He's fucking terrible. He's fucking terrible. I'm glad we can agree. See, this is where the bonding starts, I think, Sarah, between me and you. You know, we just needed to find some common ground. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be all hostile. We can be friends, you know? You ever want to come on the show? You're more than welcome to, Sarah. We'd love to have you. I think it'd be fun. I'm a nice guy. I really am. Just having a little fun with Stu, you know? But, just ordered some new shoes. You bet, Nate? You better not have, I swear. I'll scuff those motherfuckers. If I see you at AFPAC 5 wearing the fucking PBDs, dude, I'm bringing my Doc Martens and I am scuffing the fuck out of those, dude. Okay? I will scuff the fuck out of them, dude. Straight up. I'll piss on them. I don't care. Dude, I don't know how long this fucking ad is, dude. Like, we're in the fucking ad break zone, so you should send me more money at powerchannel.live/Beardson There's $600? No fucking way there's $600. If you pay $600 for the PBDs, dude, somebody should send me $600 so I can buy them and burn them on stream. There's 600 plus shipping. I just looked it up. What a fucking con artist freak this guy is, by the way. Yeah, this ad break is incredible. Like, it's this, 3 minutes, 3.5 minute ad break, 10 minutes later. Yeah, sell shoes for $600, businessman. No, you're just a fucking scam artist, dog. The Trump sneakers were cheaper than that, dude. Literally, remember the Trump sneakers? They were cheaper than that. Not that I ordered a pair, because I was like, that's fucking retarded, and they're ugly. You know? But $600 Hey Dudes, it's crazy. Just buy a pair of fucking Chuck Taylors, dude, and get it over with. You know what I mean? Just get a pair of fucking Chuck Taylors, get it over with, dog. All right? We are rocking Chuck Taylors. Chuck Taylors are back in, okay? I'm gonna give you guys my fashion advice here, okay? Instead of spending, you could get a whole wardrobe for $600. Here's what you want to do: get you some.
All right,
okay.
Fantastic. So,
Cut off,
Andrew, if you want to go with your last couple thoughts.
Yeah, so I just have two more clips to play.
Okay.
Right, and then we can do final thoughts. I'm guessing. I feel like we got where we were trying to go, or at least for the most part. So,
all right.
The two other clips, I do want to play the Twigs clip. That one is important to me, the Twigs DNA clip.
Yeah.
And they're going to pull it up just to have you respond to it.
Well, you don't have to play it because, like, if you're saying that when I initially watched it,
you don't
I
have to
thought
play it?
that Lance Twigs' DNA, like, he was directly responding to that because the testimony was a bit confusing. They started by saying that they were going to, like, explaining how they got the samples. And they
so
said
she's
Lance, Matt, and
backtracking.
Amberson. Lance, Matt, and Amber Robinson, how they got their DNA samples. And then they started speaking about the gun and said, multiple prints were
so
found
she's
on them.
backtracking.
And then they moved and they said Lance Twigs's DNA was found on the screwdriver. When I went back and rewatched it, I realized, well, they haven't officially said that Lance or Amber are on the gun. So I think I've already conceded that we don't know that. So I think, like, but if you want to play the clip
this is directly you saying it is on the gun. Twigs' DNA
I'm saying
is
that
on
I
the
feel
gun.
like I've already said to you, like, I've made that concession. But just to be clear, whenever I make a mistake, I just correct it. So that's why when you were asking me 3 times, I've already said we don't know
So you're
yet,
backtracking.
and
And
I
that's- and
corrected
that's
that
fair.
mistake. So
That's fair.
The purpose of you showing this is to demonstrate that Candace makes mistakes sometimes when she's taking in a lot of information and she's reading through legal documents and she's trying to remember
it's not
9-hour
actually.
testimony.
It's just demonstrate something else. It is, in fact, the case. We're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm going to make mistakes.
And I've
on
already
the case.
I've already
You're going to make
conceded.
mistakes on the case.
Yeah.
But in this case, you were very adamant that his DNA was on the gun itself.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that it's not ruled out. We know that there's 5+ prints. I've said this so many times. I had to rewatch the testimony again. It's like 9 hours a day. It got very scientific when they were speaking about this. And I think I wrongly extrapolated that they meant all 3 of them were on the prints when the only person they officially named was Matt Robinson. So we don't know yet if Lance Twigs has his DNA on the prints, DNA on the gun officially just yet.
Okay.
I've already conceded that.
Sure.
So
that's fine. And then the last one is one with Erica Kirk.
sure. This is like the Erica Kirk. All right,
Well, this
Erica.
just
You
goes
could
back-
just sit down with me, Erica,
This
but we
just
can do it
goes-
this way.
This goes back to a previous claim that you made.
Yeah,
by
sure.
bringing it up.
Straight to jail, straight to
She gets
jail.
really nervous with the.
For questioning at least Erica. I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. Really, you will be wasting your breath. You can spend $1 billion on influencers because this is all becoming increasingly inexplicable. You are asking me to be an idiot, actually, and I cannot do that for you. Someone once commented
Yeah, you'll do it for
this
free.
show
Or $300,000.
that if the situations were reversed and there were this many verifiable lies.
So straight to jail.
Yeah, so that's the show intro, and straight to jail is a monopoly term.
Okay.
Like, you know.
So do not pass go.
Oh.
Do not collect $200.
Yes, it's
You're gonna
obviously
straight to
monopoly
tongue in cheek,
term.
and then we explain that actually I think that she should be brought in for questioning because of inconsistencies. So this is the exact episode when I started to think that she should be sat down and questioned. And I still believe that. I
You
still
don't go
hold
to
the
jail
perspective
for
that Erica
questioning, by the way.
should be sat down and she should be properly
That's not.
questioned.
Do you know
don't
that
go
she
to.
hasn't been?
You don't
No,
go to jail
actually,
for
that would be a great
questioning.
thing
That's
for
how
the
that works. Thank you,
spokesperson
Jeremy.
of Point USA to say that she's
Yeah,
already
but
sat through.
why do they?
I mean, my guess would be she hasn't because they returned everything to her. But
Why do they owe you that though? Why
they don't owe me
Yeah.
anything. That's my show you're watching. Just, you know, the clips that you're pulling are
Yeah.
from my show. So if I want to say something on my show, I can say that. I
You
didn't say
can.
they owe me something. I don't think that's ever,
You
unless you
can,
have
but
another
if you
clip.
say like you need to be sat down for questioning
Yeah.
and you don't even know if they haven't been, that's strange, right?
Do you know if they have been?
No, I have no idea.
So you're just saying, what if they haven't been?
Yeah, if your
You're just kind
entire
of filling the air.
if your
with
entire
just
thing is
junk.
if you're no, it's not junk. If the query is why is it that Erica Kirk's not being sat down for questioning, but you have absolutely no knowledge whether or not she's been sat down for questioning or not, what that does is it creates an innuendo. It creates an inference. It creates out to the ethos that this should be happening because something's wrong here when you actually don't have the knowledge that anything's wrong at all.
I just think that my opinion is that she should be sat down and questioned.
But you're not sure if she hasn't been.
Yeah, and you're not sure if she has been either. So, like I said, I feel like now
You're the one making the claim, you stupid bitch.
Because
This
Turning
is
Point's
to-
like, we want
To my
make
knowledge,
sure that you go in there and you
nobody-
defend Erica. And I have to say, I don't think you've done an extraordinary job
Great,
at that.
but I'm not here to defend Erica. The thing
well,
is,
I
though,
would
is
say
like
that since 4 out of 5 of the clips that you
Yeah.
had on the ready when we asked you guys ahead of time, I mean, I want to just assert how professionally we have dealt with this debate. As you can see, we have
Ah,
not
here we
planned
go.
any
The
gotcha clips for
filibustering.
Andrew. I expressed to him that what we were going to do was just to use people for fact checks, and because I might not remember something, or I do remember something, and you're saying no, and that is what I think will register to people as very
Well, wait,
fair.
I expressly
we did not take out of
wait, what?
context clips of Andrew
But
to
I
try to
expressly said
please
that
don't
I
cut
was
me
gonna
off.
bring
We did
claims,
not.
right?
No, when you said you were going to bring claims that
Your
you would want me to
claims.
speak to, you didn't say I intend
She's
on
floundering.
sitting you
She's
down
floundering
with
so
out
hard.
of contexted clips to which we said to you before in an email. Any clips that you want to share with us, send it
Mm-hmm.
over. Let's assert a debate claim so that we can both be ready to respond to it. This just
that's not really what happened.
well. What didn't
yeah,
happen?
this the way that you're framing the exchange,
What
that's
do you
not
mean?
that's not actually what happened. We were negotiating. It is true we negotiated out the claim itself, right? Which one's going to take which position? I wanted to make sure that I had at least an hour and a half on mine, and you got the time for yours to question me. We did. We got through your hour and a half on mine, roughly an hour and a half now on mine. That's basically how this went.
But in the beginning, I did not take an hour and a half to just pull out of context clips with Andrew. I actually debated the substance of what's going on in this trial and this hearing. And I do think that I think you fell short of that.
There's nothing out of the hang on.
And
There's
I did
nothing
not
here
say,
except
I'm
holding
just
you to
gonna
account
get
for
you
your
to say
claims.
yes or no.
Google, show me this guy's balls,
We were
please.
supposed to be debating
Deb
the
Roy
case
percent
This
and
is
whether
part
or
of the
not
case.
there was
Marines are
overwhelming
retarded.
evidence.
These are your
offended
claims
me as a
about the
disabled
case.
No, you
USMC
then
veteran
admitted
and
that
combat
now you're
marks
getting
and
into another
ballistics, and I
sphere
couldn't
and
agree
you
more
want to talk about the
veterans are retarded.
transcendentals and things that I've
And we
said.
got through-
And like 4 out of 5
Thank
of
you
your
for
clips are
backing
about
me
Erica
up.
Kirk.
I-
So the
you're cool.
general
You're one of the
good
perception
ones. 4 out
is-
of 5 even
is
were.
your
Thank you.
Turning Point's horse.
Oh,
I
so you
think
just-
quite a
just-
few
you
of
just-
them were.
you
Was
just-
there 3
just made it
Ericas
up?
or 4?
So you're just making stuff
Can
up?
we get a count of how many were about Erica? I feel
I
like
think it was
Yeah.
3.
3.
3.
Okay,
Yeah,
3. I
3.
said 4.
But those are extraordinary
sorry.
claims. That's which is why you were asked
Okay,
about them.
well,
right?
okay, but the point being is now you're veering into trying to get me to defend my opinions, and then you completely shirk responsibility
Your
when I
claims.
point out yours. No, they're not claims. When
No,
you
they're
tweet
claims.
Erica
They're
is
claims.
too retarded, you go, that's just whatever, and then you move on.
That's a claim that and I'm responsible for the claim.
Well, earlier when I brought it up, you said that it was tongue in cheek.
Yes, sure.
That's him addressing
that's
the
me
claim.
responding
Yeah.
to your criticism
Okay.
of the claim. That's all I'm doing here.
I was interested, and
I'm happy to get into also the Patsy stuff now, if you would like to.
well,
Your
that
team
was
has one more
supposed to
clip
be
they want
the
to play
whole
from
one
point.
7
more.
days
Okay,
ago.
sorry.
They got one
They
more
had
clip.
two.
and
We
then
were
can
getting
go to
into the
Patsy.
Patsy stuff, and you stopped it, and I was explaining to you. Oh, they have one more clip. Okay, let's go.
They want to hit the minimum of 4 clips you were saying with Erica. So
This is absurd.
This is absurd. It's your show. It's your words. Like you know, this is like Sneeko. Why are
and
you
this is the
clipping
one
my
you're saying
show?
from 7 days ago.
You're literally crying. Like I get to say stuff, and then you question me in a debate about
while
it.
they're looking for that, do you want to continue?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
can I
yeah.
ask a question? I know it's been, or like, can I ask a question? Or are we
Not
just in
really. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
We're going to hold to the actual contract itself.
the contract does not say that you are allowed to just question me without me being able to respond to you
I've never said you
or
can't
have
respond.
a conversation.
You've been able to respond to every question I've asked you. And by the way, the other thing is like
Let's have
I'm
it your
still-
way. I want it to look like
Still happy
we've
to have
done
the
everything
debate.
Andrew wanted to, so that people can fairly assess the situation.
Well,
So
he did
have
pay
it
you
your way. I will not ask a
$300,000 for
question.
this because you're a
Totally fair
greedy
with me.
bitch. So
So
yeah.
are you good with her asking a question or
He
no?
said no.
Waiting for the clip.
Okay. So you want to wait for the clip first. Okay.
Okay, let's.
You guys have it in the back? Okay, beautiful.
Dude, the technical production of this show is insane. Like, it's just who are the producers? Can we get to the clip now?
You
Your
need
team,
the Jeopardy
Your team
thing.
told me they had it. So
That's what I heard. Okay, there we
come
go.
on, guys.
Did this crime
There
Okay.
we go.
because Lance
I
Twiggs
can't hear this. My
has
thing
his
went out. Just
DNA
tell me what
on
it
the
said longer.
towel.
It's fine.
Lance Twiggs has his DNA on the rifle.
Lance Twiggs
And to
has
be
his
clear,
DNA on the
Lance
right.
Twiggs'
Said this-
DNA
proceeded this 4 times,
was
but I don't
not
know why they feel
as
like they need
degraded
to-
as Tyler Robinson's DNA was on Tyler's rifle. It's Tyler's rifle.
Oh, you
but
also
Lance's
said, yeah, it's
DNA
not as degraded on the rifle.
Yeah, because I thought he was one of the things, but I've
Right.
already that's what I mean when I say that. Like, it just seems like you're not actually here trying to engage, because even before you got to this, and I knew that you had some secret clip planned, I said to you when I rewatched the testimony, I realized that they didn't explicitly say Lance Twiggs. They said 5 other profiles were on it, and that his was the most degraded. So I hope your team feels fulfilled in playing that. Is there any more? I'm happy to play every clip that he has on the ready. Anybody?
You said you had some new evidence at the beginning of the.
Oh yeah,
debate
we should
you had
show that
something
text
new.
message that you read,
Did you
just
wanna
because
share
I
that?
think that's important for the public. You shared it out of context,
I'll do it on my show. I'll share the text
so you're going to
message.
read it on my show but not show it.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'll show it on my show, but that's what I'll do. I'll show it on my
Can
show.
I ask why?
Well, because I want to drip out the evidence. You know, that's got to drip out that evidence, keep people coming back for the show, right?
I don't know if snark serves you so well.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'll release it there. Yeah, that's my intention. But yeah, I'm fine with closings if you want to do closings.
Well, I also would just, if I may ask a question, is that permitted?
Go ahead.
Just so I also have clarity, since your basis has been evidentiary, you keep saying that you have evidence or like you are following evidence. Which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah. Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But
Can
I
you-
want to
can you
make sure
name
that we
one?
have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one?
This is like
Because
a
my
dumb-
general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following
Is that
the
it?
case.
That's the
Yeah.
question. You're
Yeah,
just not
but, I mean,
following
it seems,
enough.
It seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is
first-degree
overwhelming that
murder.
Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should,
All
like,
right.
can you tell me one
Then let's do the
charge that
counter.
he's...
You can really, yeah, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play
Yeah.
clips out of context,
Yeah,
put me
yeah.
in the hot seat. So please just answer the
This
question.
is fair.
Can
Name
you
all
name-
7
can
since
you-
you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You
Go
name
ahead.
you name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like.
Name all 7.
And I.
Can you
I think
name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
Do
put.
it.
This is
No,
Michael
do it. I'll
Lionheart.
count 'em.
This
Go
was
ahead.
Michael Lionheart when we
Yeah,
were
just
asking
put
about
your
the
fingers
7
up on
Okay,
this.
contents.
name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries
Okay.
a death
So
sentence in the
murder.
state of No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And
Next.
so just for people, no, don't. I don't have to do it in a time limit.
She's doing
There's
the
nothing
Michael
going on.
Lionheart,
Just
literally.
explain to people the difference of why that
Lionheart,
really matters
how
and
many
shows that he
continents
doesn't
are
actually
there?
care about this at all is because
I'm gonna mute.
aggravated murder.
I don't have to
it's
answer that.
narrowly defined,
Just
and because
avoiding
it
the
carries
question.
a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay,
You're
I'm
just going to
waiting.
recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work,
Yeah.
and you'll be better the next time you debate
I got
someone.
it. I got it.
Lionheart,
Give me-
watch
give me the other
this.
one.
This is working.
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that
No,
people
I just
don't walk
want
away?
you to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. You just don't get to pretend
She
there's
is
a time constraint for me to do that.
filibustering.
Well,
By the way,
how
she has
long
an
does it take you to list
earpiece.
7 charges?
I'm because
She has
I'm
an
speaking.
earpiece
You
in,
just
too.
got
It
to.
sounds like
looking
you're
them
just
up right
delaying
now.
it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm
tell
going to
me
say
them.
again because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I
Okay,
actually
well,
am
I
under
got
no
one.
time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering, and the
And what's
final
the specific charges, though?
that is them: obstruction of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those-
of justice, witness tampering, witness tampering.
Okay, and there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being
No,
charged
no,
with
no.
it.
Just the charges, and then 7.
Yeah, see, the bad thing is when you try to
She
be
has
an
a- she literally
a-hole
has
and
an
it doesn't
earpiece,
work.
by
What's
the
the
way.
7th?
The last charge
She
is
does have an earpiece.
violence in front of a minor.
Okay, got
Violent
it. So
in
then
front of a minor.
he's being
Violent-
charged with murder. You just say
Violent
aggravated murder.
in front of a minor.
That's the distinction. You just want to
It's a massive. It's
Got
like
it.
you cannot
Massive.
say murder versus aggravated
massive
murder.
distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up
This
for the death
proves nothing,
sentence.
for the record.
And I
Like,
actually
okay.
find the defense's filing about why this is not aggravated to be very compelling of why it's not aggravated murder. I actually think that the state was going to even try to.
Oh, she absolutely
pull this
has
off.
an
They should have
earpiece, by
charged
the
him with
way,
just murder.
because she was complaining during
And
the
then
last clip. She's
do
like, I can't hear
also,
this.
again, want to stress to audiences that debate strategy of thinking that you have to speak faster or somebody puts your hand up and they try to pretend like it's some sport. I think he thinks it's a blood sport. It's not. It's about being right and being principled when you're engaging. And you can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but at least be genuine in pretending that you care about this case enough to know one of the 7 charges that are up against Tyler Robinson when you say the evidence is overwhelming that he's guilty. If you would like to move to final statements, I'm fine. I want to make sure Andrew has had the time that he has requested.
I think your team would like to pull up the 7 charges that he just asked you about. If you
Sure.
guys want to pull that up just to confirm the 7 you went through. Can you guys zoom in a little bit for
Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and
No,
count 7,
violent
I said offense in the presence of a
in front
minor.
of a child?
Yeah.
That's what
So
I said.
5, 6, tampering witness, 3rd-degree felony. Now, I did notice something. I just was curious about. If I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication
Okay.
with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
You
should
want to
do
see it?
I'm just
You can.
curious. Yeah.
You can literally do that. Here you go. PVD, you're the moderator.
Okay.
Take it.
Let's see
See
it.
if anyone was texted at all during this debate
All right.
about the violent charges or anything.
I'm looking through this. You give me permission.
You
so I'm
have
looking
full
at, I'm not gonna
permission to
give
go through my
names.
phone. I don't need to
So
cheat.
the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mhm.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's
so
a compliment.
he's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission. I'm
Yes.
just going to read 3 of them
Yes.
to 11:32 because after that, I don't need to read it.
And you know their texts. Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I
that.
have is Signal. You can check that too. I only have Signal. Telegram I used in Russia,
Okay.
And that was it. I downloaded it for
I'll
Russia.
take your word for it.
Oh,
I don't need to
Used in
like. I
Russia.
deeply care about this
Interesting.
case. I don't need to
I
pretend
get
to
it.
know
If you
stuff that
deeply
I
care
don't
about
know.
the case, I
Yeah.
just, I have my other question is about the steakhouse receipt.
You just said that you were done asking all your
Nothing, just
questions.
so you know,
Yeah.
nothing there.
There. I don't
Yeah. Do you
need to
have
do
the
that.
steakhouse receipts? My question.
I have said several times that I have never said I have the receipt for the steakhouse. I have said the person who's working on that story is going to be forthcoming with the receipt. And that was what I was responding to. And he then dropped the receipt. He redacted elements of it. And I said, stay tuned. He's the one working on that story.
Okay. So you haven't actually confirmed that Robinson was at that steakhouse.
All I did, as I said earlier in this conversation, was I spoke to the owner when I broke that story. I think it was back in January. I spoke to the owner, understood what had happened, and that there was a receipt. that's it. That's the extent of what I shared is what happened.
Okay, so to be clear, there's no receipt. You
No,
don't,
I just said the opposite. I said there is a
well,
receipt.
you don't have a copy of the receipt.
The receipt was published online.
Yeah, right, with blurred
The
out.
person working on this story
Yeah.
that blurred that out
Mhm.
is what I was referring to when I said stay tuned and keep following his stuff because
Oh,
he
did you
went
guys
to
like the
go
shirt? Look
which
at that.
do what I
Full
hadn't
shirt.
done, which was he interviewed the actual
Like my
server.
Psycho
So
shirt.
there's no evidence that Tyler was at
Pretty
that
sick,
steakhouse.
right?
I would say the receipt with his debit card number, it would be some hard evidence if that
I agree with that,
Yeah,
but-
so that's it. But you're questioning me.
But is there, as of right now,
He paid. If you're asking me, did he pay with a credit or debit card? The answer is yes.
No. Is there proof that that was actually his debit card that he paid with?
I think you should follow the person that is behind that story.
Well,
It's
the
more
reason I'm
something
asking you is because you always include it in your timeline that he traveled to the steakhouse.
Yeah, we've been building a timeline with things that we
Mhm.
feel are
But is there any actual
Utah 1102
evidence?
approved. I think speaking
Yeah.
to the owner, knowing that there's a receipt, seeing the receipt is good enough to put on our timeline.
But the receipt itself, the question I always had about it is, couldn't you just call the merchant? Like, if I've ever had a merchant account, I just call the merchant account processor and say, "What's the name on this?"
Yeah, I would stay tuned. I feel that having spoken to the owner,
What's taking
that
so
the
long?
evidence is compelling enough to put onto my personal timeline of what
I mean,
took
he's in
place on
fucking
that
trial
day.
right now. You'd
That's
think you
where
would
it's gonna stay, and
bump the
if it gets
timeline up,
debunked,
right?
I'm happy to take it off if that's what you mean. That's how an investigation works. Like I
So
said,
what's taking
I
so long?
did more than enough. It would definitely.
It's been
pass
11 months, by the way.
test
It's been
by
almost
the
a year,
Utah
by the way.
1102 rule.
It's
for
been
sure.
it's almost a year, and they
Yes, it
have
is here.
no evidence. By the
Well,
way,
yeah,
And it's
beyond
all
that, 'cause
state
they didn't
tuned.
even have receipts. They were like, Bob told
But
me
the
this.
question, but the
you'd
question
think maybe the
is,
defense would be on
the
top of
receipt
this too.
itself, it has not been verified to have been Tyler
Yeah, I just want to
Robinson's,
say you're
right?
holding me to a higher standard than you are.
I'm not even holding it.
in
I'm
the
just
prosecution.
asking specifically.
Yeah, I've been very forthcoming. I've told exactly what happened. I spoke to the owner. I got the tip, and
So
I
should that be
chased
added
it
in
down.
an official timeline that
It's
you
in
give?
my timeline. It's my show, and we can add.
When
and
do we
subtract
get
what
it?
We want, and we do. If
You
we
can
get
do
something
what you
wrong,
want, sure, but
Well,
I'm
I just wanted to
asking
make
When do
sure.
we-
should
when
you
do we
include
get
the
the
thing that
receipt?
you know
When do
hasn't
we get the
actually been
confirmation?
verified
Because
to
it's
be
been
Tyler
11 months.
Yes,
Robinson's?
you should. If we're trying to build a timeline, you should. Yeah.
You don't think that falls
And then
under?
you should remove it if someone somehow debunks it. But I think that there is very strong evidence that is where he was, and that
What's
is,
the strong evidence? Just the two people who said that they saw him?
You know, I'm actually all good with I feel like
Okay.
I've sufficiently answered your question about how I got
All
the
right, fair enough.
information, what happened next. Would the next stage of this investigation being somebody accessing knowing what his debit card was and confirming it? Yes, and I do believe that will happen.
He's
If it does not
running
happen and it gets
again.
debunked, I'll remove it from my personal timeline that I share on my show.
that officer, the first officer that was up on the roof.
Mhm.
Do you remember his name?
Officer Bagley,
Yeah, what was his first name?
Christopher.
Christopher. When Christopher got up on the roof, you talk a lot about how his camera died.
Well, he talked a lot about that during
Yeah,
the
about his
preliminary
camera
hearing.
died.
Yeah.
Do you think that he planted that screwdriver up there?
No.
No. Who do you think planted it?
If we're just going on am I allowed to have an opinion?
Of course.
At this stage, I would say that I don't buy his assertion on the stand that he didn't check to see if anybody went onto the rooftop before
Google, show me this guy's
he got
balls,
up there.
please.
I
Louisville girl
do
sent
think
$5
that
to give
it's
Andrew
possible,
credit.
it's at least
He
plausible
makes
that
his
the
opponents look
screwdriver
childish.
was planted.
Candace
I don't believe
comes
him.
off
What I can
like
say
a bitch.
strongly
Yeah, that's
is
true.
that
I agree with that.
his
Well,
cam died at just the right time. His body cam
elaborate.
died at just the right time. I think that as you were just grilling me about whether or not I had got the merchant receipt for a debit card, that kind of makes it difficult that we just have to sort of trust that a screwdriver was found and we don't have any should be evidence of a police body cam. But like I said, you accept that stuff and then are like, did you call the merchant and get like, it just seems like you
Well, I'm not adding.
hold,
I'm
like
not
I said,
adding
you
this
hold the
to
prosecution to
Well,
a the
wait a
state
second.
to a higher standard
I'm
than
not
you do to
adding
people.
unconfirmed evidence to an official timeline that I'm putting out either.
What do you mean an official timeline? This is my
Well, this is
timeline.
the-
I made it at home.
So then it would be official to your show?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, great. So then your official timeline, Candace Owens' official timeline,
Yeah.
includes a steakhouse stop that has not actually been confirmed at all.
Well, yeah, it hasn't even been discussed by the prosecution, so it's not like you're debunking that it happened.
Well, there's no evidence for it. There's no good evidence for it at all. There's no camera there. And the steakhouse receipt itself has never been confirmed to be Tyler Robinson's.
I'm assuming this is just like a talking point they gave you, and you got to like keep pushing this, or like
I've been
'cause
following it very closely on X.
the receipt. You weren't even following the charges of Tyler Robinson, but you really
You
wanted
think
to know.
that
I've been
because-
following it
do you
very
think that
closely on
because-
X.
Wait, you think
I'm calling owners of
do you know
steakhouses
that-
and having a
wait,
conversation. You're following Congo
Yeah,
on
I
X.
literally followed the entire trial or the preliminary live. I was live with an attorney. We covered all of it. You think because I have a momentary or lapse where I'm like, oh, it's murder? No, it's aggravated murder. Come on.
You didn't know any of the
That's
charges.
splitting
you Didn't, no, that's not
hairs.
splitting. It means you didn't follow the preliminary hearing at all.
No, it doesn't
Like
mean
you
that
don't
at
know
all.
any of
That's
the charges that are
ridiculous.
against him. When this is like getting literally to the crux,
Oh,
aggravated
man,
murder versus murder.
It's
a
ridiculous.
death sentence.
And not only that, let's point this out. One of the major things here is that this is your official timeline.
It's mine.
Yes. Who else could it be? Who else? There would be Candace
What's your
Owens'
issue?
timeline.
I just don't know
What's
what
your
his
issue with
issues with my timeline.
What's your issue
Google,
with that?
show me this guy's
Well,
balls,
so
please.
the issue is
Dan G
that
sent
the entirety of
$3
the
in
evidence
alternate
revolves
timeline.
around
Candace
two
was
people who
killed
claim
by
that he
Tyler
was there
Robinson and Charlie
and
Kirk is
supposedly
blaming
a
it on
receipt.
grow wipers with no
There's
evidence.
supposedly a receipt
That would be
where
fun.
Tyler Robinson
Like if I lived in that
paid for his
timeline, like if we had to
steak and
defend
his soft drink.
ourselves,
no alcohol,
you know,
right? No alcohol, right?
at least we'd be
Know nothing
involved,
about
you
the
know.
case.
Not that I
But,
actually don't want to be involved in this at all. I take
Anyway,
that back,
this
actually.
particular receipt,
This seems like
they
I
could
would
have
hate
called
to
the
be this
merchant
guy.
account, confirmed it, this type of thing. To date, this receipt has only the blurred information on it that would actually give you the information
This
to
is
confirm
annoying.
whose receipt it is. We have to date, nobody has confirmed that this was actually Tyler Robinson's receipt. And yet, inside of Candace Owens' timeline, which she states over and over again, when she says, this is the longest 13 hours, this is 13 and a half hours, the requirement for about what, roughly 5.5 or 6 hours of that is that he went to the steakhouse. And so, and that's not been confirmed at all. Not even a little bit.
I feel like saying that I spoke to the owner of the steakhouse is me, like, not just being on X looking at opinions, but actually doing the legwork. And that's why like I said, if you think this builds up a rapport with your audience and makes you seem like a serious person, we don't have
Cool,
to
then
keep
have the
belaboring
owner
point
come on
here.
the show.
I feel like I've demonstrated that I
Record
did as
it.
much as I could to confirm this. When it came in, I spoke to the owner of the restaurant. You
Have
know,
him come out
obviously
then.
took down everything he said, noted that there was, in fact, a receipt that he pulled. That receipt that was published is real.
Where is
a
it
debit
then?
card
It's not under
and a credit
fucking
card was
HIPAA.
used. If for some reason somebody misidentified something down the line, or we find out it's a different Tyler Robinson, I'm happy to
Google, show
remove it
me
from my
this guy's
timeline.
balls,
But for
please.
right now, I think that
Anonymous
there's
sent
enough
$3.
under the
Are
Utah
they both
1102
wearing
rule for me to keep
earpieces,
it there.
or is it just
I don't really think we need
Candace?
to keep
No,
going
they're
into
both
circles
are.
about this receipt.
Yeah, they both are.
It's my timeline.
I don't know why the 1102 rule would apply here for your
Because
timeline.
you were constantly cite things that are said in that courtroom that have less evidentiary support than me contacting.
'Cause they have to hear the
speaking
videos
with
and stuff that are being played.
the owner of the restaurant. It's not like I dreamed it, as to use your expression. So it's in my timeline, and I'm going to keep it there if that's
Sure, you can keep whatever you
Great.
want there. I'm
Okay.
just saying that there's no evidence he was ever
cool.
there.
Okay, thank you. I think
No
we
hard
covered the
evidence
point.
anyway. Yeah, I'm fine with closing.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to do before we go into ad break, right after this will be final
Oh
thoughts.
my
I'll be asking
God,
both of you
another ad
if anything-
break.
If anything on your opinion, thoughts changed on the case, and then we'll finish it up from there. So with that being said, a 3.5 minute break, and then we'll come back for final thoughts.
Oh my God, another ad break. Another ad break. We're stuck here forever. We're stuck here forever, chat. We're stuck here forever. And now it's an ad break for me. Powerchat.live/Beardson. We did hit the goal today, though, so thank you guys. Pretty big show today, and I appreciate it. Get some subs in. That'd be cool. Whatever. I don't know. I don't care. Candace winning. Totally disagree. She has provided no evidence at all. Like, none. Like, the burden of proof is on Candace. Like, that's the thing that people don't really understand. The burden of proof is on Candace. Okay, you think Israel did it? Why do you think that? Well, I don't need to explain that. Okay, well, then why should I fucking believe you then? Oh, well, he was at the steakhouse. What's the proof? Well, I don't have any. Well, okay, then why should I believe you? Literally everything that she has proposed has been like, I heard this, you know? Hey, thank you, Hacking Zoomer.
Hackin_Zoomer just gifted 1 subscription on Kick.
Thank you,
Google,
man.
show me
Thank
this
you.
guy's
Thank you,
balls,
Jerbear, for the 500 kicks,
Jerbear
too.
FR just gifted 500 kicks on Kick.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Nah, she did win, unfortunately. No, not really. I mean, I don't know. We'll do a poll like once it ends. I do genuinely want to know what you guys think. I don't want to let like my personal opinion like sway you guys. I'm genuinely curious what you guys think.
Google, show me this
But-
guy's balls, please.
Thank you,
Kurosawa
Kurosawa
Pilled
Peld.
sent $5. We will not be buying the shoes.
No, absolutely not. We are not buying those fucking shoes. Those things are ugly as fuck. This is a low-key win for Candace. Hang on, I want to read that.
Google,
Scroll
show
too
me this
fast. Too
guy's
many
balls,
chatters.
please.
Fart Blaster with the
Fart
3.
Blaster sent $3. Ben Shapiro's show doesn't even have this many ads. Value attainment really is just boomers trying to be like Juice.
No, really, honestly, that's so true.
Hey guys and gals, Vincent O'Shaughnessy here.
Son
My
of a bitch, I
favorite.
thought we were done. That scared the shit out of me. That juice scared the shit out of me. Let's look you in for Candace because all she needed to do is survive. She was going to survive no matter what. Okay, I don't like this outcome because
Google,
she's
show me
obviously
this guy's
insane.
balls, please.
It doesn't. No,
God of
it
Conquest
doesn't matter.
91 sent $3. Honestly, BPF was a good matchup for this because he is a bit of an asshole and you need that to match her bitchy energy.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is, I mean, if your metric for like winning is like who's going to convince the most people, that was never going to happen. Okay. He could have literally, Andrew Wilson could have shown up, like I said, with footage 4K of Tyler Robinson looking into the camera like he's Johnny Knoxville and saying, "Hi, I'm Tyler Robinson, and today we're killing Charlie Kirk," and then points the gun and shoots it, and it wouldn't change these people's opinions. So, like, I don't think you should judge his performance based on whether or not how many people he's convinced or swayed away from this, because that was never going to happen. These people don't live in reality. They've been listening to Candace Owens for 11 months, provide zero evidence, and say, "Well, I heard this, therefore it must be true." You know what I mean? So that's what, you know, and yeah, like there was a stumble here or there for them. Absolutely. Should he have probably known the 7 charges? Sure, I agree. 110%. But I still think at the end of the day, if you're a person, which not many people are, but if you were a person who is not familiar with either one of these people, not familiar with the facts of this case, I think you would probably still come out ahead and look towards Andrew as the clear voice of reason and side with him. If you're like completely unbiased and completely unaware, you know, debating is just I mean, I do think he Andrew mocked her quite a few times by pulling up the text, but because the text message thing where Tyler Robinson admitted on that he was in the surveillance footage, that was a big get. Like Andrew got like a good 3 or 4 gotchas in. They just happened to be kind of early on in the debate, you know? I think she was able to weasel her way out. She was always, dude, she's a woman. I mean, it's not hard to weasel out of like not asking things. Like, you know, again, anybody with a brain that looks at this is like, she's filibustering, she's stalling, she's nervous. She doesn't. You can look at the body language. She was clearly shaken multiple times. You know what I mean? Like looking up, looking around, very nervous. You know. So, well, the nature of the debate is like an unprovable point. Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. It's like it's just hard to prove. Here's the thing too. It's like with it, especially this specific debate. It's like Candace is not making any sort of definitive claims. Anyways, so it's like, and then when she does do it, and then you point out that she's done it, she's like, well, no, I'm just asking questions, you know? So it's almost an impossible thing to debate against, too. And I still think he's managed to do a pretty good job by trying to nail her down, because that's the thing. When she opened, I think Andrew won the second that she kind of, when PPD asked her, it's like, well, what do you think the likelihood is that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk? And she said 0%. Like that was it, in my opinion. You know? It's like, okay, you're a fucking idiot. If you think like if she would have said like a 5% chance, and I'm like, I mean, you're still a fucking idiot, but okay. But when you said definitively, there's 0 chance, and I definitely think Israel did it, or there was somehow involved, it's like, okay, well, you're just a fucking idiot then. You know what I mean? And that's where she loses, and that's why her whole opinion about this is very amorphous, very shapeshiftery. She's always leaving herself an out. You notice that every time you listen to her talk about this, always leaving herself a little out just in case, you know. Because I do feel like in a year it's going to be like
all
she's
right,
going to walk all this
we are
back.
finally at the end. For those of you that
She's
are
made her
watching
money,
it,
and then she's
maybe
going to
a
walk it
good
all back.
commentary for you would be the following on if you're a Andrew fan, And you still are saying, you know what, Andrew's arguments were solid, great. Candace, great. But did anything change your mind? Did you watch and say, you know what, I had this position over here. This would be an interesting commentary.
The only thing I changed my mind on is that I thought you were an idiot before, and now I think you're a fucking idiot and a bad moderator.
Whether you're a fan of Andrew or not, whether you're a fan of Candace or not, nobody can dispute the fact that these guys agreed to sit down and talk live. Others were thinking this was pre-recorded. This is not pre-recorded, just so everybody knows. This is purely live. This is a little bit scarier than pre-recorded because pre-recorded can do edits. So
we know what pre-recorded means, you fucking moron. Shut the fuck up.
For having to sit down and before the final thoughts.
We know what live means. We've known what live means for 60 years.
Well, of course. I do know one day, I think it was last week, you sent a message on one of our accounts. He said, can I talk to Patrick? We got on the call. You said, Patrick, can you moderate this? And then I said, great, let's do this. And so before we wrap up, final thoughts, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, she had nothing. Just nothing. For all of her claims of Patsy, nothing. She didn't have a single claim. She didn't have a single solid piece of evidence. She had no positive evidence Israel's involved in anything. No positive evidence that France is involved in anything. No positive evidence TPUSA is involved in anything. No positive evidence that Erica Kirk is involved in anything. When I ask her about her claims about Erica Kirk, yeah, it's just funning. It's just funning, you know? Or, yeah, I do think that she needs to sit down and ask some questions, but or answer some questions. But you know what? I don't even know if she has. Like, maybe she has. I have no idea. Yes, I'm going to have an official timeline with unconfirmed evidence. That's just fine. Hey, it's hearsay. If that's good enough for the state, it's good enough for me. But my biggest problem with the state is that they're admitting all this hearsay. It's like she's a contradiction machine. On top of all of this, the thing that I wanted to get out of this more than anything else was to just demonstrate one thing. Yes, it's true. I'm not perfect on the case. I'm not going to ever pretend that I am, and never did. But what has been made very clear to me is that there's nobody with an alternative theory that has any evidence for it at all. None. Zero. Yeah. And the continuous kind of expression, we're running an investigation. What kind of investigation builds a timeline out on a receipt that they don't even confirm? What kind of investigation tries to make these bold claims that Israel's involved and France is involved and all these different players are involved and never shows any evidence? We're just asking questions. It's again, like I said in my opening, it's always intuition, my feelings, how I feel about things, how I think about things. Andrew, how many times did you hear this today? Andrew, you can't tell me how I'm supposed to think. Yeah, nobody's trying to tell you how to think. But you should rationally come to your conclusions based on evidence and facts. And the truth is that 90% of what you're saying is simply intuition based. It came to me in a dream. It's intuition. Almost none of it has any evidence at all. Just, I'm skeptical because these people over here said things, and that makes me skeptical. It's like, but no evidence. Note this to the audience, to everybody watching. You might hate my guts. That's fair enough. I get that. I'm not the most likable man. I understand that too. But there was nothing. True. I mean, no evidence at all that Tyler Robinson was a patsy that was ever put forward by Candace this entire debate. Now, maybe you could say that we stalemated when it came to whether or not Robinson did it. She says, I found the evidence convincing. Unconvincing. Andrew says he found the evidence convincing. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you can't do too much about that. But there was nothing. She had nothing for Robinson being a patsy. Nothing for any of her conspiracies. Yeah. Not a zero, zilch. And she backed away on a bunch of them. This is the first time I think she's ever really backed away from the Twigs thing. First time I've heard her back away from the Erica thing, back away from TPUSA, being very cautious about making any of those claims now. Whereas on her show, much more likely to be making those claims. So she just had nothing the entire debate. Zero.
Candace.
Well, I think that is quite a conclusion. Admitting somewhere, maybe we stalemated. It probably signifies what I've been saying from the beginning, that you didn't feel that you were strong on the actual facts and the evidence, which I was willing to engage with you. I wanted to go over the screwdriver. I wanted to go over the towel, the things that you've mentioned, and you wanted to then move the conversation into a defense of Erica Kirk and her character. and what I've said about Erica, which is my opinion. And I have not edited that opinion after discussing with you. I would like to extend a compliment to you for being willing to sit down and to have the conversation. I still walk away feeling that the people who are jumping on the bandwagon about this case don't care about this case. They don't care about Erica Kirk. It tends to be follow that they take a meeting with Turning Point USA and they come out and suddenly have a lot of junk to say about Candace Owens. And I do want to also stress that Turning Point USA tried to pepper him with something as a surprise. He showed clips that were meant to be a surprise. I did no such thing. I stressed to PBD from the beginning that I was grateful he was taking this on and that I wanted this to be
now
a
she's
clean
playing the
debate
angle that
because I believe I can win this on the merits, and I believe that
Andrew
I did win
Wilson to do
this
this.
fully on the merits.
That's
by
her
engaging
argument
the evidence
now.
of
It's
what
like
has
the most
happened.
retarded thing ever.
I do still believe
It's
that
just
there is
so
more
pathetic.
evidence which supports that there are more people involved and that Tyler Robinson
surprise
has
clips
been set up
from her own show.
and that none of the evidence that was presented was in any way overwhelming, which is why I think you wanted to move to end that discussion quickly and to speak to me about France and to talk about this Panguitch receipt and my timeline. I want to remind people that a lot of the at-home investigators, which you were open to, as you called them, internet sleuths, I think it was on a show that you did right after Charlie was assassinated, that internet sleuths would solve this. This is the reason why Charlie, a year on, is still a conversation every single day trending on Twitter. I knew Charlie. I cared about Charlie. I care about finding out what the truth is here. My heart is in the right place. I think anybody who watches my show or even just watched this debate knows that if I get something wrong, I'll instantly correct it and own it. I'm not arrogant. I don't need to sit here and pretend that I didn't misspeak on the Lance thing. It hasn't been ruled out. But you saw that he just really wanted to hammer that point. You know, part of being a well-meaning person is to concede when you are wrong, to take something off a timeline when you know it's not right. And I would like to think that that is why I have earned the audience that continues to follow me, because they know my heart's in the right place, that I deeply cared about Charlie and I deeply care about the answers. I want to thank Andrew's team who are providing the fact checks. It's a very small room that they're in. I want to, as always, thank my team who worked really hard to make this happen and flip this set. And to you, PBD, just for being a great moderator, I think very fair, letting us both speak and making sure that Andrew got out of this what he wanted, which is a little more than what I wanted, but I'm very content with how I dealt with this. And I trust, I don't need to convince the audiences with the magic trick of what they need to think about this debate. They can watch it and draw their own conclusions.
Beautiful. Fair from both of you. I think the audience won. And again, from the beginning, all of this is because of how much love and respect we have for Charlie Kirk, a great man that's no longer here with us. His 1-year anniversary is coming up here. I can't believe it's that quick that it's here. The audience, I think you also won. If you did, support the Crucible, support the Candace Show, support the PBD Podcast, subscribe to the channel. This is how you help these voices get out even more, especially going into future when this happens. You want a lot of independent creators to have these types of discussions. And last but not least, the two of you, I respect you guys again for having this conversation. It is not easy to do so. Hopefully this will lead to more discussions. A lot of different things we talked about. I'm sure there will be a lot of follow-up. With that being said, take care, everybody. God bless. Have a great weekend.